David McGinty.
Guys, welcome to episode
Won,
16.
again, one
Episode
poll, but
16 of the
already
Drew
a
Pablo
lead
Show.
of
I'm going to be covering the
1,000,
election
over the
in
Conservative
Canada
Party.
live. We're going to be covering the election
Not
result in
surprising,
Canada.
No, I was
about
about
to
to say.
Great day to
Since
be streaming.
1988,
Very
so-
interesting what's happening in
he
Canada
got
right
into the
now.
cabinet for the
It does
very
seem
first
that
time.
basically Trump has handed the election to the Liberals, which is very interesting. Very
Justin
interesting.
Trudeau,
So
yeah. And then he stayed
we'll
there.
be
with
streaming.
Mark
We'll
Carney.
be
So good luck
covering the
to that,
results
and
live.
stay in his cabinet job.
Let me know what
Ian,
you're
you have-
thinking.
Yeah, we have two results in Manitoba.
I'm gonna
so
just
far,
quickly post out the
Winnipeg
link.
West, and at this point, it's really early. I show you this though, not so much because of the count, but that this is a riding that both the Conservatives and the Liberals feel.
Also,
really good about.
Bad
There's a
Empanada
big
made a video
match
attacking
between
me. I
Greg
will be
Grant,
going
the
through that
incumbent
video
MP, and Doug
later
Nelson,
on.
who
Maybe
used to
not
be
today,
the MP
but we'll do
for
a
this
full
riding.
response.
So we're going to keep a close
Because
eye
I will
on
not
this.
stand for my
The other
reputation being
result we're gonna
defamed
break
like he
down
has done.
from Manitoba is riding Mountain. Huge
Gee, we've
lead
got
for Dan
yeah,
Mazer.
about 20 people
He
on
is the
Twitter. That's
incumbent
great. Thanks
MP
for
there.
joining,
He's
guys.
won the last two elections
Let me
with
know
huge
if you're
margins.
watching.
So
Comment your
even though it's
thoughts.
early there,
I'm just
this
going to
is
be
probably
sharing
an
the post
indication
out.
of how Riding Mountain will go, Rosemary.
Okay, thank you for that, Ian. Let's just take a look and take a pause for a moment.
Prediction. I think
Trump
Trump has handed the election to the Liberals. That's my prediction. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting. I think Trump has basically completely destroyed it for the Conservatives, Olivier, which is just crazy. And I think that's unfortunately. Look, I think that's also what's going to happen probably in the Australian election too.
Leading in one. If you want
Why
to see
Canadian
who has
districts
been
called
confirmed
ridings? It's an
elected,
interesting
you should go to
question.
our
Interesting
website.
question,
We'll
my
have it
friends.
open as you're listening to us.
Hopefully we can have some Canadians join us and tell
You
us.
can find that. A lot of people also asking me about advanced polls. Yes, there was a huge number of you that voted on those advanced poll weekend. It is up to every polling station to decide when they count those. You can count them as early as 2 hours before, or you can count them right at the end. So you're right. Sometimes that will impact the results. Lots of you are watching for that. But we simply
Yeah, man,
don't
I
know
hate
when
Trump
they
at this
count
point.
in
He's
each
just
polling
insane.
station, but
Just
they will
literally
get
insane
counted,
guy.
so, not to worry
What can you
about
do
that.
about it? I
I'm gonna
mean,
go back
I
to,
hope that he can
the
be
panel
defeated.
now.
I hope that he can
Althea,
be defeated.
you haven't had a chance
Let me
to
know
weigh
what you're
in
thinking,
on
guys.
what you're watching for now. As so
I
many
think it's going to
other
be
polls
a
close, and
devastating
we've
night
also
for the
been joined by
Conservatives.
a fellow you
That's
know
what I
well,
think is going to happen.
Jason Kenney,
Going to
former
share out
Premier
my link and
Premier
everything, guys.
Conservative Cabinet Minister. We'll get to him first, but what are you watching for now?
I'm actually not watching the results coming in because one poll doesn't really tell you a ton.
You said it.
But I still find the results out east really interesting.
Yeah.
The fact that Sean Fraser is struggling to hold on to his riding. This is a seat that Pierre Poilievre actually visited just last week and had a big rally with Elmer MacKay and Peter MacKay. This is, of course, the seat that they held. And what you see in Atlantic Canada, what you hear from candidates at the door is that the pitch is Pierre Poilievre's party is not the party of progressive conservatives anymore. So come and vote or lend your vote to the Liberals and Mark Carney, who probably is more aligned with your values. At least that's the Liberals.
Got up to 500 people on Twitter. That's great.
Please,
Please, guys, if you're watching on Twitter, consider going to my YouTube. That's where we're really trying to build up my numbers at the moment.
At the same time, you're seeing
Only got like 5
Shore
people on
St.
YouTube
Margaret's,
so far.
which is traditionally a very conservative seat, possibly flipping liberal.
So what's the time on the East Coast right now in New York?
Quite interesting, and it's
9:40 p.m. in New York, 8:40 Central Time, 7:40 LA time, I think.
Antigonish seat. There with the candidate that was running, the conservative candidate, is the former provincial finance minister, and that is the kind of riding the Conservatives needed to win if they were to form government. So there's not a ton of great news, frankly, for both parties, and the Liberals are underperforming their own, but so frankly are the Conservatives, their own desires.
Yeah. Okay. And obviously you can see the numbers they're moving.
Trump is Mark Carney's strongest soldier. Yeah, Trump literally did this, which is crazy. Pierre will commit seppuku during his concession speech. Gee, that's what Trump's done. That's what Trump's done. Who are you rooting for? Listen, I am backing the Liberals in this time because of what Trump has done with his threats to invade Canada and all that stuff. I just think that was just sickening. It's a shame though because the Liberals did a really, really bad job under Trudeau. I do think they did a terrible job under Trudeau.
One of the toughest regions for the Conservatives was Atlantic Canada. So to see them being competitive, I think is
so far what I'm hearing is that so far more or less like a normal Canadian election, not the major way people were hoping for the Liberals. So Pierre Poilievre is still in this. Poilievre is still in this. The only reason
Conservatives get a significant
can you bring JJ on, man? I'd love to, but he's a huge YouTuber. I'll just tweet him. I'll just say like JJ, come on my stream. Is he? Maybe he's streaming right now. I don't know.
Metro Belt that
I literally thought that, but I was like, no, this guy's like way too big to even ask.
that have a tendency to vote monolithically.
Yeah, I mean, I think JJ's literally live
If the
streaming right now,
NDP
so
collapses that
I
bad,
mean, I
and
think he's
these
probably too
soft
busy,
NDP
but
voters don't actually show up for Mr. Carney,
Right.
or many of them actually go to Mr. Polyev on that appeal to blue collar trades and working people, you could actually see the Conservatives, I think, splitting the 905 or even winning a plurality of seats in that region, and that would make for a very long night.
Would you all agree, though, that we are not seeing an election of a wave?
I'm going to tweet at
Or
JJ. Let's
is
see if he
is
sees it.
way
I don't
too
think he's going to
bad?
join, but we'll
Okay,
see
too soon.
what happens.
Okay, all right.
DM him. He's not.
Well,
He's
that's
not on
my
live stream that
opinion.
he posted on.
I don't
He's not on the
know.
live stream that he posted on his Twitter. Okay, look, I'm tweeting him.
The
Let's see what happens. I'd love to have JJ on the stream. I think his videos are cool. I think he's probably like too big to join my like small stream, but we'll see. We'll see. That'd be so fucking cool if he did join. I mean, I've got about like 1,000 people on Twitter.
Okay.
And I've got like 10
Catherine
people on
Collins, got some
YouTube.
results
I
coming
really
up.
need to build up the YouTube
Early
numbers.
results.
Early,
Let's just
early.
emphasize
Yeah,
that,
got it,
Rosemary.
got it.
We're going to check in on some exciting races, starting with Shadowgate Les Jardins de Napierville. We were telling you earlier that this was the riding that was decided by 12 votes in a judicial recount last time around. Patrick O'Hara is back. He told my excellent colleague on the House, Emma Godmere, that he has been thinking about this race every single day since last time around. He's up against a Liberal Star candidate.
Yeah, gee, isn't it crazy that like 3 months ago, it was looking like the Liberals would have like 5 seats, and Trump actually just brought them back from the dead. I mean, like, good on him, seriously. What a nice thing he did for Trudeau.
Vegas girl, because in the time of the Orange Wave in 2011, she went to Vegas during the campaign, but things have changed a lot for Ruth Ellen Brosseau. She lives in the riding now. She is a farmer. They, in fact, raise boar and bison, despite the fact that she is a vegetarian. But
Just going to grab a
does
water,
appear that
right?
it is going to be some difficult sledding based on just the first poll for Ruth Ellen Brosseau. And we want to take a look to Abitibi Bay James Nunavut EU. The Liberals have a candidate here that they're pretty excited about, Mandy Gull Masty. She was the first female Grand Chief of the Cree Nation government. She actually stepped away from that term in order to run for the Liberals.
Now, I'll be live streaming on Saturday as well with the Australian election results. It looks like that's going to be two elections that Trump basically
a northern riding. He went up to visit it to try to give Sylvie Bérubé a bit of a boost. So again, this is another riding folks are going to be watching closely tonight. It'll be interesting to see how that race shakes out.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that, Catherine Collins. Just a couple of numbers to keep in your mind as well. David's going to give us a few more, but in order for the Liberals to reach majority tonight, they needed to gain 18 seats.
Okay, I'll try DM JJ McCullough. We'll see what happens. It'd be great if he joined. He's probably too large an account to join, but we'll try our best.
It's early.
It's a night of early results, Rosie. Yep. Let's face it, we still have some seats called in Atlantic Canada. So look, right now there's a couple of seats in Atlantic Canada. They're very close, and within one riding I'm looking at, there's only 5 of the advanced polls in. There's still like 20 more advanced polls to come in, and this is why some of these aren't being called. So we've been talking about the Atlantic for a while.
You like Carney? Look, Carney's a very smart guy. Carney's a very smart guy. I have respect for Carney. I'm glad that they had Trudeau step down and they gave it to somebody different. If Mark Carney's one of the most qualified candidates to ever run in an economic. Yeah, that's true. That's actually true. Guy is like literally a genius.
This is like the big chunk of seats that's going to determine a lot of the storyline tonight. So you're looking at the scoreboard at the bottom of the screen. The big ridings where a lot of people live in Quebec have still not come in yet. Let's go to Ontario, and let me give you a pretty good example of that. You're seeing some red in the north and different things like that, but let's go to the Greater Toronto area. Very few results, very early, right? So this is that belt that Jason Kenney was talking about, Mississauga and Brampton and up in the York region. That's the battleground between the Liberals and the Conservatives in Ontario for first place. We have almost nothing from there at this point in the night.
I honestly think Trump is heading toward the cruising like that. I think Trump is going to just absolutely destroy the American economy with
are very strong in some of the rural areas, but we've got Windsor, we've got London, we've got Kitchener, we've got Hamilton. If I'm going to extend southwestern Ontario, be honest, normal definition. We still have nothing from there.
Good on him.
And it's a similar story out on the prairies, okay? You go in
dude, the tariffs are going to crush the American economy. I think it's still, unfortunately, I mean, I was reading Noel Smith's article today. It's basically going to be 1 or 2 more months before it really starts hitting in, and it's going to be disastrous when all the shortages start coming up on the shelves.
Nothing from Regina.
Mark Carney went to Harvard and Oxford. That's pretty impressive.
You go into Alberta. Right? You see,
I actually like experts, guys. We want to have smart people running things. I think it's a lot better than having like fucking empty
Democrats don't often win in Wetaskiwin. That is a conservative riding historically.
By the way, it's for the people watching. Bad Empanada made like an insane evil post about me, calling me a pedophile and all this shit. So I'm going to do a full response.
At this point in time, similar thing in Edmonton. You do not have results yet from the bulk of the ridings in the big cities of Canada at this point of the night. So while it's 57, 43, 10, and 1, that one, Rosie, is in Leduc-Wetaskiwin. I believe that's where Pierre Poilievre had that massive Edmonton rally, because that's the riding where the airport is. If the New Democrats win that, nobody knows anything about this election, and everyone has been wrong all along.
I mean, I'm willing to accept that. Let's
me too.
as we've been saying, so early results and lots of results flooding in, and as you can see there at the bottom of your screen, 11 minutes now before polls close in British Columbia and Yukon. But let's look at the share of the votes to start to get a sense of the story so far this evening. 51.2% for the Liberals, 39.7% for the
I
Conservatives.
still think Pierre Poilievre still has a chance, but I think the Liberals got it. I think so. I think so.
Let me show you what that looks like.
The only reason this is even close is actually Trump, because 3 months ago they were on track to be destroyed in like the largest election loss in history, basically. And Trump did that.
The
So
Bloc Québécois down 12 and the Conservatives won. If that kind of trend were to continue, that would be encouraging for the Liberals. That would mean that they would come out of Quebec having gained some seats. And
okay, finally, some more people joining on YouTube. I think we got about 25 people on YouTube. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. Remember to like and subscribe. I'm inadvertently galvanizing left-wing politics and liberal international would honestly be the funniest thing ever. That's what he's doing right now. And what can you do? Like, he's being insane. So what can you even do? Yeah, thanks, Trump. How does the Canadian system work? Is it first past the post? No, I don't think it's first past the post. I don't know. Somebody help us.
Well, he was watching us. That's
Canadian election.
He's also waiting, of course, to see the results of his own riding. He is putting himself up for
Oh,
public.
no, you're right. No, sorry. It is first past the post. Sorry, that's my bad. Gee, I think first past the post is a pretty shitty voting system, I have to say. I really like that we've got I think it's really good that we have preferential voting in Australia. Yeah, it's first past the post. Sorry, guys, my mistake.
We do,
First past the post.
really
It's
interesting.
first past
I'd
the
really like to
post
start
in
with,
Canada,
Kapuskasing
same in Britain. I honestly think it's a pretty bad voting system. We've got preferential voting in Australia, so you can theoretically put a third party first. Theoretically, you can put a smaller party first and then give your vote to a major party down the track.
Steve Black, who's the former mayor and the city councillor,
Trump made the Canadian patriotic the non-top 51st state talk. Yeah, literally reinvented Canadian patriotism. It's actually insane, eh?
The NDP, of course. So let's move on to Markham Stouffville. Again, Helena Jazik was the incumbent there. With one of 217, you already have, for the police officer, the Conservative candidate, a lead of 65 there. That is the sort of flip that the Conservatives will really want to hang on to.
By the way, guys, this is the 16th stream in 16 days. We're doing pretty well with this challenge. We're doing pretty well.
Was held by the Conservatives.
Sometimes the numbers just look proportional representation for the regional parties like the Quebeco party. Yeah, that's true.
In the past with Liberals in
I wonder if most Canadians will still hate America.
Chris Sutton,
look, I think people most people think this is Trump, right? I heard MTD is running for shortest Senate seat. Free win for Dems. Dems got some free votes for Catholics after that tweet. Yeah, dude, holy shit. It's actually probably good if she runs for the Senate seat because she's going to get smashed.
Imagine the tariff conversations that have been happening there. No one knows that better than Chris Ensing, who is joining.
By the way, is Easy Money still watching the stream? So Easy Money, I actually messaged Destiny, and he said he will have me on the stream, but I don't know when. It's cool though. It's cool.
Right now, where the NDP are hoping to secure Brian Massey's seat as the longtime incumbent. Voters were telling me that who is going to battle Donald Trump in these conversations and negotiations of a new NAFTA is top of mind. That threat against Canada's sovereignty is also something.
It's crazy that he kept on threatening to basically annex Canada. Like, what the fuck were they thinking? Seriously, what the fuck were they thinking, man?
Sparring with the Conservatives, the Liberal in there now.
Like, if Trump was just normal, he just would have like not really said anything, let Pierre Poilievre win, have a better relationship with Canada because it would be governed by a Conservative. But he's not a normal person; he's just insane. Dude, do you think there'll be a hung parliament in Australia? Look, I think so. The last polling was 52-48 Labor. I think on 52-48 Labor polling, you'd probably expect majority Labor government, but it'd be a thin majority though. Howdy, Drew. Hey, mate. Hey, Zirin Pierce. Thank you for joining, mate. I hope some of our Canadian viewers can tune in. It'd be good.
Promising more than 2,500 jobs for vehicles built in Windsor. Well, people are starting to wonder what is going to happen there once this election finishes and once.
Yeah, guys, you know what's interesting? This is probably a bit of a prediction for the upcoming Australian election. I think Trump's actions over the past couple of months, like people follow American politics so closely in Australia, and I think Trump's actions have really freaked out a lot of people. Ooh, shit. Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry, my
Chris,
dog knocked something
you might
over.
move along
She's
nicely.
silly.
Thanks very much.
Come on, Val.
Rosie?
Sorry, guys.
Adrian, thanks, Chris. And I'm going to go to Ian now.
Trump tweeted that people should basically vote for him in Canada. Dude, he's actually insane. Like, it's just like everything he's doing is trying to help the Liberals. Go on, Canadian. Oh, thank you, bro. Thanks for joining. It's great to have some Canadians in the chat. I'm Danish, and we are almost at a point where people won't forgive America even after Trump. Yeah, true. That's true. I think, yeah, I think Europe, the betrayal is so harsh that it's going to be hard for people to go back to normal.
MLA, both high profile.
Joe, I texted JJ that you wanted him on the stream. Good luck. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Easy Money's been a really big help to me. I actually talked to Destiny Easy Money. I actually tried to invite him on. I mean, I tried to just tried to talk to him, and we he said he'll have me on the stream. I don't know when, but he said he'll have me on.
Okay, thank you for that, Ian. I can tell you that at this hour, more than 1 million votes have been counted, and obviously the counting continues. Of course, there were also more than 7.3 million of you that voted in the advance polls, but lots of vote counting going on right now to bring you some of these results that you're seeing here at the bottom of your screen. Take a look. Those numbers are leading and elected. So the Liberals are leading and elected in 80 ridings at this stage, Conservatives 56.
Honestly, I don't really care who wins. I just hope it's not a minority government because those are always messy. And it's actually really sad. I just want to say it's really sad how like the Liberals allowed a lot of foreign interference by the Chinese government over the past couple of years. I'm really glad that Trudeau's gone. Mark Carney, I think, deserves a good chance. Trudeau really messed things up. TDS is strong in the world. Dude, Pablo, what do you expect to happen when Trump was literally just saying every single day that he wanted the next Canada? What do you think is going to happen, right? Like, they're literally bordering countries. It's fucking dumb. Like, you're allowed to say that Trump has done something retarded here, okay? You're allowed to say that Trump is not a fucking god emperor genius. Sometimes he actually does fucking stupid shit. It's a blessing that someone like Trump is so fucking dumb. We'd be fucked if he had a single brain cell. Dude, literally, I honestly think it'd be really fucking scary if he had a brain cell. If Trump had fucking brains, it'd be really fucking scary. I honestly think it'd be scary. Pablo reckons just thanks to the media. Dude, you can go straight to Trump's Twitter and he's literally threatening to annex Canada. What do you think is going to happen? If he was doing that to Australia, it would be the biggest backlash ever. Any country would be the biggest backlash ever.
But it is worth noting, it is a new riding, and if you look at what the numbers say,
I think you just need to stop believing propaganda. Dude, he literally, like, Trump couldn't be more clear about it. He said so many different times that he wanted to fucking annex Canada. What can you do? It'll be interesting to see what happens to the BQ and the NDP after the election. It'll be interesting. Wow, Polymarket just jumped 86% to Carney. Dude, I think it's over. I think it is over. Like, I think it's over for Pierre Poilievre because of Trump, which is, it's just literally Trump being retarded. Like, what can you, dude, even if you're a Trump supporter, you have to admit that this was retarded. Whatever he was trying to do here was just fucking stupid.
The Liberal candidate, their former mayor of
like, it's just, there's no strategy. It's actually fucking dumb. Come on, guys. Like, even if you're a Trump supporter, you have to say this is fucking stupid. How does it help to just annoy Canadians to the point that you destroy the Conservatives in Canada?
Provincially, Lethbridge's 2 ridings, Lethbridge West, that went NDP.
Dude, Canada has a military. Come on, don't pretend that like it's just a full-on vassal state. That's what people hate. NDP is so cooked. Why is that? Can you guys, if Canadian guys, let me know why you think the NDP is getting cooked.
Michelle Rumple-Garner winning re-election.
He's saying it. Do people expect him to be that smart? I mean, yeah, he's fucking going center.
Not surprising.
Not surprising that any of those folks would be.
It's actually pretty good, guys. We've got about 30 people watching the stream now on YouTube. That's cool. That's cool. It's building up. Remember to give a like and subscribe, guys, if you can. It'd be great. Help me reach more people.
Phenomenal new candidates as well. You just saw Billy.
Yeah, dude, this is the thing, right? Trump could have sat back, coasted on the Biden economy 2 years, could have taken the House. That's literally what would have happened.
And really a significant leader.
I'm Canadian. What Trump is trying to do with us is a gift to China. It literally is the biggest gift to China ever. And dude, I'm against the Chinese Communist Party. So what? You think these guys? I've got some conservative supporters, right? And they're like, why do you have TDS? Dude, I'm against the Chinese Communist Party first and foremost. And what he's doing is helping the Chinese Communist Party.
Reconciliation for First Nations.
NDP is a horrible excuse for a soft end party. Tell me more, Easy Money. That's interesting. Making the Dems look actually deranged. Trump supporters support the tariffs, then once he removes them, the post out of the deal. It's so funny. Yeah, these guys are just retarded. It's a full-blown cult, guys.
But a significant issue.
Their Dems look 100% spot on because of what Trump's doing.
And you may
Dude, I read Noah Smith's article today, and it's actually fucked. Like, in a month or so, there's going to be shortages on American shelves.
We're talking about it in a different way than we had before.
Agreed, man. This is one of like 4 issues Trump is absolutely brain dead on, annexing Canada and Greenland. It is actually like, it is the stupidest shit I've ever seen. Really. AFD probably got lucky the German election was held so early into Trump's term before they got dragged down by association. Yeah, literally true. I'm an Aussie living in USA. I believe Trump is either insane or a total dumb fuck. Both. It's just both, right? Hello, chat. How are the Libs doing? The Libs look like they've won it, guys. We're getting some good comments here. The NDP held too much water for truth. Right, okay. Why is that? Interesting. Trump is motivated by wanting to make things go down in history, so he wants the next Canada or Greenland. But the way he's going about it is just fucking insane, right? It's fucking insane.
All right, let's look at some important ridings that we've been talking about all night. Let's start with Peterborough, because this has always been a riding to watch. Historically, a bellwether, bucked the trend in 2021 when Michelle Ferreri, a popular TV anchor, won. But look at that lead, 436 for Emma Harrison, the small business owner, with just 6 of 308 polls reporting. The Liberals will want to.
Damn, I just got a really cool message from Tim Willer at the Bulwark.
This is important.
That's awesome.
Newmarket or
He's inviting me on a show. That's fucking awesome. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, awesome. Man, that's fucking great. We're fucking winning, guys. I got a message by Tim Miller from the Bulwark. That's fucking great.
What is happening? Sandra Kobena.
Yeah, fuck yeah, that's great. I love the Bulwark.
Just 2 of 212's polls reporting, but
there are block seats going to the Liberals in Quebec. That's really interesting. 12 block seats down in Quebec. Wow.
One last one.
So Bloc Québécois, they're 12 seats down in Quebec, and the Liberals have won about 12 seats off them. That's fucking huge, guys. I think they're fucking. Damn, Trump just changed this so much. NDP could have voted no confidence before Trudeau resigned, but they didn't, even though they would have won a lot of seats. It would lead to a conservative majority. So, and when people says they all went NDP. MAGA needs to learn why you don't elect total loons and rigged opportunities. Yeah, man. NDP could have been the opposition. Both is the truth. NDP serves its purpose. They actually have gotten some good pro-worker legislation over the years. Keep them small, but keep them there. What did he say? Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, I'll show you. I'll literally read out what Miller said.
Closing in British Columbia and the Yukon in just moments. If you're in line to vote, stay there because you still get to do it even after the polls are closed. It is 7 p.m. Pacific.
Oh, I got a message by Tim Miller at the Bulwark podcast. He said, "Yo, we've got a YouTube show for the Bulwark that is Gen Z guest only called FY Pod. It'd be fun to have you on sometime if of interest." It's fucking awesome. That's fucking awesome. Because I mean, I'm technically Gen Z, I guess. Damn, that's fucking awesome. I'm gonna look that up. For you, I think it is Bulwark. FY Bulwark. Yeah, that's fucking cool, guys. That's fucking cool. It's fucking winning, and we've got 35 people watching the stream right now. So you know, it's increasing. Guys, great things are happening. Yeah, his campaign for 4 years and is getting crushed tonight. Isn't it crazy? It's literally all back down to Trump. Who cares about the Canadian Conservatives? Both of their parties support mass immigration and Canada minorities. They're not allies for Trump or Trumpism in any way. That's still fucking retarded. I'm sorry, that's still
unusual. And you could see the NDP and the Bloc not performing where they normally would be. That too has been the story of this election. Let me show you now what seat change looks like. Okay. Let's go through this. Liberals seem to be at this stage leading or elected in 17 seats. Conservatives down 5.
Sorry, my mic went out. I'm just going to say, Gilby reckons, who cares about the Canadian Conservatives? Both of their parties support mass immigration and Canada minorities, and not allies to Trump or Trumpism in any way. Wow, so the smart thing to do then, I suppose, is just make Canada more liberal by attacking Canada and say that you're going to annex them. It's just fully retarded. Branded issues by Trump, annexing land, making meme coins, and even entertaining the meme coin shit is so corrupt. I have a bit of conspiracy theory, but just recently, Trump was at LIV golf event in Miami with the Saudis. Maybe the reason he wants to annex Canada is to value Canada oil and get Saudi oil bought. So he's not going to annex Canada. There's no chance. It's just insane. Congrats, it's awesome you're hopping on different shows. Yeah, man, it's fucking awesome. Damn, FY has 820,000 subscribers. That's fucking crazy. Damn. I'm fucking keen. That's awesome. I swear he's bought by the Saudis. I don't know, man. It's just insane. Wait, JC Stewart, yo, what's up, doing chat? Hey, man, how you going? BC polls close soon. Really curious to see where my writing votes. How old are you? How old? I'm 25, turning 26 in June. June 4, 1999 is my birthday. I was born 10 years the day of Tiananmen. Great coincidence. The Bulwark's become my favorite political show the last year. Awesome. Wow, Liberals have a
in that
majority of
by-election
votes.
now. The
Neither
Liberals
Carney
have
or
Sports
Poilievre
Star
support mass
candidate in
migration.
Claude
That's
Gay,
Shauna's rice balls.
co-president of IBM
NDP
Canada.
is a great
Right
example of
now,
why
the
multi-party
two-polls
system is
reporting he's in the
awful.
lead
There is
by
always two leading
almost
parties in every
300 votes.
country.
Let's move
That was
over
a Trudeau
to
thing. Great to see
Sheffield,
young
where,
Aussie
again, the Bloc
interested in
Québécois
world politics.
incumbent
Thank you,
André
Joanne.
Laurent
Thank you. No, I'm
second,
really interested in this stuff. I'm obsessed
and
with
in
it.
the lead, the Liberal candidate
Max
Felix
Chinlamaitha,
Tiana,
will he
he's
lose
a
Griffith? Dude, I
councillor
really
in
hope he does.
Granby.
I really, really
And
hope he does.
finally,
But
Rimouski.
it'll come down to the
Tim
wire. I
Rayford,
think it'll come
again,
down to the
a name
wire
that
in
will be
Griffith.
known well
I
in
know
that
that
area
the
from
Labor Party's
the
done a really
Métis
big campaign
Gardens
there. They've done a
in the
lot of
area,
door
English
knocking.
Gardens,
I
and
really
the Bloc
fucking hope that
Québécois
Max Chinlamaitha
incumbent
loses.
Maxime Blanchet-Jonca
I really,
in
really
second.
hope.
So all again, Rosie, you know, these are only some of the polls that are coming in. But interesting to see how those numbers are shaking.
Yeah, Métis Gardens also just a lovely place.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we could just do ads of places to vacation.
Are you going to do a follow-up to
Chantal,
Bad
wanna
and
get your
Panada? I
take
hate that guy.
before
Yeah, man, I
before
absolutely
results,
will.
because if
I'm
this-
absolutely
if
going
this
to do a
holds,
full
and
follow-up
the
video.
bloc
He did an
is
hour-long
trending
video ranting about
is
me.
being
It was
projected to
mentally
lose as
ill.
many as 11 seats. That's pretty
I think the
devastating.
Greens could make massive gains if
The
MCM was
bloc
the lead. Are you serious, Malaki? Are you joking right now?
itself believed
Dude,
it
he's
could
like
lose
hated.
10 to 15 seats. Of course, that
I
wasn't
think if the
all
Greens do bad, it's going to be mainly like
this is
MCM's
the
problem.
best
It's more like a
beginning
lefty or righty show. It's definitely a lefty show.
For the
for
Liberals.
It's like a
the
liberal show.
Liberals in
The thing
Quebec
I'm most
that I
excited
have
for is
seen
the
in
election is if
decades.
How
Jagmeet
many
loses
decades?
his seat. Do you reckon there's a chance for that,
Oh,
runners like me?
I don't think I was around.
Let us know.
because,
That's interesting.
Jean Chrétien
Very real
never
chance of that.
won a
Okay, that's
majority of
interesting.
Quebec seats.
Will he lose if
So
he
you go
loses it?
back
Is it
all the
going
way
to
to
be
Jean
a loss
Chrétien,
to the
and
Liberals?
Brian Mulroney wiped them off the map. So I think you'd have to go back to Pierre Trudeau to this, but but it's early.
It's early.
Malaki, are you kidding me?
But-
You're saying
but that's still-
MCM is
that's
young
fine,
and has
it's
a lot
early,
of
but it's
charisma.
still
I don't know. How does he have
fascinating that
charisma? Are you
someone
kidding?
who,
Max Chinlamaitha
at
has
the
charisma.
beginning of the campaign was
Dude,
not
he's like,
speaking
you listen to his
French
voice
as
and it's
well as he was at
extremely
the
fucking
end,
annoying.
would be
51
suddenly
Bard,
that
who is Max Chinlamaitha?
appealing
So
to
he's like,
Quebecers. If this is
he's
where
like,
things
he
go.
tries to
But I'm
fashion
also
himself as kind of
wondering,
like the
numbers
Bernie Sanders of
for
Australia.
coming,
And
whether
but he's
the
not like that at all.
Conservatives
He's a
are
full
also
tanky.
having a difficult
He's
time
just
Right.
cringe as hell.
Okay.
He like his
because at
ex
this
conservatives
point
following
they
Reagan
are
politics who
under
are very
what
anti-Trump
is
from what I
called
know.
the
They aren't
danger
lefty at all.
zone,
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
in
That's cool. That's cool.
percentage
Yeah, no, I'm
points.
look, I'm happy to go on their show. I'm really excited.
That's not when that you get votes but not seats. You need to get over that. And at this point, who knows? Because we're still missing a lot of seats and a lot of posts. But for the Liberals who want 40 seats, they're ahead in 30.
We're getting some retarded Bad Empanada comments. Bad Empanada owns you. Thanks, bro, for joining.
And if
I'm
that
interested in
is
seeing what
true,
happens
if
to
the
Greens in
Conservatives
Queensland.
want
I'm really
that
hoping they go
back,
backwards. We'll
that,
see what
I think,
happens.
speaks to some of the choices that Pierre Poilievre
Jagmeet and the rest of
made.
the NDP look like they are
But we
going
will
to get
talk
blown
more
out of the
about that
water
as
in British
results
Columbia.
from,
That's
Ian
interesting,
has
James.
some
Why
results.
is that?
Yeah, let's
I've been
look
watching
at
James
your
Carville's
home
Politics
province,
War Room
Manitoba,
show.
and in
Highly
particular
recommend
three
guys one
ridings in Winnipeg
his
that
past
are
strategies.
reporting
Okay,
results right
James
now.
Carville. I'll look that up.
This one would be if the Liberals were able to keep it through
Advanced
the
some of
night,
Trump's moves have
a
been
pickup.
Democrats are
I'm
worse.
laughing
California and New
because, of
York have
course,
some of the
you can read the
highest
numbers just as
Democrats
well
and
as
some
you
of the
can.
worst
It's
leaders.
really early. What's
Listen,
interesting
I
about
understand
this,
that these
besides
states are
the
doing
fact
really
that
bad, and those
this NDP
those cities
incumbent
are
is in
doing really
second
bad
place,
on
is
the
that Rawal
West Coast,
Walia,
etc.
23 years old, got the nomination here
Look,
in the
Democrats have a
old
lot of problems with
days,
governance, but I
December
just think right now,
2024.
like
Remember
MAGA has
remember
become
the
full third
prospects
world
for
movement, full
the Liberals at
corruption,
that
full
point. So
incompetence.
I don't think when
Just
you
Alvaro,
pick a
hi from
candidate,
Argentine
the
Drew. Thank you, man, for
expected
joining. It's
response
great
was
to have
something
somebody
to popular.
from
We'll see what
Argentina who's
happens
not
in
bad
Winnipeg
empanada. We love it.
as the
Thanks, man.
evening unfolds. Let's
By the
go
way,
over
we're hitting
to
40 people on the live stream on
Winnipeg
YouTube. That's
West
great.
and
And
see what's
about
happening
we've got
there.
like
And
more
Greg
than 100
Rance,
people watching
the
live on
Conservative
Twitter. I think it's at
incumbent,
1800
is in a lead,
cumulative
not a
views.
huge lead. Doug
It's going
Elson
great.
has
Thanks,
been
guys.
the MP
Please
here
hit a like
before.
and
This is the
subscribe
third
if you're
time, I
watching on
think,
YouTube.
these
I
two
appreciate it.
very well-known politicians, and Doug Elson, also an ER doc, so well-known for that as well, are facing off in Winnipeg.
Not from
West.
Argentina,
So
but I
another
hold
one
the
we're gonna be
passport.
looking at
Interesting.
very
So, Trans
closely.
Rice
In
you're
Winnipeg, no
Canadian,
surprise to see
but
Kevin
you have an
Lamoureux,
Argentinian
the
passport. Interesting.
incumbent, in the lead. But I'll tell you what is interesting is that if you look at the percentages last time around, the NDP was in second place with 28% of the vote. Their support right now has plummeted to 8%, and almost all of that has been picked up, and this is early, I know, not by the Liberals, but by the Conservatives.
Right.
So just kind of interesting. That's we would expect Kevin Lamoureux.
Max Lemater is around my age, so I hope he does well. Full millennial imperialism across planet. No, I'm Gen Z, so the millennials are so annoying, I have to say.
Yeah,
I live in a
Kevin
BC riding
Lamoureux
with one of the
is hugely
safest NDP
popular
seats,
in
and
that
his
riding,
forecast
so
has been an
we'll
easy
see
liberal when
what,
Jagmeet is
whether
right
that
next door, and
continues.
same thing.
Just
Holy
want to tell
shit.
you that
But
the
why
Liberals
Jagmeet? That's
continue
actually, I mean,
to,
sorry.
do well
Why
on
James? That's
tonight,
really
but
interesting.
also want to tell you
It
there are
was great listening
85
to you. I
ridings
subscribed and will
where
continue
it
checking.
is
Good night. This
very
whole Danny is
close
going to
still.
bed. Keep up the
And
great
so
commentary.
we
Thank
might
you, Joanne. That's
just
very
be in
nice of you.
forums
I really
tonight
appreciate
as,
that. Thank you,
we
Joanne. Have a
get
good
through
night.
all of these
Thank
results
you.
and
Yeah, you get nice
actually
people online these days sometimes.
We're going to
Very nice. Thank you.
for
Thank you
just
so much.
1 minute. riding, Rosie, one that
When
we
is the
believe
Australian
is
election
going to be a
again?
real
So that's
scrap
Saturday our
a
time. So I
projected
guess it'll
elected in
be.
South Shore, St. Margaret's.
So
Let's take a
when
look
you
here.
guys are waking up on Saturday in
The
North
Liberal Jessica
America,
Fancy Landry
we'll have the
projected
results
elected
probably
in that riding. Rick Perkins
around the
took
same
this
time you're
riding
waking.
from the Liberals in the last
Viet Tran,
election.
thanks for joining, man. Sup,
But it
man.
was
We've
not
got
to
40
be
people
for
watching.
him
It's actually
this
going
time
pretty
out.
good.
He had an
Going pretty good.
additional challenge because, of course,
Please,
the
guys,
NDP
remember to hit
did
like.
not
It'd be great.
run an official candidate in this riding.
Hit
So
like
there
and
were
comment
questions, I
and
think,
subscribe.
about what happened to
Ah,
that
so annoying.
post.
Bad and Panada has
But when
basically
you
sent
look
his
at
fans to brigade my video on him,
across the
and
board,
it's just like the
you know,
like has
it
got
hasn't
like
been
ratio's
all
gone
that
from
substantial
99%
across
to
the country,
77%.
Rosemary. So perhaps that
So
won't have been
annoying.
that much
So
of a
fucking
factor. But
annoying. Seriously.
nonetheless, Jessica Fancy Landry projected elected in South Shore St. Margaret.
Canada's
That's
moderate
a
politics is something to be
significant
envious of in much
Okay.
of the world. I
Thank
mean,
you
compared
for
to like
that. I'm
Russia
going
and
to
stuff,
show
I
you
agree.
a board right now to try and explain where we're at and
Zoom
what you should be
imperialism.
watching for as the results continue to tick in from polls right across the country at this stage. This is where the Liberals are right now. They are leading
Let's
or
see.
elected in 123 ridings. Let me show you
Wow.
the next piece of that. That is the pink seats that you're seeing there. Those are incumbents. Those are the seats that they would have to now win. 51 more if they want to track towards a majority. And if they were to win those 51 incumbents, incumbency, as we've been talking about, does give you an advantage. But if they were to win that, they would surpass the 172 they need to get to a majority. So they need to hold those leading and elected in 123 that you see on your screen. They need to hold the 51 incumbents that are there, and then they're on their way. And things are tracking in this direction so far tonight. But again, many close races, and we're watching some of those.
Apparently, CTV is making this look like a Liberal minority.
Yeah, so just to
It
give
could
you
be a
little
minority
context,
Liberal government.
so we were
Interesting.
talking about Atlantic Canada
Do you
earlier.
think
It was
Carney will be a
22
good
to 10,
PM?
right? 22 Liberals,
Carney's a
10
smart guy.
Conservatives. Well,
What is your
there are two
biggest
ridings,
geopolitical
Terra
concern currently?
Nova,
The CCP.
where
It's
Anthony
still
Germain
always
is
the
running for the
CCP.
Liberals, where the advanced polls
But you know, it's broadly
often
Russia,
have
China,
put
Iran.
Trump
They're
getting
working
over the
together.
top there, and as Central
Tories
Nova,
are
the
far.
advanced polls have put Sean Fraser back in the lead as
Any
well.
luck on
They've gone
activating
to
the
red, so
Twitch?
we're to a
I would switch from
23-9
Twitter to
count
Twitch.
in Atlantic
I'm not
Canada
sure
now.
why, but the last
Moving to
couple times that
Quebec,
I've tried to start up my Twitch,
Chantal
I don't
was
know
saying
why it
this
just
is the
doesn't
best
work.
early
But
results
I'm
we've
gonna
seen
try.
to
I'll
date
try.
for the
Like, you know,
primary in
I'll
Ontario.
see what.
My apologies to the people of Quebec.
I'll try. I'll try.
It was the best night she's seen for Liberals in a long time at the start of an election. Well, look at this, what we're still waiting for. You know, Rosie was saying the Liberals are up
NTV votes
seats. We still don't
transitioning
have
to
a lot of
conservative
seats
votes
in
is
from the island
interesting.
of Montreal, where the
They get a
Liberals are
majority.
really
It will go down
strong.
as the biggest
And
cut
so
in
these
any election ever.
battlegrounds on the South Shore
Yeah, gee.
in particular.
I wish
the
someone like
Liberals
Carney
in a
becomes the
block
next
or in a fight
president.
that really could
Smart guy.
determine whether the
Steve
Liberals
says, "Good day,
get to
Champion
this
Drew." Thanks,
majority
Steve, for joining in.
government.
You
That's
join
what
in
Rosie
to every
was
stream, so I
suggesting was
appreciate it, man. That's
available
very
for
kind
them
of you. Thank you,
in
mate.
this election. And it's a similar situation in Ontario. We're starting to get things populated. You're seeing a lot
I'm logging
more
into Twitch
red
now. And I'm going to try
getting
to
there in
see
the
what I have to
GTA,
do.
but still not out in sort of the Halton region and the Peel region. We're still waiting on a lot of seats there. And when you go into southwestern Ontario, look, we are seeing red in Windsor, red in London, and we're still waiting on some of southwestern
172
Ontario.
seats
Liberals
needed for a
hoping to gain. I'll
majority.
show you one last thing before I send it back to Rosie, and that's in Manitoba. Because the urban centers are where the Liberals are going to. This majority
Americans
is gonna
electing
live
someone
and
with a
die
PhD in
tonight.
economics.
There's
Impossible.
only 2 ridings in.
Like,
for
you
this
literally
next
got Trump right
round to
now.
come in the big
So
state
it's
of Canada.
not looking
Rosie?
good at the
Thank
moment.
you very much for that, David Cochran.
China's the biggest problem. I
And
take
some
Taiwan because
news
Russia
for
needs to
all
be
of
stopped
you.
first. It's very
Canada,
bad.
get ready. Our CBC
I
News
agree.
decision desk
CCP is
is
the
ready
biggest
to make a
long-term
call.
problem, but Russia needs to be stopped first.
Canada's next government will be a Liberal government. It is not yet clear at this hour whether it will be a minority or majority, because some of those close races we were talking about. This marks a 4th Liberal mandate, very rare in Canadian politics. But the Liberal Party, led by Mark Carney, has pulled it off, a stunning reversal, a Liberal comeback with a first-time politician as leader. You're looking live there at the Liberal Party headquarters right now.
All the districts on the border are blue. Damn. Damn, guys, it's looking pretty strong for Carney right now. They're calling it this early. That is wild. Damn. Holy shit. Damn, they're actually calling it. They're fucking actually calling it. Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
remarkable, as we said, reversal
Holy
in
shit.
political fortunes for the Liberal Party that was thought perhaps to be left for dead just months ago has now made this incredible comeback, remarkable comeback, and is going to form government yet again with someone who has never been elected to public office before. We're waiting on results from his riding tonight. Mark Carney, the 24th Prime Minister, will now be the 25th Prime Minister as well. Let me show you how it happened. Here is the vote share, the share of vote that we've been showing you through the night. The Liberals over 50%, the Conservatives at 38.6, which again, we've been saying in a regular election would have been a remarkable
Wow,
share of the vote
they're
for
calling
them.
it that
But the
early.
story really in what's happening with the other
Wow.
parties on the board there, the Bloc and the NDP, not even reaching 5% at this stage. Let me
Australian
show you
election night,
some
probably
change
ABC. I
that
always watch
allows
ABC
us
on election
to,
night.
call
Very early. In an American
for a
election, I love how
Liberal
they just
government.
call California and Texas immediately, even
23
if voting is
seats
counting at 1%,
leading
because
and
we already know
elected in.
who's
The
voted.
Liberals
Yeah.
are up.
I think it'll be a slim
Conservatives
majority, but
down
still calling it this
5,
early
the
is just weird.
Bloc down
Yeah, it's
12 at
really
this
early to
stage,
call
which,
it.
as Chantal was saying,
Even
was
with
not
Trump on my country's ass, Ukraine is still my
out of
top
the realm
priority.
of
It is us who
possibility
are
even for
indebted to them,
people
not the other way
inside
around.
the Bloc, but
Very
it
nicely
was
said,
very
James. Very nicely
disappointing
said.
for them.
Agree even.
And the NDP
Even in
now
Australia's case,
down
if Russia
6.
can't be
The
stopped, it will
NDP
supply
right now
China,
on
and
your
more
screen
importantly, when China
only
makes its move, Russia
leading
will
or
start a
electing
diversionary operation in
2
Europe to support China.
ridings.
Absolutely.
Remember, you
That's
need
exactly what
12
I
to
think is
get
going to happen.
official party status.
Have you heard about the
So
Spain-Portugal
over
power
to
outage?
David to
Outage?
give
Do
us
you
a
think
sense
it's
of how we
Russia?
got
I'm
here.
not sure.
Well,
I
because
have
what
heard about it. I'm not
at
sure
risk
the
of repeating
exact
myself, but that's going to happen a
details of
lot
that.
on
I'll have to
election
read
night.
into that more.
There are 32
Trump
seats
is
in
uniting
Canada. We said the
Canada
path to
like no one
majority
did
for the
before. It's
Liberals is
actually amazing,
25.
guys.
Right now they sit
Wow.
at 23. And let
The
me
blue
tell you,
political party is
this
the
riding
Liberals
in
in
Terra
Canada.
Nova, my buddy Terry Roberts is
Wow,
at
they've
the
already
election
called it.
party
This is
for the
actually nuts.
Conservative candidate. He says the air has gone out of the place because the advance polls are coming in and the lead is shrinking. The Liberals might get to 24, not the 25. We said
This
they
is
needed
nuts,
for a
guys. It's
majority,
crazy.
but that gets them a little bit closer. We go into Quebec, you see a lot of red in a lot of places, and you're going to see even more red in the island of Montreal. Right now, we had said that the Liberals needed 40 seats in Quebec to be on a path to a majority. They're sitting at 42. And Montreal and the North Shore and the South Shore haven't populated. Down to 40, I'm told. It's changing in real time. But still, the areas where they're strong is...
Oh, shit. Sorry, my bad. Shit,
And
sorry.
that is a sign of
I
hope for
confused
them.
that.
This is why you
Fucking hell.
see
Sorry,
a
guys.
minority government is almost certain at this point, or is certain at this point, and a majority
I
government is
confused
still
it.
very
My
much
bad,
in
guys. Little
play.
party in
Let's
Canada.
go into
Jeez.
Ontario, and let's go to that
My
key
bad.
fortress. One of
Little
the
party in
four
Canada is
big
red. My
pillars
bad. I'm
for
sorry,
the
guys.
Liberal
The blue is
governments
the
that have been
Conservative Party.
elected since
That's my bad.
2015.
I'm sorry
You
about that.
still see a tremendous amount of
That's
red,
that's wrong.
certainly in the
That's
city
wrong
of
for me.
Toronto
I got
and
it
in the areas
confused.
around
The
it,
other way around.
punctuated with a little bit of blue right
Never
now.
mind.
The latest numbers I had is that the Liberals are at
Yeah, man. Maybe
56
Canada
seats,
should
and
join
they're
the
up
EU.
2
Seriously.
seats in Ontario. They're now at 63 seats in Ontario. We had said they needed to be at 80, so they're tracking towards that because a lot of these seats that will fill in over the course of the night, history and polling tells us that these will go Liberal.
Sorry, guys.
Now, let's go into Manitoba.
It's actually crazy
The
they
Liberals
called
are
it that
currently
early.
sitting at 4 seats. We had suggested they would want to get 6 here to build up to a total of 10 on the prairies to be at a majority level. They have one, obviously, in the north right now where they're leading in the NDP-held riding of Churchill. And they've got a couple of 3 seats.
I think
right
Trump
now
is afraid of
in
Carney. Carney is
Winnipeg,
knowledgeable
and
on
these
economics,
are
calm, and
also
won't be
seats where
bad.
the
Yeah,
Liberals will need to
Carney
push to
literally,
get more results
Carney threatened to
tonight.
sell
So
American
there is
bonds, and
still
then that
upward
caused Trump to
potential
back
for
down.
the Liberals as
Polling
they
market
try
is
to
at
get that magic
99%.
number
My
of
gosh.
172. And this helps right here. This is Desnethne Misnippy Churchill River.
Oh, this is a
It's
funny
river
tweet by Mike
leading
Vertigo.
in Saskatchewan.
This is an
Down in
economist
Churchill
writer.
Set.
People have
That's the real
underestimated
thing.
Trump's
It's not
electoral heft,
officially
but surely this is
projected
proof beyond all
elected yet,
doubt. He's
but this is a
single-handedly
chance
ended
for
the
the Liberals to
anti-incumbent
break
wave in
through
Western politics.
Saskatchewan for
Amazing.
the first time
That's
since
actually
Ralph
crazy.
Goodale was a member of parliament. And here in Alberta, you see a lot of blue. This is where a lot of the Conservative seats are coming from. But you got to zoom in on Calgary, where the Liberals are leading right now in Calgary Centre, and you got to zoom in on Edmonton. These are going to be the areas where the Liberals and the New Democrats are going to be in a battle. Those 2 seats that I just showed, those will be pickups right now for the Liberals if those results hold. So, Rosie, you can see a roughly even performance in the Atlantic with the potential of it to get back to where it was and maybe grow a little bit. A good early start in Quebec, decent numbers in Ontario, presence in the prairies. Still too early to say exactly what's going to happen in British Columbia. But, you know, BC often complains about being the empty net goal on election night. They might be the winner.
Wow, I just read it in a really crazy news article. The HMS Truman carrier strike group lost an F-18 Hornet to the sea because the carrier had to make a hard turn to evade Houthi fire. The first time in 80 years that a US carrier has had to make a hard turn to evade incoming fire. That's nuts.
Could be awfully important here tonight. You're always important in British Columbia, but even more important in
Wow,
terms
maybe
of
Liz will have a
government
decent majority, not
for
a slim
Mark
one. My
Carney
God.
to become
Is the Alberta joining the US
Prime
movement still a
Minister
thing.
right now, but stays
No.
Prime Minister. the
Long live
24th
Chairman
Prime
Carney.
Minister, and now for sure won't have any problems beating Charles Tupper's record of being Prime Minister for only 68 days. He's going to hang in there a little bit longer, apparently. Ashley Burke is at Liberal headquarters where they are dealing with the news and waiting for more news in terms of what kind of government they're going to have for this fourth mandate, Ashley.
You heard the reaction here in the room, Rosie. People
Conservatives nearing 100. Apparently, Hegseth has gotten multiple Reaper drones shot down. I heard by the 50. Fucking idiots, eh? They should be doing a lot better. It's the fucking Houthies, guys.
They want a majority government, and as you just mentioned, they're thinking, could it come down?
Goldman Sachs is now projecting that the US will have the lowest economic growth and the highest inflation rate of any developed economy in 2025.
As you mentioned, is one of the most
So much
dramatic
winning.
reversals in political fortune that we've seen in recent
Right
Canadian
before Paul
history.
started Pumpkinhead, Trump posted Canada to be a 50th state. That would have helped. He's a fucking retard, eh?
Justin Trudeau, after he left,
Actually fucking nuts.
turned things around, but we've really been watching him on the spot.
Now they'll have to get that F-18 out of the sea before it is recovered by an enemy tower trying to get the avionics test. Megaforce all around the world on the retreat. Yeah. Pierre should have made a better adjustment after Trump got in. This is honestly depressing. The Alberta separatist movement is 100% astroturf. Oil market gives 92% chance of Dragmeet losing seat. That's pretty funny, actually. Yeah, 45 people watching live. Thank you guys for watching on YouTube live. Hit like and help us reach more people. That's great.
Stay on and lead this country. After he's really been hammering home his message about during this campaign about who is best to deal with Donald Trump. Rosie.
Okay, Ashley Burke coming from Liberal headquarters where there are a lot of happy people there tonight, but we'll see how happy they are because we still have to call what kind of government Mark Carney is going to lead, a minority or a
Seriously, fucking well done, Trump. It's actually amazing that you've managed to somehow do this.
Mandate like this, incredibly rare in Canadian politics. The last time was from 1993 to 2006 under two leaders. That was Jean Chrétien and Paul Martin. Some similarities here again because this is happening with two different leaders.
Trump literally told Canadians to vote for himself, and then they responded by fucking smashing the Conservatives. It's like he did it on purpose.
Could not.
You are
That
right.
is,
Yes.
become the new leader of a very unpopular government, get a boost in the poll. That's all par for the course. But to hold that lead long enough to not go in that portrait gallery
Yes.
as someone about whom the kids ask, who's that
Who's that guy?
person?"
Yeah.
Right. That is quite an achievement when you go back 4 months to where we were. This is not the election night that anyone imagined we would have. And I'm guessing it's not the election night looking at those numbers that the NDP imagined either, or the Bloc.
No, pretty devastating numbers, and we'll come back to them. But I want to get Arif Virani in because you are a former Liberal cabinet minister. Still happy with that decision not to run, are you?
I'm very happy with that decision, as is my family. But, but I'm also equally delighted with what's transpiring. I mean, what we've seen is something that is truly quite remarkable.
Yep.
And I think what I'm really proud about tonight is Canadians, how strongly they came out to vote, what's been motivating them, but also just really discerning in terms of making choices based on what's on offer. An individual with a business background who had navigated two world economies through difficult crises, and you had another politician who was frankly still offering catchword phrases and running an election as if we were back in November or December. Things changed. Justin Trudeau is no longer around. The consumer carbon price no longer around. And Donald Trump entered in a big way.
Yeah.
And we saw other conservative politicians in this country pivot, like provincially, Doug Ford in this province. We saw an inability for a pivot on the part of Pierre Poilievre. And I think you're seeing the results. People have decided that they want mature professional leadership. And that's what they're getting with Mark Carney. And I think it's a really important time for Canada because there's a lot of hard work to be done.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of government we end up with here, Andrew, because that also sends a message. If Canadians opt for a minority government, that also is a message.
There's no Trump 40 strategy. He's literally just retarded. He's literally just retarded.
This has happened because it is right. It is a remarkable thing.
Yeah, it would not have happened without Donald Trump, I don't think. If Mark Carney had simply come in and said, well, I'm changed, I'm a new prime minister, I'm not sure that would have been enough to carry the day. I'm not sure if Trump alone would be enough to carry the day, though. I think it's
45 people watching live on YouTube. That's great, guys. Thanks so much.
So far
Please consider liking, hitting the like button, subscribing. Help me reach more people.
Leadership and the
Trump is like actually just
of the
fully
two-party
retarded.
leaders. That
Crazy.
was clearly to Carney's advantage. But I think probably what put him over the top was he was also enough change.
It's going to be a bigger margin than the Trudeau win.
He wasn't
Holy shit.
enough.
MAGA
Not
is like
only would he be nothing,
actually
but the two things together,
full
I think, was enough
toxic
to
in
move
every
Mark.
single
Althea, what do you make
country.
of the
You
the
can
win?
have a vague
I
association
agree
with
with everything
MAGA. It will
Jeff said, but I
destroy your
would
political
add
career. That's like literally in
basically
every
three
Western country
Democrats
that's not
that
America.
have
If
handed
you have
Mark
even the
Carney
slightest
until
MAGA
12 to
association, you will
become
just
prime
be like
minister, remain prime
destroyed.
minister.
That's how
And
much
for
people hate
them,
this shit.
the fear was, yeah, Donald Trump, but also Pierre Poilievre. They decided that they
Yeah,
really
MAGA's like
feared Pierre
literally just
Poilievre
repellent
more
now.
than they feared another liberal government. And so they've basically abandoned their party in droves and possibly handing Mark Carney a majority government. So it's not. You guys should send the NDP a thank you note.
I think progressive voters in my riding of Tayak on Parkdale Park, and good luck to the team there. But I think progressive voters really had to make a difficult decision, and that was simply that.
Rukshan says leave Trump alone. Rukshan, do you want to join here? Because I actually want to ask you, because Rukshan, I can send you the link, Rukshan, and let's talk about it. Because I know that you're a supporter of Trump, and I want to ask your thoughts. Truly, you think that this was a stupid thing that Trump did? Because, like, what's the defense? He literally just single-handedly handed the election to the Liberals.
Okay, and the NDP.
I'm going to send
is
Rukshan.
right now.
I'm going to send Rukshan
Let's get some more information
invite
about how
link.
we got here, how we were able to.
Let's
call
have
the
Rukshan join, and we'll
tonight.
ask.
Cullen's got some of those results.
Yeah, and obviously, Rosie, part of this picture has to do with Quebec and what has happened with the Bloc Québécois. So let's take a look.
I'm asking. I've sent Rukshan the link, and I'm going to ask him to join the stream. And I want to ask him because he's a Trump supporter. I want to ask him, please, like seriously, give us the steelman view. What was Trump doing here that was actually smart? Because what could you even see here that worked well? He helped elect the Liberals. He helped elect the left wing in Canadian politics. So if you're a conservative, why is that good?
And again, the Liberal candidate with the Bloc Québécois incumbent in second. We'll head down to the South Shore.
Yeah, dude. Can you imagine? Trump's already hitting below 40% approvals. Imagine when the shelves are empty. It's going to be so toxic. MAGA and Trumpism also don't work and falls completely flat without Trump's very American-centric appeal. It's just like a cult around Trump, and everybody who doesn't personally have a cult following of Trump hates it.
We can project elected. Ian Hannah-Mansing's got some of those.
Trump may have gotten the Liberals to wake up, but if it wasn't for Carney, it would have been Poilievre winning tonight. There's honestly no other political talent left in the Liberal Party. Honestly, Carney is a smart man. I'm on the road for election. Canadians have their own agency. Trump impact is minimal. Thanks for the invite. Look, Rukshan, how can you say that it was a good strategy by Trump? I don't think a single person could say that, right? Even if you're the biggest Trump supporter, tell us, please, how did this work for conservatives? He helped elect the Liberals. Like, dude, 4 months ago, the Liberals were giving. The Liberals had a projection that they were going to have less than 10 seats. And now they're winning majority government. And the only thing that changed was Trump came in and started saying he's going to annex Canada. Dude, Carney was down, the Liberals were down 25 points before Trump comments being the 51st state. That's a comment by Mike. Literally 25 points down. I just don't understand what Trump supporter can just be like, Trump had nothing to do with this. It's just the most obvious thing in the world.
When I started speaking a few minutes ago, Jeffrey Walters was in the lead. The big question in Regina, Wisconsin for a lot of people is the number of times the Liberals won there. Was it Ralph Goodale that was the factor, or was it Liberal support? And a lot of people wondering what's going to happen there tonight. As you can see, it is close, but the Conservatives are in the lead in Ralph Goodale's old riding.
Okay, Adrian, you've got some results too.
Certainly. Catherine showed you some seat changes. I'd like to show you some vote changes in Ontario. Why don't we have a little look at this? So Liberals up 9.5 percentage points. Conservatives also up 9.0, but look at the NDP down 12.7. That is where the vote.
Charles Russell, it's 80% Trump and 20% new Liberal leading. That's still huge for Trump, right? Well, protectionist, my fears are that Trump will destroy protections for a generation. Dude, that's also what's going to happen as well. Like, this is the funny thing, right? Like, I actually like Biden's strategically placed tariffs on the Chinese economy. I think in some certain segments of the economy, like semiconductors and stuff like that, that was good. But Trump's very incompetent handling of tariffs, where he just puts it on everything. I mean, that is going to destroy protectionism for 50 years, 60 years. What if Montana and North Dakota end up voting Dem due to close connections to Canada? Look, very hard to see that happening, but that'd be interesting.
Leslie Church and Toronto St. Paul's with a lead.
Carney's a very smart guy. I really respect him.
Lost that to Don Stewart.
Again, imagine if Trump was gone for 2 years. Canada would have gone conservative. Germany would have had a three-party
the
coalition with the Russia Sims instead of the two
remember,
with the
that is
normal
part of the
parties.
story. Thank
It's
you,
crazy,
Adrian. That
eh?
is part of the story here is that a lot of these
Yeah,
ridings
look,
are
Malaki, I agree with you. I want
close.
Australia to cut off
We
trade with
cannot
China.
yet
I
tell
do
you
want
what
that. It's
kind
going to
of
be very hard
government,
for us to do that
Mark Carney
because
will lead.
both
Yes,
major parties
in
are really
case you
invested
missed
in
the
China
big moment,
economically.
the
Isn't it the
Liberals
biggest
have
irony that if
secured
Trump
a
had just
fourth
sat at the Resolute
mandate
dress,
led by
shut his
Mark
trap,
Carney,
and
who
played
is
golf,
at
the US
this
economy would
stage
be flying so
waiting
fast.
to
I
see
know,
whether
everything
he
he's
will be
doing is
elected
fucking
in the
retarded.
Sud riding.
This is why I don't understand how people are still mad as
Adrian,
cultists at this point.
Ferrari,
He literally
what
could
are
have
you
just
hearing
sat
from
there
your
and he
local
would have had like
president?
60% approval ratings and they would have won the midterms and he would have been like just the most popular president probably since
Obviously,
Reagan, right?
majority government is
And instead he has to
aspirational,
just
we
be
would like
mentally
to have.
ill.
You heard Dominic talk about that earlier, but I think people are
Real
elated.
protection hasn't
We
been
know
tried.
where the party was.
Trump thinks tariffs are a money-making machine. I
We
don't
know
think he
where we
understands
were
what. He
in
literally just has
January.
no
The
idea.
fact that
He
it's
has
been
no
such
idea.
a remarkable swing is a testament to optimism. It's a testament to Mark Carney's leadership, but again, it's a testament to Canadian voters. And I think, when I think back about what's really changed in the last little while, I think if you're looking at somebody who you need to stand
Like Trump actually wanted to elect a liberal government in Canada. Why? Like, what? Literally, why? It's fucking weird. This was his choice. He made this choice for some reason.
Posturing themselves that they want to be that person, Pierre Poilievre, who shows an inability to stand up to Preston Manning and Daniel Smith, I think you don't have the right individual. When you have somebody who still continues to speak in three-word slogans as opposed to presenting an accurate plan, an outlined plan, a professionalized plan, you don't have
Dems would have looked completely drained for saying Trump is a dictator. Now they actually have faith. Yeah, if he had just sat at his fucking desk and then gone golfing every weekend and just done nothing, and his polling would have been 60%, the economy would be flying, and the Democrats would be saying he's a dictator, and then they look insane. But instead, he actually just has to prove all his critics right all the time. Tariffs are basically never optimal industrial policy. You just shield domestic manufacturers from competition, prevent them from being competitive. You need to subsidize the industry. I think, yes, you need to subsidize the industry, but I also think at the same time, it makes sense to say you can't export really high-end semiconductors and high-end technology to China because obviously there's a direct competition there right now on national security grounds. It's crazy how America implements hardline protectionism every 100 years and then it always backfires on us. Yeah, it's true. It's like literally every 100 years. Last one was Smoot Hawley in the 30s. Trump wants to go down in history because he knows it's his last term. He doesn't care if people like him. He just wants to do whatever. But if you go down in history as a retard, like, what's the point? Trump could have gone full goofy Clinton style 70% approval. Yeah, he would have been very popular. Trump is a poker player that giggles when he has winning cards. Yeah, that's true actually. One of my family voted for Trump and Republicans because they see blue states moving to Florida, and yet now they're maybe regretting their decision. Yeah, my parents are full Trump supporters, but I think even them, they are kind of thinking like, why is he doing a lot of this shit?
You've already won. You've already won.
The votes have already been cast.
We're just waiting to see. Yes, we're just waiting to see how it goes. But it's hard to shake it off. I understand. I think Ian has some early results.
Yeah, in British Columbia, as we've said, the Conservatives, Liberals, and NDP have done well there. They certainly did well there in 2021, and so there's a lot of potential, particularly for the Liberals and the Conservatives, to pick up seats.
How many seats for Liberal plurality, Drew? Well, look, they've got 150 seats, and the majority is 176, I think.
For the NDP.
Can you ask for a one-time only repost from a Canadian election tweet? Okay, man. I'll try to find it. Where's your tweet? 51 baht.
In the interior,
I'll have a look.
South Okanagan, West Kootenay, again relatively close, but this would be a pickup for the Conservatives if they could hang on to this. Helena Konans is a former professional tennis player and competed in Wimbledon.
I retweeted you 51 baht. I appreciate you for joining our stream. At the end of the day, as hard as Poilievre pretends to be a Canada First populist, he's still just a corporatist Reaganite neolib. I can see why Trump would rather deal with Khan.
Would be a change
We'll
if
see.
this were to hold. And interesting, Ernie Klassen was.
I saw someone post on Twitter going like, "This is actually 50D chess because the Liberals will run Canada into the ground, and then in 3 years we'll just annex them." I think that's full hope though. Mike Carney's a smart guy. Talking about protectionism, the Democrats' TPP plan was an effective strategy to contain China. Dropping it left China still being dominant and did nothing. Yeah, Vietran, look, I actually did support TPP. I support TPP. It made a lot of sense to isolate China economically.
That's Yves-François Blanchet in the riding of Belleuil-Chambly. He has won handily in that riding, but he is probably not enjoying the evening so far, given where things are tracking for the Bloc. Remember, at last vote, the Bloc Québécois had 35 seats, and right now they're tracking towards 23. We'll continue to watch some of those numbers because, as we've told you, the vote is changing. It is close still in many, many ridings across the country. And that is why we are waiting to tell you whether you have a minority or majority government. Rafi Bouchikanian, I can see you there. Yves-François Blanchet has been
It's like the racist party.
Decision Desk has
That's funny.
projected him elected. But
Yeah,
not,
Hartzenneck's a
not a
big
strong
country after you
evening
run your
so
own
far
nations
for the Bloc
around. Yeah,
Québécois. What are you
yeah.
hearing?
BQ is the Quebec separatist party.
It is not, and you'll forgive me. I was
Really
just
interesting that
turning around,
Quebec
just trying to
exists.
figure
Like,
out
there's
who
a
they
part
were
of Canada that's
cheering
just
there.
literally
There
French.
have been
I
a
really want to
lot
go
of
there, actually. It'd be
cheers for
interesting to
people
see.
you'd expect to
It'd
get
be very
elected,
interesting.
like Yves-François Blanchet and a couple of others like Alexis Brunel-Duceppe, you know, like a stalwart
PPC is
of
racist
the
party. They won
party.
0 seats. They
But
never win anything. Is
um,
that what's the
this
equivalent of
is
PPC?
not the results they're
Is that like
looking
One
for.
Nation Australian
23
politics?
seats. I mean, that's kind of a number where if the Liberals get a majority, that's not a great night for the Bloc Québécois. They're trying to cheer up here. They're trying to be, you know, enthusiastic. They did have one major win. We were talking about Gaspésie earlier. Well, they won that riding. Radio-Canada announced that they project a win for Alexis Deschênes, that star candidate, who will be
PPC is their equivalent
riding
of
from
like
Canada,
One Nation
to be
United
a
Australia
Liberal
party.
who has been
Interesting.
there for a while, and the crowd
Quebec
erupted
City is
into
top in the world in my
enthusiastic
opinion. I
cheers
actually
when
really want to
that
go to Quebec
happened.
City. It looks really
So
beautiful,
that was
actually.
one that's a take from the Liberals. So that's
Trump
a
is a
good
gift that
reason
keeps
for
them
them
with.
to be happy.
People's
But
Party does
for
look
the
like
rest of
basically
it, I mean,
Canada's
they're
One
really
Nation.
just sort of trying
Okay,
to hold
interesting.
on to hope. We've got a little bit of a show here. They keep inviting incumbents or candidates to come up and talk to the crowd. There's an MC asking them all sorts of questions about, you know, how did your campaign go and what do you think of Yves-François Blanchet's messages, and they're just sort of trying to hold on to hope at this point.
Okay, Rafi Bouchikanian, thank you so much from Montreal. We will be back to you, of course. Perhaps we can show a bit of how the vote share in Quebec changed. Let me know when we can go to that. But I'll go to Chantal, I think, if I can. Yves-François Blanchet, this is his third election, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yes, and he probably is feeling better when he compares his fate to what could be happening to the NDP.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone at this point is looking to challenge the leadership of Yves-François Blanchet. A lot of people in Quebec over the campaign were saying, well, we're going to lend our vote to the Liberals because of special circumstances. But it wasn't a judgment on the Bloc Québécois that they were making. Now, that being said, what also created this dynamics in Quebec in particular, the only province where Pierre Poilievre never led the pack, was always in third place, was this notion at some point the Bloc surged, not because the Bloc was doing so well, but because a lot of Quebec
BBC has your views on immigration. Is that really the case, man? Look, I don't have like One Nation views on immigration. My view is just that I want to have it lowered on the grounds of housing.
So we are
On the grounds of housing affordability.
a wall by voting for the Bloc. And of course, that wall crumbled the second that Justin Trudeau left and the polls showed that Mark Carney had a shot at winning.
Well, then they built a wall around the Liberals in Quebec is really what happened to keep out Pierre Poilievre.
I mean, they're looking at for 40 seats, and it looks at this point in the evening like they're going to get better than that.
Okay, some other good news for the Liberals at this hour. Let me show you who has just been elected as a member of Parliament for the very first time, and that is Mark Carney, Canada's Prime Minister. This is his first time running for public office. He was tempted many times, but never decided to go for it. And this time he has won handily in his riding.
They're all fucking retarded, man. They're literally all stupid.
I have this trivia somewhere, but the last time that a prime minister's riding was...
A lot of MAGA at Twitter is saying there is election interference in Canada because Canada's election rate both sides down. These guys are just so fucking dumb. They have the same worldview as like medieval peasants. Like the website's down, therefore, you know, like the comet's been sighted in the sky, but the world is falling. They've lost the mandate of heaven. Also, no matter what Liberal government coalition, Quebec wants to at least have a seat in the coalition.
More information, obviously, about how this evening...
I think I'm tired of the winning President Trump. Liberal minority already. So at this point, the lowest they can go is a minority government.
Rosie, I'm beginning to think Mark Carney's
Trump became the first US president to lose a Canadian election. I think it's impossible for Canada to have someone like Trump.
I want to go through sort of where the Liberals are at this
Stop the
stage,
count. Nutlick and Navarre have been put to the side. These guys are just the fucking idiots, biggest idiots.
Majority is still very much in play. And I'm going to go all the way back to Newfoundland and Labrador just to show you something here. This is Terra Nova and the Peninsulas. This has been a conservative seat throughout the night, but just have a look at this. It's now down to a 28 vote lead.
When will the reply video to Bad and Panada be released?
Where the advance vote is being counted.
I'll try maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. It's hard because I've got a university essay that I've got to write at the same time.
So with 12 polls reporting, you can see Anthony Germain, the Liberal candidate there, chewing up that Conservative lead and getting now within less than 30 votes. There's been similar stories. We saw that happen in Central Nova, in Nova Scotia, where Sean Fraser was way down for a period of time, but as more and more advanced polls have come in, he's moved into the lead. And also in New Brunswick, in Miramichi, Grand Lake, where the advanced polls have put the Liberals into the lead there. So the Liberals started the night with 24 seats that they held as the 32.
I thought you dropped out. No, I'm not dropped out. I'm still doing my studies. I'm finishing like the last 2 courses I have in my Bachelor of Arts this year, and I'm in my second year of law.
Still a chance for them to hit the threshold.
Canada has a combination of problems of a national building code, a lot of decentralization that makes housing reform hard, and the wrong kind of more housing. Also, they've got a lot of interprovincial trade barriers, which is crazy. Like, that's just insane to me.
And look at this. We're still waiting.
Trump effect is real. He messes up everything he touches. Yeah, everything he touches turns to shit. Yeah, nearly 50 people watching live. Thank you so much, guys. Remember to hit like and subscribe. Help me reach more people. Yeah, holy shit. I'm just shocked how shit and retarded Trump is at everything. Like, just literally, like, if you're a conservative, why the fuck would you be happy right now?
A lot of votes being
It's literally so fucking stupid.
They are at 69.
True, I came in late, so Carney is in, but have they lost seats or gained some seats? So I think at this point, the lowest they can go is a minority government. But a lot of people are projecting it will be majority government.
Oops, I didn't mean to click on Kitchener, but they're doing well in Kitchener. But there's only
good job, bro. These types of bullshit shouldn't be left unchecked. Yeah, dude, his latest video was really disgusting. His latest video was like, he spent like an hour ranting that I was like a rapist pedophile, like just mentally insane. Literally just mentally insane. I hate him so much, guys. Bad empanada. Sicko. Full communist sickness.
So while they're at 150 seats there right now, the last time I checked, there were still about a dozen seats that we were waiting on results for that all the campaigns believe are going to go Liberal. So you can bear that.
Immigration system sucks. People always come on student visas rather than migrant visas. That's very similar situation to Australia. Really similar situation to Australia, actually.
Threshold at 6. For them
and people on like 24 seats in the last election, they're getting nuked to get arrested.
They're right at 6
Damn,
right
that's
now.
fucked.
They've got 2 pickups. They're leading
Actually
right
should
now
sue him
in
for
the
defamation.
debate.
Yeah, look, I will literally discuss this with Tony Morris because, yeah, he's literally made a whole video just ranting that I'm like a rapist pedo. Like, it's just insane. Like, and this is the crazy thing as well. He actually says in his video that he knows he's lying about me when saying that. And that is like literally the most straightforward defamation case in history.
That's Buckley Boulanger, as Ian was telling us. They're nowhere right now in the Saskatoon ridings, though Mark Carney did go there, and Saskatoon University was a riding that the Liberals had talked about as a potential gain for them. They've held right now 2 of their 3 in the north. Nunavut is still trending NDP. I don't want to ruin the NDP's night, but they are no longer ahead in Wetaskiwin, as we predicted earlier. But right now, the Liberals do have 2 seats in Alberta, and they're both in Calgary right now. So Calgary McKnight, where George Chahal was the incumbent, and Calgary Centre, which was on their target list. They're leading there now.
It's so funny looking at the polling in the last few months. Let me bring up the polling because it's really funny. You can't sue him, he's in Argentina. No, Mira, you can actually sue somebody in Australia with online defamation, even if they're in another country, plus he's an Australian citizen, plus he has money in Australia. So it's very doable. I remember Ron DeSantis made fun of Canadian boycotts by saying maybe they want to get a glimpse of what a Stanley Cup winning hockey team actually looks like after the Panthers won. I'm pretty sure Kraut de Parrot is also compiling evidence for a lawsuit against Bad Empanada. Yeah, I'm friends with Bad Empanada. No, sorry, wrong thing. I'm friends with Kraut, and I do a podcast with Kraut, and I talked to him a little bit what he's about. You know, he's working on that case.
There's still upside growth there for them. You can see a path to the delta of 17 that they need, and it might actually include Delta, which is a seat they hold on the Lower Mainland.
Yeah. Okay, so let me tell you part of the reason why that is there too. Was there a joke there that I missed that I was supposed to?
Yeah, I was talking about deltas and deltas, you know, like sort of thing. Don't worry,
I got a lot of people talking to me. That was a funny one. Thank you.
Sure.
There are 47 ridings still where the vote is under 100. So that gives you a sense of why we are still holding off in determining what kind of government this is. But as David rightly points out, it is still possible, and we'll show you more about that.
So China's Rifle reckons a 3-seat majority by the Liberals. Interesting. Liberals were on the verge of extinction before Trump. Yeah, he literally. I'm friends with Bad Empanada. You heard it here, folks. Sorry, I misspoke. It's hard when you're speaking shit for like 2 hours. Like,
so interesting things happening in British
Columbia
in terms of the vote, and let's look at the vote change so far in the province of British Columbia.
Let's see, BC.
The Conservatives and the Liberals.
So the Liberals are up 15%. Wow.
percentage points. And
NDP down
well, no
NDP
surprise,
down
the
16%.
NDP
Wow,
was
that's
16
brutal.
percentage points. And in some of the
Wow.
ridings, you can see the
Wow, it's a really
impact
like
of that. Let's take a
two-party
look at
like
Kelowna.
election. Hey,
Kelowna is really interesting because if you look at what happened to the NDP support there,
third parties
at
are kind
least
of getting
as of right
smashed.
now,
It's actually
it was
really interesting.
18% in 2021. It's down to 2.7%. And it seems
Guys,
to
if
be
you're
that
watching, remember to like and
Conservatives
subscribe,
and
okay? Help
Liberals,
me reach more
Liberals
people. It'd be
right now
really
in the
helpful and
lead,
appreciated.
incumbent in
We've got
second
45
place.
people
Let's
watching
take a
live on
look
the
at
YouTube right now, which is really great. That's actually one of our best streams so far.
South
This is
Kelowna.
our
There,
16th.
the
This is my
NDP
16th
support has
stream in a
gone
row.
from
I'm streaming every day now for
18.9
like,
percentage
my
points
goal is to try to do it
to
every day for 100 days.
5.5. Now, super
I got
early,
another ducky.
but still interesting to note.
I think the
and keep
same
in
will happen
mind.
to
And now
Labour in
let's
Australia.
take
Trump has helped them win.
East
Yeah,
Stevenson. This is
exactly.
another
That's
riding
literally what's
that
happening, guys.
shows what's
Montreal
happened to the
style
NDP
smoke for me
support.
is great
It's gone
too.
from 19% in
I want to go to
2021
Montreal. It'd be really
to
cool.
3.7%.
Montreal looks
And
like a really
Liberals
nice
and
place.
Conservatives up. It looks like the Conservatives in Richmond East.
To be honest, I
Stevenson
think the
now
Liberals did mess up really badly in
more
Canada with too much
in NDP
migration.
support
I think
than
it's just
Liberals
like
are. But
they have
throughout
a
Richmond,
massive
I
housing
said
crisis
this
over there. It's
hours
very
ago.
similar, I
mean,
think,
maybe it was
dynamic to
yesterday,
Australia.
not sure. But
But
anyway, hours ago.
We haven't been here since yesterday, to be
feels
fair.
that way,
Yeah, I
though.
know.
honestly, if the Conservatives were smart,
what would
they
happen
should
to
have
NDP
convinced
support? Would it
Doug
drop?
Ford to
It
run for
seems
PM.
to
That
be
guy
doing
threatens to
that
cut off
in British
electricity to New York,
Columbia and
Michigan,
in
and
a
Minnesota with a
province
smile
where
on my face.
the Liberals and Conservatives are
That's what you got to do.
still
If your
some
country's
allies
facing
who will
a threat of
benefit
like
from
literal
that.
invasion,
Still
like
very
what do
much
you
flux,
think you
but
have to
it
do?
does
You have to
seem
fucking fight back.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so
Canada
let's
is cool.
get
They
a
deserve
sort of
everything that is
part of
coming. If
that
you're saying people
story
emotionally
as
based on
we
whatever
look
Trump was
at
saying,
whether
voted based
majority
emotionally
is still
rather than the
possible,
best interest of their
here
nation,
as
that's
we
on them.
wait
Look,
to
Shane, what do you
make a
think is going to
firm
happen
call
though,
on
dude?
what kind of
If Trump
government
is literally
Canada
going out
needs
every
to
day
win.
saying
So
he's
here
going to
we
annex
go again.
Canada,
This is back to the House
like
of Commons.
what do you
All
think is
those
going to
red
happen? It's just going to like
seats
it's going
there,
to result
leading and elected. So
in
that gets you up to
people
157.
like voting
Now
against the
we're
right wing
at
because the right wing are
what's to
linked more
come.
closely with
Those
Trump.
are the pink seats.
That's what happens,
That is
right?
9. So they need to hold the 157 they
It's
have.
probably a better stream time. Yeah, I think I'm going to start
Nine,
streaming through the
and
day
they are
Australian time because
still
it's like it's
under
nighttime
6,
American
not
time
quite
and
reaching
nighttime in North
majority
American time.
so far
It's probably
with those
better for that
numbers.
reason.
But let me give you
Locals are
another
rude
little
if you do
piece
not
of
speak French.
information
I think that
that's
happens in
relevant
France
as
too,
we
right?
think about whether this is going to be a majority
I remember
government,
Justin Trudeau made a
and that
cringe
is the
YouTuber
narrow
apology about
4
immigration. Yeah,
margin
that was pretty
where
funny.
the
Yeah, that was pretty
margin
funny. That was stupid.
is
Listen, that's the
101
thing.
seats
I
or
think Trudeau
less.
was a really bad
And
prime
in
minister.
24
But just
of
like
those,
Trump
Liberals
could have
are in second
avoided
place,
talking about annexing
meaning
Canada,
that there is still a
and the
possibility
Conservatives
that
would
they
have
could
been
flip
elected,
some of
and then they
those
would have tried to
ridings
change
and
things for the
indeed
better, right?
get
I
over
mean,
that threshold
like the
of
Liberals
72.
objectively did a pretty
And that
bad job
also tells
under
you why
Trudeau.
we're not
I
saying
think they did do a
anything
bad
just
job
yet
under
because
Trudeau.
there's a lot
And
still
look,
in
if
flux
you were a
here.
conservative and you
It's
wanted that to
possible, but
change,
it's getting a little
you
bit
wouldn't
harder
fucking
for
talk
the
about
Liberals to
annexing
get
Canada.
there.
You would
And they're going to
just
have to
keep your
work a
mouth
lot
shut, let
harder
the
in
Conservatives
these
win, and
other
just change
ridings
things.
and these counts in order to make it.
Hey Drew, have
Let's
you
go
been
to
to Canada
Adrian
before?
now.
No, I actually haven't, but I would love to
You're
go. I'd
talking
love
about
to go.
tiny
I really do want
margins,
to go
you're
to
talking about
Canada.
areas
It'd be
the
beautiful.
Liberals want to flip. Let's look
I,
at some
I
of
hope
those. Let's
I
start
hope
with Kitchener
later.
Centre.
I really hope later
We're
on
not
this
seeing
year I might be
green
able
on
to
the
travel.
map on the
I,
map
I,
of
I I need to make some more
because
money.
Mike
I need to make
Morris
some more
is
money. Guys,
trailing
donate
by
so that I
43,
can
just to
travel
be
to
at a
Canada.
213
We're cooked,
polls
bro.
per million. Some
172
great
is
thing
the
Rosie's
majority.
been
170.
talking about. Let's look at another one, Hamilton Centre.
Benny.
Again,
Look how cute my dog is, guys.
the NDP
She's
want
very
to hang
cute.
on
She's
to
only
that.
6 months. Benny.
Liberals are
Oh,
leading with 55,
she's only
just
6 months
55.
old. She's a
One
little
last,
puppy.
another one
I
that's
love
a
her.
tiny margin. That is
You
Niagara
okay?
South, and
They're just sleeping
that is
on
a
me.
riding that would have
I've
flipped for
got
Conservatives
Belly,
in
and then
the
I've got Victor the
distribution.
toy
The
poodle. It's
Liberals are holding
very
it with
cute.
just 22. Only one poll reporting there, Rosie.
We definitely need a
So
North
some
American
of those
tour.
are elected to
Absolutely well
seats, some of
said.
those tight
Absolutely well
places.
said.
Well, I
I'd
think
love to
you've
do
got
that,
one
man.
more
I'd love to do
right
that.
there. Yeah,
Look at
But
that.
look, unfortunately, I don't have the money to do that. But fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I really hope so.
That was a rematch against Don Stewart.
The problem with third parties is they don't change party leaders after they lose. They stick with the same familiar leader and they become a cult of personality, and nobody expects anything of them. Hey, what's the go with Jack Mead? How long has he been in charge of the NDP? Because I've seen that guy for years now. I think he was around last election, right?
With Justin Trudeau and starting to speak more openly.
I'm a Gunzel, and I would love to ride the Toronto and Montreal Metro. Well, like, you have a lot of normal opinions. I wish you just weren't crazy about Jewish people and weren't like far right or whatever. I like the train stuff. Even in the French Quarter. Even in the French Quarter. Canada should annex the good parts of America. That's pretty funny. We've got some pretty funny comments in the chat. We've had a lot of comments in the chat today. It's been a great live stream. Great live stream. I think Saturday will be a really interesting one when we look at the Australian election results. I think that'll do really well.
They are waiting to see whether they can hold the Liberals to a minority, which would be something to celebrate for them, but we are waiting to see more. I should also tell you that we are waiting for results to come in from Pierre Poilievre's riding. They've started to come in. Remember, he and his riding was up against 90.
United States would be great if they with Thomas for Canada.
But as you can see there, this is only one poll reporting.
Guys, this is Belle. She's a Labradoodle. She's 6 months old. She's very, very cute.
The
She's
expectation
very
would be
small.
that Pierre Poilievre would win, but
She's
there was some
very
concern
cheeky, like to bite
expressed,
everything. She's extremely
about
cute.
how that long ballot
And
initiative,
it's
which
very
is a
nice lately because
protest movement to try and protest
at the
the
moment
poll system that we have.
I've been in a really nice routine
Obviously,
lately. You know,
Elections
just
Canada
streaming
has
through the
been
day. I
counting
look after the
those
doggies while I'm
ballots
working
for a
from
very
home. It's
long
really
time.
nice.
They got special dispensation to start much
Stay up all
earlier.
night for the Aussie
Okay.
election.
David's got a long ballot.
That'll be great, man. That'll be great. It'll be really good fun. So we will start to know around 7 p.m. Australian time, I think. So 7 p.m. AST
This is what the longest ballot. So what 91 names
to
look like.
let's see.
Right, and you gotta do this.
Yeah, but look, by the time you guys start waking up in America, I think from 5 a.m. I think from about 5 a.m. East Coast time, we'll start to get the first results with the Australian elections. You guys will wake up and it'll basically be almost done.
You gotta fold it up. You gotta stuff it into, I don't know.
Jagmeet's been around since 2017. Yeah, dude, I remember knowing about him for like. I've been watching him for years and years. Crazy that he's still. Why is he still in charge of the NDP after all this time? If Canada took New England, the West Coast, would they be the richest country in the world?
Whether it's going to be
Damn.
majority government or not. Those
So this is his third election. I mean, that's like obviously a failure, right? Hey, Drew, seeing this election, what do you think will be the Australian result? Look, I think at this point, the polling is saying that it's going to be 52-48 Labor. And watching what's happening in Canada, I think it's most likely that it's going to be majority government Labor. Rukshan, jump on our election stream on Saturday night, Drew. We need someone to blame Trump for the results. Okay, man. I'll jump on. I'll host my own stream, but I'll jump on as well. Oh, well done, Val. Well done. Val did a we on the PMAT. Well done. Well done. Use the fake grass. Good on her. She's very well trained. I don't get how a party can vote for a pro-mass. I don't get how a country can vote for a pro-mass migration party in the middle of a housing crisis, even worse in Australia. That's just literally the Trump effect. Like, he fucked it up. He fucked it up for them because he was just threatening to annex Canada. And people were like, I don't want my country to be annexed. Does Norfolk Island vote in that election? I love to see the results since they got those tariffs. Oh, actually, so Norfolk Island only has about 3,000 people, I think. They're technically a part of the ACT electorate, which is really interesting. So they're a territory, and so their election results are added onto the electorate of Bean, which is the electorate that covers Canberra. To be honest, like that's always a Labor, like that's always like a lefty seat, so it's not going to really change anything. But it's still funny though. I will be interested to see what they say. Jagmeet is a cool guy. He makes sure the Liberals stay left. Well, dude, like, look at this though. Like, he's been pretty much crushed tonight. He's obviously not done well, has he? NDP leadership is determined by who has the best beard. So Jagmeet couldn't lose it. I do think he has a cool beard. I will say that Jagmeet has a cool beard. I think the beard does look cool on him, but I mean, he's obviously not done well. Yeah. So Norfolk, Cocos, Keeling, Arden, and Chris, they all vote. So they all get added to the electorate of Bean, right, Malaki? Interesting fact about Cocos, Keeling. That is the only territory in Australia with a majority Muslim population. And that's a small island off the coast of Indonesia. Kani is, and they've actually got the Cocos Keeling Islands literally have I think Sharia crescent on their flag, which is really interesting. Kani is literally not pro-mass immigration. He has suggested a migration cap. Yeah, well look, he suggested migration cap, and Trump threatens to annex Canada, and then this is the result, right? I think Kani is a smart guy.
Let's talk about it after. I do want to spend time. We're not going to write off anyone because we're not at that stage in the evening at all. Catherine Cullen, apparently you have a guest.
Yes, and we're first.
The Cocos Keeling Islands, and they speak Malay as well. They speak Malay.
Get to Vanessa Lee, our colleague on the island of Montreal. Let's start by taking a look at what is going on.
Let me quickly, guys. I just really want to quickly show you the flag for the Cocos Keeling Islands. I'm just going to quickly change the.
Oh, perhaps.
Hey, Belle, stop. Guys, look at this. How interesting this is. So this is the Cocos Keeling Islands in Australia. There's only 500 people there, and it's the only majority Muslim territory in Australia. And their flag is the Islamic crescent next to the Southern Cross, which is so interesting, right? It's just such an interesting thing. I'd like to go to Cocos Keeling Islands someday.
Area are gathering and celebrating tonight. And joining me now is Stephen Guilbeault.
NDP's platform is almost always the Liberals, but more plus rent control and other nonsense. Not good or helpful for keeping Liberals liberal. Yeah, I think rent control is a stupid policy.
Mr. Guilbeault,
I know a party that chose their leader basing on beard that sounds like NDP too. Something NDS.
Yes, I think things are looking very well in the writing, but as you rightly say, it's
this is Vixen, the other doggy I'm looking after at the moment.
early. I think our numbers
That should be our national flag, the Cocos Keeling Sharia Crescent. That should be Australia's total flag. So true. How are they not a part of Malaysia? Cocos Killing. Let me show you. I'll quickly show you a map of where Cocos
We're
Killing
asking for a strong government because we know we have.
maps. I'll just quickly show you. Just interesting like geography factoids, right, guys? So you've got Australia, you've got Cocos Killings really far off to the west, and yeah, it's probably actually closer to Indonesia. I need to read more about it. It's so interesting. Like, I think there was slavery on the Cocos Killing Islands as well, which is like obviously pretty brutal. I actually have to say, like, obviously, like I'm known as like a critic of Islamism and stuff like that. But look, the flag actually goes hard, right? The Southern Cross with the crescent. It's pretty good actually. Okay, going back to this stream.
And I think they saw in
Yeah, I can't lie. Even though
Party,
Jagmeet propped up Trudeau's minority government,
someone who
there were
has
some good
experience
concessions
on
like
the
dental
world
added to
stage,
healthcare
someone who has
and anti-spam
experience
laws
with the
to protect
economy,
striking unions.
with
Interesting.
finance, who has
Listen, we've
managed
one of the big
crisis
things that the
versus
Greens
the
campaign on in Australia is to try to put
anything else
dental
work on
into
Parliament Hill in
universal
Ottawa.
healthcare.
And they
And I actually
felt
think
he
it's a
was the
good
right
policy.
person
I
for
just hate the
what's
Greens.
coming
That's all.
ahead. And
Like the
with
funny thing is,
Party,
like,
we have
like
ahead
I
of
don't
us.
mind a lot of their like sort of like economic stuff. I mean, stuff like dental into Medicare is a good idea, right? But when it comes to like all their other stuff, like supporting tanky shit, supporting Hamas and all that stuff, like I hate them.
Even in 2015, Ellen Lever.
Gee, interesting. Malaki is literally a conservative Christian guy, but he admits that Cocos Killing flag is the best flag in Australia. Look, it's a really fucking good flag, I have to say. Like, even if you don't like Islamism and everything, it's like actually, it's a nice flag with like the Islamic president, the Southern Cross, and it's green and gold. Like, it's a fucking good flag, right? It's actually a good flag. Drew, I had to run yesterday. What happened with the stalker social media person? I've forgotten his name. Bad Empanada. He made a whole hour-long video ranting about me, calling me a rapist pedo. Just insane, right? Like, I made a 10-minute video about him. He made an hour-long video. Just insane defamation against me. And I'll do a response. It's just, he's just a sicko, right? It's been a great stream though. I've had I think the average has been like almost like 35 viewers, which is really good on YouTube actually. You know, like when I was starting like a week and a half ago, I was averaging I think like 15, so it's actually doubling. And they're penguins that will be going to terrorize the US. The penguins, I think, are on the Herder McDonald Islands, so they're like far to the south near Antarctica, and they have no human habitation at all. If Trump invades Iran to prevent them getting nuclear weapons, what should Australia do? Would you support an invasion of Iran in theory? I don't want an invasion. I think that, look, if Iran were to come close to nuclear capacity, I would support like airstrikes on their nuclear facilities to stop them getting nukes. But I don't want an invasion. An invasion would be retarded. An invasion would be stupid.
In an election.
Miko Roy, I was here for stream 1. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Guys, going well. I'm 16 streams in. I'm getting a bit more of a hang of it. I'm actually starting to enjoy them as well. It's good fun. It's good fun. And, you know, you see the same people that you've been talking to over and over. It's good. I'm actually starting to have fun doing these streams now. And listen, like, you know, God willing, in like a year's time, maybe we can get like 1,000 people watching per stream, and it'd be brilliant. I could probably do it full time at that point. Drew, I'm so sorry. Does Bad Empanada have a crush on you? I don't want him to have a crush on me. He's like a scary rapist type guy. Kind of wish he would stop talking over the TV. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Do you want me to quiet down for a bit and listen to the talking heads? I can do that if you want. Let me know.
And the possibility of a majority government. It's really hard to have a minority government if you do not have a strong third-party presence. And at this point, yes, the bloc looks like it's going to get 23, 24 seats.
Oh yeah, and India, Pakistan, that's like
we're used to parliaments where minority rule means many parties that have
John McCall,
an official party
what do you guys
status. And at this
I'll
point,
listen to this lady
that's
for a little
not
bit.
where we're going tonight. So I'm curious to see how the night unfolds. I notice there are still loads of places where the vote is barely being counted.
Yes, there are probably half a dozen places where, no, 24 places where it has barely been counted. Worth remembering here that I think it's 6 of the last 8 federal elections have produced minority governments, right? The last majority government we had, of course, was Liberal in 2015.
And with 4 parties with official party status, we look like we're going down to 3. I don't really believe there are loads of new Democrat votes hidden in those uncounted votes.
No, we might get to 4. Does that concern anyone that there is fewer less representation of parties inside the House of Commons in terms of what that means for democracy, Andrew?
I don't think it's a good thing or bad thing on its own. I mean, again, you get into the issue of how representative is the popular vote in that regard. How well represented is it in terms of the number of seats?
Yeah.
But ultimately, the electorate is going to decide whether they want to have a multiplicity of parties or maybe in the present circumstances. That's the question is this a one-off
Holy shit. So
or does this
January
represent
2025, the
a
Conservatives are
greater
23 points ahead of
change?
the polls.
We've seen the NDP written off before they
Sure.
came back. We've seen the Liberals written off
Bloc
before.
too, yeah.
We've seen the Bloc.
Yeah.
So these are enduring brands, and you know the wheel goes full circle, and they may come back.
Chantal, then Althea.
On the NDP, they went from no official party status in '93 to a decade or two later, I admit, but they still, at some point, they had presence across the country, from Atlantic Canada to BC, including Quebec. So that possibility is still there. Do not assume that a victory for the Liberals tonight is
What's funny is no one really understands what
a
Trump sabotage
liberal reign for all time. At some
knows
point,
why he
the
does half the
seeds
shit he
of
does.
change will come back, and they might have a better chance to bloom.
Yeah, and Liberals probably shouldn't assume that either. Andrew, and then Althea.
But one thing I think we should be looking for is not just, you know, will they get over the majority? Will BC put them over the top? But also, how will the Liberals do in Western Canada? One of the things people have been very worried about, some people, is will another Liberal victory cause Westerners, and some Westerners anyway, to give up on Canada? I should note that the numbers coming in BC and Alberta are looking pretty close to what the polling numbers were suggesting, and the polling numbers are saying
This
the
is like
Liberals are going to
literally
do
a
better based on the
generational
popular vote in those
notion.
provinces.
Crazy.
Better than they have
Zero
since
Dog reckons it's going to be a
1968.
Liberal minority.
So that
The full
should
explanation of
hopefully
he's an
put
idiot goes
some of
pretty
the
far. Yeah, literally
dampen
that.
down some of the sort of attempts to portray this as the West being shut out yet again.
We'll see. We'll see. Last word to you, Althea.
Just a few things. So on that is something that the Liberals were quite concerned about, which is why Mr. Carney spent the last day going to Saskatchewan, going to Alberta to make that case, to hoping to grab seats that they otherwise did not have. I think it's not a thing about democracy if there are no parties, smaller parties in the House. I think it's just, if the balance of power is the Bloc Québécois, it is an opening for the Conservatives to say that it's an illegitimate coalition, much like they did in 2008, which basically means that we will have another election.
But it's not a coalition. It's just one party helps another, right?
Right. But they framed the last supply and confidence agreement as a coalition.
The
just
Bloc
because
isn't about to sign the supply and confidence agreement.
Of course
with
not.
anyone.
They will do issue by issue as they always have, as they have always communicated. But that will not stop the Conservative Party from framing it in that way.
Right.
And I think it will make it very difficult, especially if Mr. Poilievre remains
wonder
the
how the hell
Conservative
people
leader.
believe that Poilievre
Because I
was
don't
alive.
see areas where,
That's
although
always a
there
good
actually are
I've
lots of
heard that
policy
NDP
areas where they could
decides
get
to
together, I
take
don't
the
see the
that have done choices
personalities
as such.
leading to cooperation in the
I'm
House
so
of
interested in
Commons,
what the
which
2026
basically just
midterms
means
will
that
be
we
if
will
it's
have
going to
an
be a Dem
election.
landslide like in
If it
Canada.
is a
or-
minority government and the Bloc
Look,
has a balance of power.
If this keeps on going, it
whether
will be a Democrat
later this
landslide.
year or next year.
Trump sabotaged Canada because he can. That's it. He went after Canada because it's there. Yeah, dude, he's just no discipline, no literal full incompetence.
A share of the
He just
balance
does
of
shit for
power.
no reason.
Let's agree that we are not
MAGA people trying to
yet
pretend it
in
was a
those
brilliant plan as
scenarios
usual. I've seen.
where the Bloc was
Maybe
going
MAGA
to
logic
become
can be
the
that
official
liberals will destroy Canada from within,
and
making the
then it was
annexation
gonna
easier. I've already said so.
hold
I've
the
seen some
knife
people
to
say
the
that on
throat
Twitter,
of
which
the
is just so
government. That's
stupid.
not what's happening.
No, there's
I got to get to David Cochrane here. He's got some stuff from the 905.
Well, look, this is part of the reason why we are where we are. You see the Liberal number actually retreating a little bit. Right now, they are only at 65 seats in Ontario. They are down 10, down 11. And I'm going to look at the Greater Toronto area, and this gives you a sense of where we are right now. So you can see here, Mississauga is blue, Brampton is blue, another Brampton is blue. So Peel region has been breached by the Conservatives at this point in time. As we were saying earlier, this is the gate that they need to break down and get closer to the downtown part of Toronto if they're going to make it more of a game at the top line numbers, but certainly in Ontario. And the Liberals are having a little bit of a struggle, at least at this hour of the night. Similar story. There we go. In Vaughan Woodbridge, this is a Conservative-held seat. Thornhill, that's Melissa Landsman. But York Centre, this is another Liberal seat that is blue at the moment. And in Richmond Hill, Aurora, Oak Ridge is a Newmarket, Aurora. York region and Peel region. The Liberals felt pretty good about Peel region. There was some top-line polling suggesting that it was tightening up there as you got towards Election Day. And you are seeing that also up in the York region, which is what the Liberals were the most worried about in their seats in Ontario. But an interesting thing developing as well here in southwestern Ontario, because look, the Conservative number is 144. Like, that's way up for Pierre Poilievre. Like, that is a big increase in the seats, at least at this point in the night. In the NDP from Hamilton to London to Windsor right now, those are blue. The conventional wisdom was the collapse of the NDP vote would elect Liberals. But if the Liberals and the NDP both are strong second and third, the Conservatives could come up the middle. That may be what is happening in
Part of
those
the deal,
areas.
1
And
million
just going
dimensional
back to the GTA, I know
yeah,
this was a concern up in the York
I'm gonna start
region
that comment.
here,
That's a good comment.
was that the NDP
And that
vote
definitely should have
dropping
next thing. You
would
know,
help the Liberals run up the score in the
Trump was
downtown
just jealous that
Toronto
Melania
core, where
Ivanka
they're going to
wanted
win
to
just
go
by
and not him.
larger margins. But
To
there
actually
would not
solve a lot
be
of problems.
any
You hear people would
NDP
never
vote
win
to be
another
gained
election
in
in
a lot
current
of
form.
these 905
Canada
outer
became part of
areas,
America.
and that
Yeah, I
would
know, right?
just,
They would never
you would
win,
have
so I don't know why
false
they
sense of
advocate.
how viable you were in those ridings, and you would see Conservatives flip those blue. So the Liberals, still early yet in Ontario, but vote inefficiency not playing in their favor as they are down double-digit seats in a province that pollsters from start to finish had them up double-digit points, right?
But that again speaks to what we're talking about around the popular vote and the seat efficiency. Nothing is working as it normally would in an election. That's what's happening, right?
Yes, and you know, Donald Trump obviously disrupted this entire election. I mean, the U.S. president makes about $400,000 US a year. The Liberals should probably book that as a campaign expense, given the way that it's helped.
That's
them
a pretty
throughout the
funny.
state.
That's a pretty funny.
But you know, until we get sort of the urban votes in mass number to know exactly how the cities of Canada are going to vote,
So does seem to be
and the
catching up 20
suburbs
more
of
seats in the
Canada are
last
gonna
election.
finally vote, and of
Yeah,
course, British
true.
Columbia, it's
15
hard to
seats in
know
Dallas.
if
Liberal
they're
NDP
going to
have
get
5
the
short of majority
vote
coalition.
efficiency
Interesting.
that has helped the Liberals win the 2019 federal election and win the 2021 federal election, despite losing the popular vote. At this stage, we're not yet seeing that. Now, they're starting to tick back up. They're in 161 right now. Them and the New Democrats and the Greens, Rosie, that's a majority. You got a bingo right there. But, you know, that's a whole lot of work that still needs to be sorted out at this point of the night.
Okay, thank you so much for that, David Cochrane. If you're just tuning in, we have, in fact, called a Liberal government with Mark Carney as Canada's 24th Prime Minister. He also has been elected for the very first time in his life.
It's just bad empanada threatening me
we are
again and
waiting to
shit.
see whether it's a minority or
Adam Panada has
majority
tried to
that will
brigade my
lead.
YouTube
Now
videos
we've
and
got some
downvote them on
results,
mass, guys. So please
projected
consider
results,
liking them so that
maybe
we
that will
don't have
help
that
us get
happen.
there.
Indeed. So we're looking at a projected elected, the only one that is a flip in Ontario so far. That is Toronto St. Paul's with Leslie Church. Again, the only projected elected flip for the Liberals so far in Ontario. Wouldn't it be interesting to talk to Leslie Church? Well, why don't we do that? Let's talk to Eli Glaster, who is in Toronto St. Paul's with Leslie Church. Hello, Eli.
Yeah, Adrian, so we are here in our room crammed with volunteers, and here she is, Leslie Church. Congratulations. I want to know from you that very close loss to Dawn Stewart back in June, and then to pick up the campaign and start again. How was it different when you started knocking on doors for now a second time?
Well, the difference was really Trump and Mark Carney. Donald Trump, I think, has really set the stakes for this election in a way that people understood at the doors. And the change of leadership. Mark Carney came in as a fresh, new, experienced leader for the Liberal Party, and I think people were looking for that too. So that really changed the playing field. And also it was more time to do the outreach that we needed, to hear from people heading into a general election as opposed to a by-election.
Looks like you're fighting a full-scale war against Adam Panada. Yeah, dude, he's literally directing his entire YouTube to try downvote my stuff. So please, guys, I need your help. I need your help. It's actually really fucked up.
600. Now here you are. How are you feeling this evening?
I feel very good. I feel so grateful for the trust that the community of St. Paul's has put in me. I'm so grateful for the team. We've had just people coming out in this election in ways that I've never seen before, getting involved because of what's at stake. And so I really hope to continue that engagement as we go forward.
I understand people were coming to your campaign measure when he was out putting out signs, something like 4 times the amount of requests for signs. So there really was this time, as opposed to the by-election, a bit of an uphill battle. A lot of voters talking about Justin Trudeau, not so happy, but a different atmosphere this time.
Well, look, the world has changed, and St. Paul's feels that. And so it's absolutely true. We had people coming in literally off the street, getting involved in their first campaign of their lives, saying this matters, this is going to be the most important election of my lifetime in Canada. And we're proud to be part of a party that is pushing a positive agenda, that wants to build a better future here, and most importantly wants to stand up for Canada in the face of Donald Trump. I mean, that was just an existential threat that really loomed over all of this election.
All right, thank you for making time for us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
There you go, Leslie Church, here at Toronto St. Paul's. Very dramatic riding, bit of a bellwether, bit of a wake-up call for the Liberals when the by-election, a big surprise when Don Stewart
Carney has a
won
strong
just a very
personality, unlike
small
Trudeau.
margin, but as you're seeing from those results, a very
Guys, if you're tuning
dramatic
in,
difference
like and
tonight. And
subscribe.
certainly when she
Help
came
me reach more
downstairs
people.
and
We've
entered,
had a pretty good
this
stream today, about
celebration,
40
there were
people live, I think.
loud cheers,
No, it's
and as
increasing.
we were
We
hearing
were
from
starting
the
out with 10,
organizers
15
when
the
they
other
were
day,
out on the street, when they were knocking on
2 weeks
doors,
ago.
the thing they were hearing again and again was Trump and the tariffs, and those concerns has brought this red wave back to St. Paul's. It was a red riding for many, many years with Carolyn Bennett, and it is red now once again.
Okay, all right, Eli Glasner, who was with Leslie Church there. That's the story of Fortress Toronto, but if you go outside Toronto, it's a different story. Let's look at what is happening in the Greater Toronto area. Used to be known as the Greater Trudeau area for the hold the Liberals had on it, but look at what's happening now. Liberals
Conservatives
are
won
down
9 seats in Toronto.
in
Interesting.
seats that they're not leading in. Conservatives are up 9. That is not what they were hoping for. What's happening in particular ridings? So let's look at Newmarket, Aurora here. This was the second slimmest margin of victory for the Liberals. Last time they hoped they would hang on to it. They are not. Let's look at Brampton. I spent a lot of time in Brampton. Even though this is a place affected by tariffs, everybody there talked about affordability and crime. They were very nervous. That may explain some of what you're seeing here with the Conservatives with the 419 vote lead. One more I want to look at here. This is Milton East, Halton Hills South. Brand new riding in Ontario. It was
I already subscribed to the great
projected
channel
that
you have
it would
later.
be
I will
very
watch some of your
close
debates. Thanks,
with
man.
the
I
Liberals,
appreciate
and
that.
yet with
Thanks
only
so much, guys.
43 polls reporting, the
It's
Conservatives have a
growing. We're
lead
growing
there of
slowly.
528.
It's
So
up
at
so
the end of
because
the
at the
night, we're
moment,
talking about
Baden
a
Panada is like
minority and
literally
not a liberal
spending his
majority. You might
entire
want to look
fan
at what
base to
happened
like
in the
try attack
GTA
him.
for some answers there, Rosie.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, Adrian. I should tell you there are 5 ridings where we don't have any information yet at all, no data. But you can see there are 2 greens on the board there. And just to give you a sense of who those are, not confirmed, projected elected, but leading, that is both in Kitchener Centre with Mike Morris and with, of course, the co-leader Elizabeth May in Saanich Gulf Islands. We'll, of course, keep you posted on whether those hold. Let's go over to Ian, though, now with some results.
Yeah, Rosie, counting is slow in a lot of the British Columbia ridings, but I do want to take a look at what the seat change looks like at this point. And keep in mind, a lot of the seats in British Columbia are not projected to be done, to be elected, but still in play. But you can see both Conservatives and Liberals up by 3 each, and that's at the expense of the NDP. Let's look at some examples of what's leading to the potential seat change. Langley Township, Fraser Heights. What's interesting to me about this is John Aldag, who used to be an MP, running again here, is how his share of the vote has just soared. It's gone from 30% in the last election in this riding to 48.3%. And so it's not coming at the expense of the Conservatives. They have almost exactly the same support right now. It's early, I know, as they did in 2021. Some of it's the NDP. Their vote has collapsed from almost 20% to just 5%.
Wow. Why do you think that is, guys? Why did the NDP collapse so
If you know
brutally?
BC politics at all or follow the
Big,
NDP
big
closely,
thinker. Calling it
this
Liberal
would
minority,
be,
nothing ever happened. Okay.
you know,
Minority
really
government.
surprising to see Don
Hypocrite.
Davies, the longtime incumbent, in second place. It's only a lead of 13, but we'll keep an eye on Vancouver Kingsway. Interesting to see that result. And in Richmond Centre, again, counts pretty small. They're taking a long time to count votes in a lot of the British Columbia ridings. But you see the incumbent Wilson Miao in second place, and the Conservatives right now in a small but still interesting lead. Lots of churn.
Isn't
in
the
these,
NDP the
early
far left party?
counting
It's like a social
moments
democrat party.
in British Columbia.
And lots of close races. too.
Canadian
We'll show
nationalism
you a
is
little
liberal
bit more
coded,
about
and
how
NDP
close
was
some of
pro
those
Trudeau for
races are
too
and
long.
why the numbers at the bottom of
Right.
the screen
Okay.
are
Interesting.
moving back and forth so dramatically, and indeed why we have yet to be able to call what kind of government Canadians have elected here. Right now, the Liberals leading or elected in 156. Remember,
I've
it's
got 3 dogs on me right now.
for a majority. Conservatives ticking up to 148, Bloc at 25, NDP at 10, and the Greens now back down to 1. That
Especially
shows you,
everyone.
as Ian was just talking about there, a lot of churn, a lot of things still moving here, and that means that we're going to take our time to call what kind of government Canada will end up with by the end of the night. We know it will be Liberal. We don't know whether it's minority or a majority. Catherine Cullen, you have some results.
Yeah, well, let's look at some places where the numbers are starting to firm up. In this case, we're going to be looking particularly at Quebec and what is happening with the bloc vote. You can see there the vast majority of the benefit there is going to the Liberals with that one Conservative seat. But some of this is less tentative now. We're going to look at 3 examples of projected elected seats, and they're all pretty interesting, starting with LaSalle and Mard Verdun. Of course, we talked about earlier that famous by-election where the Bloc got into that Liberal stronghold. Well, no more. Claude Gay, projected elected in LaSalle and Mard Verdun. Let's move over to Châteauguay, Les Jardins de Napierville, where Patrick O'Hara lost by 12 votes last time around. This time, it is Liberal star candidate Natalie Provost who is projected elected in that seat. And finally, in Rivière,
Tories are clawing back ground. Yeah, it was looking like it was going to be a Liberal majority government. It might be a minority
will
now.
not be winning the day. Linda
Why are the
Lemke
Liberals losing
elected
seats?
in that riding. So giving you a sense, Rosie, of how some of those numbers are firming up in this case. These are not just early numbers. Now we're projecting.
Yeah, and that really tells the story about what's happening in Quebec. The Bloc down and the Liberals picking things up there, which could help them on their road to seeing if they form a minority or a majority government. Where are we going next here? Oh, let's check in with the panel. Yes, Arif Irani.
Well, I just think
Arif Irani put his hand up, so I should have known that's where we're going next.
Rosie, I think what's important is that sort of understanding sort of the optimism and the aspirational component of the election, right? You talked about it yourself during the course of this evening. Mark Carney was not a polished politician. I think the fact that he wasn't a polished politician actually allowed him to present himself as a fresh face to Canadian voters, but he was also very ambitious and very confident, right? Going into ridings like Saskatchewan, we've been talking about Destinethy tonight, working on his French for that French language debate, showing that optimism that we can maybe take seats on Vancouver Island. A lot remains to be determined, but I think that optimism was telling, and I think that started to become a bit infectious. And as you saw, as the campaign rollout happened with the advertising, for example, he was front and center on almost everything. And then you saw Pierre Poilievre conversely sort of being resiling a bit and sometimes being replaced by Stephen Harper, which is a bit antithetical to that change narrative. You're talking about a guy who was the prime minister 10 years ago. So I think that's important to sort of understand in terms of what's been taking place here. And what I heard from folks in the 416 in the 905 is that message that Carney was offering was really resonating. So I heard that from James Maloney in Etobicoke Lakeshore. I heard that from people such as Kareem Bardisi, and I will just a personal shout out to Tayakon Park, Delhi Park. He's been declared elected.
Guys, quick pause. I just want to show you this.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right to point out that issue.
Just fully disgusting by Kneecap. Kneecap concert footage assessed by police over alleged kill your MP call. Footage of Northern Irish rap trio Kneecap allegedly calling for the death of British MPs is being assessed by counter-terrorism police. Video emerged of the band at a 2023 gig, appearing to show one person from Kneecap saying, "The only good Tory is a dead Tory, kill your local MP." Earlier in the week, footage emerged of another gig last year in November, which seemed to show a band member shouting, "Up Hamas, up Hezbollah," at a performance with the Hezbollah flag being displayed. Yo, literally just shut down Kneecap now. That's fucking disgusting. These guys are actually so disgusting. I think Kneecap is like a disgusting bunch of disgusting genocidal pigs. Fucking foul. I'll bring back the coverage now. Maybe we'll go on to which one?
Le futur Louis Plamondon. On fait campagne future. Laurier Sainte-Marie.
Sorry, guys, just
you
brought back the coverage.
members of the Conservative Party feel that Pierre Poilievre is the person that is going to make them wealthier and reduce
know
crime
Northern
and
Ireland
get
is
rid
still
of the
short.
homeless on the streets. And
Kneecap block.
I do feel that there has been a
Mega
lot
crowd
of
would go crazy and see
projection
guys
of
coming.
aspirations.
Mega brains cannot comprehend the South Asian majority writings that are going
Obviously,
to do up to
Prime Minister Carney started with
Holy
lower
fuck,
expectations,
that's
but I
cool.
think what's
Which
really quite amazing is that
particular
learning curve.
South Asian majority
Really
writing?
adapts, and of
It is
course,
defending
the
Kneecap
pivot
of each other thing.
from being a leading
Significant
banker
in that
to
Canada managed to
different
avoid the
sort
trend
of
of Western
space
in their post.
to
Yeah,
elect a
true.
representative because it's difficult.
Yeah,
let
they
alone
go on
in
to
a
the
different
podcast
language that
downplaying the
isn't his
sport
mother
from us.
tongue.
Yeah, they're sick
And I think
guys. I fucking
the
hate them.
Quebec
I
electors
hate
respond.
fucking Kneecap.
Talking about the Quebec.
Polymarket still gives Pierre
If you
Poilievre
look at
4%
the province that did deliver what the Liberals needed tonight, it was Quebec. Take away those 9 gains, and we are in a very different territory, the one where we never go to sleep tonight because we're still waiting to figure it out.
Well, that
and-
could still happen. Let's be clear.
And what was but the feature that caused this? Yes, there was the Trump factor, but it was Pierre Poilievre's lack of popularity in Quebec.
Yes.
If Quebecers had not been so viscerally opposed to Pierre Poilievre, the Quebec results for the Bloc would not be as bad as they are. And the Liberals would not be sitting with not a very big lead on the Conservatives seat-wise.
Yeah, no, not a very big lead at all. We'll see where that goes. But if you see that kind of tight, if we're heading towards a minority and is that tight, my gosh, that's not a very stable time for
I
anybody.
can't believe people are still going
David, you got some
red after 10 years.
stuff you want to talk about there?
You have to just blame Trump. He literally was joking about an ex in Canada. What do you think is going to
What's
happen?
happening right now is in
Kneecap is part of the
stories in
Sun Party. Yeah, they're fucking
folks.
disgusting.
I mean, look, the Liberals have been projected to win the most seats here tonight.
Was the Toronto
but they are down in
metro
Ontario,
area?
not just
They're going
below
for
where we
conservatives
thought
like
they
Brampton
needed to be
West,
for
which
the
is like
path of
50
majority. They're
in
just
South
flat
Asia.
out down.
Conservatives
And
will still gain 29
let's go
seats.
through some
We've
of the
gone worse with
regions
Trump
here. The
regimes chaos.
NDP
Yeah.
vote is
Conservatives
nowhere
is
in
going to move to the right
Ontario,
purely because
but a lot
Asians
of
are
it's
sick of
going
crime, and now they
conservative.
elected a mayor
So
that's
we've got
doing a
we've
great job
seen
of
the
cracking down
Conservatives
crime. Yeah,
moving
good on them.
into
Good on them.
Peel
Honestly.
region
San
here
Francisco
and
is
like
going
gaining
fast.
seats
In
in
their
the
fucking
York
place.
region. But what's also interesting is that if you go to southwestern
Watch so many dogs on
Ontario,
me right now, guys.
look at this. Windsor right now is blue. London Fanshawe is blue. I believe Kitchener.
They can sit on the other
Centre,
chairs
the
a
Green
little bit.
Party
I
seat,
just have Bell on
that
this.
is blue right now.
It's hard having
But
3
if we
dogs
go
for me. I
into the
keep really
Hamilton
tight.
area, we're going to see some of that there as well. Look, there's no orange in Hamilton, but in Hamilton Centre, there's a Conservative in the lead right now.
Also,
So
the
this
Palestine
is
protests
the
don't help,
top line
dude.
numbers and sort of the
Dude, they're so
political
unpopular.
history of this election has been that
Do you
the
pick up the
NDP
dog
vote
food? I look
buyback
after my
is
dogs. I
all
clean up.
huddled around Mark Carney as the new
I don't like it,
Progressive
but you have to
Party
do it.
avatar.
They're
And
very
what
well
you're
trained,
seeing is
though.
a lot of those orange votes seem to have gone blue, or at least the orange ridings are going blue because the dynamics where red and orange are pretty strong seconds and third. And
Another
Doug
stunning victory for the
Ford rode
Libtards. Well
this
said.
dynamic to a majority in Ontario because you had Bonnie Crombie and Merritt Stiles kind of competitive second and third place in vote share. And we're seeing this sort of playing out in Canada's biggest province, in the key battleground of Ontario. The last numbers I had on Ontario, because it is changing back and forth, 63 Liberal is what I'm told right now. They're down 13 in Ontario right
Avi
now.
mini post, Canada has fallen. Dude, it's fucking Trump's fault.
They're up
Dude,
18.
it's Trump's fault,
So
Avi.
Liberals are losing seats to the Conservatives in Ontario. The NDP are losing seats to the Conservatives in Ontario. And look at that.
No,
It's
they're trained
154
well.
to 152 right now. Like
I heard there's
close
the
to
Vote
a tie.
Palestine movement in Canada. I wonder how that is
Okay,
going.
Althea, you went in there, and then Antoine.
People hate that. Hey,
Two things.
libtard
One, I
supremacy.
don't think we
Libtards are
actually know
libtards are in
this moment
control.
'cause we don't know what the advanced polls are, and there was such a huge turnout for the Liberals.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but a lot of the ridings that Mark Carney went to in the last week, like Newmarket, Aurora, King Vaughan, those are all blue at the moment, and I think a lot
Only
of the
2-seat
major issues
lead for the Liberals
there
now. Yeah,
are
it's getting
crime,
closer.
and the Liberals really didn't.
I think they're still
speak to a lot of
projected for a
people's
government, but it might be a
anxieties
minority
about it.
government.
The other thing that you're seeing in Edmonton Centre, in Windsor West, in London Fanshawe, is that the Liberals decided to go after basically NDP incumbents.
Guys, I'm just
to
going
get
to quickly
their
show some funny
majority,
tweets.
and Progressive.
Oh, well, sorry guys, that was my bad. That was my bad. I accidentally left. Okay, just showing some funny tweets, right? I just want to show you some funny tweets. So Avi Yemini has declared that Canada has fallen. Avi, come on, man. Come on, Avi. It's so obvious that Trump did this. It's so unbelievably obvious that Trump did this. So Avi loves Trump. Avi, come on, man. Like the Conservatives were on track for the biggest win in Canadian electoral history 3 months ago. And then Trump gets in and starts talking about annexing Canada. And then this happens. Like, what do you think's going to happen? Come on. Come on, Avi. What do you think's going to happen? It's seething. It's seething. Drew Dye. Black tar copium. It is big copium. Is Avi watching? Avi's not watching this stream, but I saw his tweet where he says Canada has fallen. And I just think, come on, man. It's like, this is Afghan copium. This is like heroin level copium. Dilby reckons Canada fell a long time ago. What do you think of Rebel News? Look, I have an interesting non-aggression pact with Avi at the moment because we agree on the Hamas guys being insane. He's a lot more right-wing than I am. Look, I think Canada needs to lower migration. I think Canada needs to, stop inviting in massive amounts of people and students when they have a housing crisis. I think that's the case. But look, Trump brought this on everyone. Trump brought this on everyone because Canada was Canada was on track to win the Conservatives by 23 points. Canada was on track to elect the Conservatives by 23 points. The day Trump took office, the Conservatives were 23 points ahead in the polls. And then yeah, look what happened. Look what happened. Trump says, I'm going to annex Canada. And then suddenly the Liberals are back. So, I mean, it's literally just their fault. It's just literally their fault. What are you supposed to do, right? It's just crazy. I can't believe these guys don't understand it, right? I'm just going to I'll bring up the street. There's some really funny tweets. Maybe we should go through Twitter for a little bit. I've been told my country has fallen since before you were born. When is he moving Canada? Abby playing with fire. Trumpers have no one to blame but themselves. There's just no self-reflection. Hey guys, there's just literally no self-reflection. They just won't reflect on the fact that God Emperor Trump messed this up. This was so funny. The Gen Z Boss and a Mini girls, they're literally fucking based in Sydney, and no one in Australia has like literally interviewed them. No one's like, you guys literally changed the American election. Like, how do you feel about that? You know what? I should fucking do that. The Gen Z girls and Boss and a Mizzy people. The Gen Z Boss and a Mini. I will find out who the originals were. Who were they? Posted by Macy Isabel. Okay. Macy Isabel. I'm literally just going to message this girl. She's got like 1,000 followers. I'll literally just ask her. I'll be like, hey, can we do like a quick interview? Yeah, I'm literally going to do that. Okay. Fucking smart. I'm literally going to do that. That's my current plan. I'm literally going to interview the Gen Z girl, Boss and Mini people. It'd just be funny. I just want to ask them like, how do you feel about the fact that you like got inside their head so badly? Oh, Drew, I saw you were friends with Wilson Gavin too. I was too. Still missing him today. Oh man, it was a sad thing, eh? Sad thing. He was like a conservative friend of mine, much more conservative than I am. We were like, we'd shit post together, we meme together and shit like that. And yeah, it's just a very sad thing. Very sad thing. It's been 5 years now. Can Avi hook me up with his copium dealer? Yeah, dude, it's insane levels of copium, hey. Insane levels of copium. I'm currently messaging the Gen Z Boss and Mini people. I'm literally going to ask them just like, can I do like a 5-minute podcast with you or something like that? 5-minute interview. What was their name again? It's May Archibald. Okay. Hang on, I'll get back the stream, guys. I'll get back to stream. Sargon of Akkad did a very good video on Gen Z. Drew has reached. So true. I have no idea how a single TikTok video from a bunch of girls has dramatic spread across the entire Western right-wing sphere. Yeah, it's fucking crazy, isn't it? I really want to interview them. It'd be so fucking funny. Trump is a fake conservative as far as traditional values of conserving anything goes. Yeah, he doesn't conserve anything. Gen Z Boss and Mini as a driving force behind Doge and tariffs in order to make jobs manly again is my personal theory. It's literally fucking true. It's crazy, isn't it?
Carleton is a special case because it's got 91
Macy.
candidates on the ballot.
I'm trying to find the.
We don't know what the
I think I've
turnout
got
is. If the turnout is anyway what the advance polls was,
I've
if
literally
that
found
is
it. Okay.
reflected in the general, there are more votes to be counted then too, right? That's possible.
Yes, but I also believe that in future elections Canada should want a protocol where the advance polls are all calculated at the
Ahead
same
of time. Yeah.
So that it doesn't skew the commentary and the results and kind of gives you a more stable basis for what's happening.
Right, because again,
I think it was just astroturfed into being viral by right wingers out of some hate or something. Yeah, that was literally what happened. But it's just so funny that like they were so obsessed with it, right?
Of the country, it's 2 hours ahead of time if the returning officer wants. It's up to each returning officer to make that decision, and that's why things are a little sticky right now, I would say. Okay, what am I doing here? I'm going to show you. Oh, here we go. This is Carleton here, as Chantal was just saying. A lead of 1,400 for the Liberals, but that could be all those advanced ballots. That is very possible if they were counted first. Yeah, and only 10 polls reporting. So we're nowhere
10
near
seats isn't a lot. Yeah, I know. It's
calling
getting,
anything
it's
in that
close,
riding.
isn't it?
But that is why things are so, I'm not going to say volatile, but they are unusual and difficult to predict, I think is the safe way to characterize things in this highly unusual election. Ian, you've got some results.
Well, let's go to Saskatchewan, where things are more stable and the counting has almost, well, if not been completed, at least the picture is a lot clearer there. And if you look at the vote,
Someone said Pierre lost his seat. I don't think that's true. Is that?
That the Conservatives have,
Surely not, right?
As
Surely
no
not.
surprise to anybody, the Liberals have increased their vote share by 11 percentage points, but kind of only a moral victory when you consider that is not really translating into a significant change in terms of seats, although even winning
Rewind a
one
minute. I
seat
can't.
in
Hang on.
Saskatchewan for the Liberal change in terms of
election. Ian, you've got some predictions in here.
Oh,
as,
no! Look, I think, dude, that
change
seat where
in-
Pierre's
change
losing right now, it's barely
in terms of
reporting. So
seats,
there's heaps of
although
polling stations
initial
left in that seat.
liberal
It's not
Liberal,
actually.
he's been a
Yeah, he's not actually
provincial
losing this seat.
NDP MLA. He ran unsuccessfully
He might
for
lose.
the
Yeah,
Liberals
is
last
it?
time around.
I thought that there's still heaps of polling
Redistribution
stations left in
changed
that one.
this riding
Let's. I don't know.
and
That's
made it look a
fucking
lot more
interesting.
favorable for the Liberals. And of course, the Liberals have won.
The right wing
there.
going to stop the
But in
steal.
the cities, Regina and
Jagmeet
Saskatoon, this is a
lost his
province that does
seat.
not have a
Tommy.
truly urban
Really, he's officially
riding.
lost
So
it.
the
That's pretty
ridings
funny,
include the
actually.
suburbs and the city core. Makes it difficult for the progressive parties to beat the Conservatives. And look at Andrew Scheer, the former Conservative leader. No surprise that he's won Regina Capel by a huge margin. And Regina Capel
Not just HR, the
is
professional
where the
women have said that
CBC's
almost
Adam
all jobs
Hunter
women
is
have are fake and
tonight.
negative positives.
Adam, I know you're
positives
an
women do not have
expert
sex
on
with.
things
What the fuck?
political.
These guys,
in
yeah, these guys are
Saskatchewan,
fucking
so
mental.
you
Hey,
can
they
take
actually
this
are
in any
really mental.
direction
Some of
you
these guys.
want. What's the headline tonight in Saskatchewan?
I think a crack in the blue wall for the Conservative Party. They held with that share vote you showed, Ian, very impressively, but the Liberals gaining that seat in the north is not insignificant. They'll be happy about that. Here in Regina, they were hoping to pick up some steam, maybe Regina Wascana, Ralph Goodale's former seat. That didn't come to pass as of yet. And you showed us Andrew Scheer's results. No surprise there. Andrew Scheer winning for the 8th time. The classic.
Women won't sleep. We must be the Jews paying them to not do it. That's literally how these retards think, eh?
Polyev, as 24-year-olds. We're waiting to hear from Andrew Scheer. He'll be speaking with us, we believe, momentarily.
And what about the state of the NDP in Saskatchewan tonight?
Yeah, Ian, it's a bit surprising and disappointing, I think, at the same time for the NDP because they did so well in the provincial election, putting up a big fight in that provincial result, really increasing their seat count. But that didn't translate federally. The federal and provincial NDP aren't really aligned. And that showed, I think, tonight in the results, that 13% drop in the share of the vote for the NDP, very significant. And the Liberals picking up a lot of second places across the province, which is a surprise here in Saskatchewan.
All right, Adam Hunter, thank you very much for giving us the lay of the land in Saskatchewan. Rosemary.
Okay, thanks for that, Ian. Let me show you what's going on at the bottom of your screen there. And that is a whole lot of nothing definitive, basically. 157 leading elected for the Liberals, 149 for the Conservatives. The Bloc sort of sticking around that number now that most of the counting is done in Quebec. The NDP at 10 and the Greens at 1. And I believe that's Saanich Gulf Islands at this stage. So we are waiting to be able to give you a better sense of what kind of government Mark Carney will lead in his new mandate, where he is an elected prime minister, not just one who won leadership. That is Liberal headquarters, where there was a lot of excitement earlier in the night when it was declared that they would form government. But right now, they are waiting.
I literally messaged the Gen Z girl of us too many people.
That means.
Drew, this is your father.
there
Streaming
too.
to 31
So
people
Ashley
and
Burke,
calling people retards from the
let's hear
safety
from
of
you.
a
I think you
library
have a guest with
doesn't
us.
constitute getting a job. Sorry, Nick, this is a great job. We love it.
These election results.
Trump put Canada's sovereignty on the ballot. Regina is not nearly as fun as the name sounds.
With me is David
I'm looking on
Lebetti,
Twitter
the
for
former
Maximum
Justice
Fermi,
Minister and Attorney
Canada's
General
mega
of Canada.
candidate, and his entire
He left the government last year. He's
How
a longtime friend of Mark Carney.
fucking over.
Been
I hate
providing
talking about COVID at this point.
advice to him throughout his campaign.
It's a fucking horrible
Mr.
time.
Lebetti, can you
Why
just
do
talk
you
about
want
how
to
you're
talk
feeling
about it?
seeing the
It's fucking
results come in,
annoying.
especially a projection for the first seat in Saskatchewan?
Look, I'm really happy that Mark Carney will continue to be Prime Minister of Canada. I think that's critical. I'm really happy that in the riding I used to represent, Claude Guay has won that riding back for the Liberal Party. And I'm glad that Buckley Bélanger has won a seat in Saskatchewan. I think that's critically important for the government's credibility to be able to support have support in all regions of the
Oh,
country.
it's so annoying. I'm
really
trying to get
pleased
combative
about
a lot of people coming here.
Obviously, there are a
Just
lot of
fuck off,
close
guys.
races
Seriously.
that we would want.
Almost as if Conservatives want
see
COVID
the end
to
of.
Malaki's making a
Hopefully
lot of
the
sense. What's going
numbers will go
on?
up a little bit
Yeah,
when
dude,
the
I
advanced
fucking hate
polls come
talking
in,
about COVID. It's just so
in Ontario
exhausting and
and
so
other
annoying.
places. But
Mr. Pavlova, thanks for joining, mate.
if you had asked me in December
That shirt said woke as fuck.
if these numbers were possible, I would have said no. With Mark Carney in place, we've got these numbers, we've got government, we can serve Canadians, we can stand up to Mr. Trump. There's so much we can do that we couldn't do last November, last December.
Right now, do you still think the Liberals can win a majority tonight?
Well, there are a lot of tight races left. A lot of really tight races in Ontario. We'll see more tight races in British Columbia. We still have to wait and see the advanced polls. So let's see what happens. We know we're going to get.
Come on, guys, shush.
Hope that,
No, the dog's going crazy again, guys. This is the pitfalls of streaming with 3 dogs. It's difficult. People were bitching about COVID well into the 2040s at this point. Japanese soldiers kept fighting back in after World War II. Literally. I fucking hate talking about COVID. It's so annoying.
To be a rassembleur, to bring people together. There's a lot of misinformation out there.
CTP has called a minority government 30 minutes ago. I'm surprised that CPC is still counting points. MTG's advocating ban actually not even ban them back. Yeah, these people are
It's been a
fucking.
lot easier to talk to people on all sides, and it is something that we all just have to do. Every single citizen has to do it, but a government in particular has to lead, and Mr. Carney will lead us.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Lametti. That's David Lametti, the former Justice Minister here at the Liberal headquarters.
Okay, thank you, Ashley Burke. And of course, David Lametti, a good friend of Mark Carney's, who has been advising him, is what we kind of understand.
Dude, what are your thoughts on
a little bit
fascism? It's
throughout
bad.
this campaign, as you see.
BBC called the minority government for the Liberals already. Yeah, look, I think it's going to be minority government at this point.
Catherine Cullen, do you have some results?
Yeah.
Hey,
There's a lot of action happening on
shush.
that board. So let's go to Alberta, look at some of the cities and see where some of that action is happening. I believe we are going to start here with
The minimum is a minority government. Yeah, it's not going to get
There
worse.
you
than a
go.
minority government.
Now, this was a rematch, right? Kerry Diot, the previous MP for this riding, Blake Desjardins
Persecution
of
complex
the
as well,
NDP
yup.
won it in the last election. Kerry Diot has won it back. That is projected elected. So that is one of the certainties tonight, and some of the movement that you're seeing there also speaks to what is happening with the NDP numbers. Let's head over to Calgary. In Calgary Centre right now, the Conservative incumbent Greg McLean is in second. This is a riding that the Liberals took in 2015, but Greg McLean has had it for some time, so we're going to want to watch the results there. Calgary Confederation, Corey Hogan. If you're a political nerd like some of the people in this room, cough, cough, you might know Corey Hogan from his podcast, The Strategists. Right now, he is in the lead, but he's got quite an opponent in Jeremy Nixon, somebody well known in provincial politics. And finally, Calgary.
So what are your thoughts on
Ignite,
Ioannis
where the
Metaxas,
Liberal
who said
finds
Oxy to the
himself
Italians in World War II? He was a
in
devout
second at this
Orthodox
point.
fascist.
The Conservative
Look, Metaxas, I respect him for saying Oxy, but yeah, I don't appreciate his authoritarian style
I
of
want to show
rule.
you a little bit of how the leaders are doing. Those are the MPs.
Conservatives
for
managing to win,
candidates
yeah,
I'm
losing
tracking.
would be one of
Let's
the
start
funnest
with
ever.
Mark
That would
Carney,
be
as we
fucking
said.
nuts.
He handily won his riding, my gosh, by more than 10,000 votes in Nepean. First time he has been elected to public office, first PM to never hold an elected position. And also, here's another bit of trivia, first prime minister born in Northwest Territories, although he grew up mostly in Alberta. Next, let's have a look at okay, that is Pierre Poilievre's riding of Carleton. Again, he is trailing the Liberal by 1,700 votes. Not a lot of polls reporting, and as we talked about before, advanced polls may indeed be a factor here. The longest ballot initiative, also a factor. There were 91 candidates on that ballot, but right now Pierre Poilievre trailing in his own riding. Okay, Yves-François Blanchet, we told you about that either. Also, a big lead for him, an easy win in Belleuil-Chambly as leader of the Bloc Québécois.
Drew,
And
why
this
do
is
people
Burnaby
keep
Central.
why do
It
people
is
putting up
early
Golden stickers in
still,
Melbourne? Because there's
but
a couple Greek
the
fascists.
news here is what many
Olivier
in the NDP
losing seat would be more
Jagmeet
devastating to
Singh
Conservatives
is
than a
in
Liberal
third
majority.
place
Damn.
in his own riding of
Pretty
Burnaby Central.
brutal.
The Liberal leading by
Why is this
240
happening?
votes. But for Jagmeet Singh to be in third, that might be the start of a very bad story for him tonight. And there you go, Elizabeth May. She is leading in her riding by 1,700 votes. Saanich Gulf Islands will continue to watch there.
Third in his own
Elizabeth May,
seat. My God.
of course, has been around for a long time. She is the co-leader of the Green Party at this stage. And that's because this man, Jonathan Pedneau, is the other co-leader. He decided to run in Outremont, came in fourth. Rachel Bendayan easily reelected in the riding of Outremont in Quebec, and one more. There you go. This is in the riding of the Beauce. You can see the Conservative there.
Not as well as if
Oh my
Oakley's
gosh,
in
that is
Greece.
a huge
Yeah,
margin,
fuck it, mate.
20,000 votes.
I'm a
in the
Greek
Beauce.
fascist from
Maxime
Brisbane.
Bernier,
All right,
placing
man. Good
third.
for you.
He is still the leader of the People's Party of Canada.
Are Canadian
We'll
Greens
see
as
whether
bad
that
as Aussie
party
Greens?
continues after
I don't know.
tonight.
I'm
There
not
has
sure.
been a very
Peter,
big
like, look what the
success
fascists
in
did to
Outremont
Greece. The
and
Nazis
losing
occupied us.
badly in his
The
own
Nazis
riding
massacred
of
Greece.
the Beauce.
It's horrific, man.
All right, let's go back to David Cochran, who's got some updates and some information.
We're going to go all the way back to Newfoundland and Labrador and show
All
you
right.
what's happening in Terra Nova and the peninsulas, and let this riding be a lesson for us throughout the
Come
night.
on, shush,
Because the Conservatives were leading in this all night, but look at this. With 2 polls left to go, the advanced polls, where the Liberals are believed to have dominated, Anthony Germain has gone from hundreds of votes back to just
Couldn't
under
be any
dozens
worse
of
than the
votes
American
ahead.
dream.
He's got a 23-vote lead
Canadian Greens are
over
very much
Jonathan
street
Rowe
Tories.
right now,
Okay.
with 268 of 270 polls reporting. We've seen some change, for example, in Nova Scotia, where Sean Fraser has moved out to a pretty big lead right now, almost 2,000 votes.
Guys, I'm just
But Pierre
gonna
Lachey, Grand Lake
go
is
to the
slipping back to
bathroom
fourth in New
soon.
Brunswick, and this is all on the advanced polls. And that's going to be something we've got to watch in the GTA, for example. Rosie, as I was saying earlier, the Liberals are down about 10 seats in Ontario. There's a lot of advanced votes, they think, still to be counted in a lot of these ridings where they're.
All right, guys, short bathroom break.
Vote
Empty
efficiency,
chair,
you would
start
expect
streaming
with
time.
them
So,
being in the
please don't leave the
44%
stream.
or
I'll be
whatever it
back
is
in like
popular vote is not
2-3
quite
minutes.
showing up because
Hey,
the winner
someone
needs
says,
the
take
bigger
the
margins.
camera with
And
you.
the,
No,
a
mate,
lot
I'm
of
not
the
doing that.
NDP
Thanks, doggy.
loss. Essentially what's happened is like the Liberal surge in the NDP collapse has elected a lot of Conservatives, or at least has the Conservatives more competitive at this point in time based on the vote splits. But you go back and look at what has happened in Terra Nova, what's happened in Central Nova, the Novas basically, on the East Coast. You're seeing the power of the advance vote coming in and driving results late. So, you know, as we look at the tightening back and forth, as these results come in massive numbers, Carleton, for instance, the Pierre Poilievre riding, 43,000 advance votes in a single riding there. So there's numbers like that in the tens of thousands right across the country.
And to that end, look at what's going on now at the bottom of your screen. Things have changed pretty dramatically again. Now the Liberals shooting back up to 163 and the Conservatives dropping down to 146, the NDP dropping there as well. So that shows you a little bit, again, how fluid things are still at this hour. What the heck time is it? 11:30 Eastern. Polls have all been closed since 10 o'clock Eastern, an hour and a half in. Yes, we've said who's going to form government, but because those numbers continue to shift around a lot, because of the way this election has unfolded, really being a race between the two main parties, that is where we're at tonight. Still lots of movement there, and still not able to make a call on what kind of government you will end up with by the end of this night, or who knows, maybe early into tomorrow morning. Let's go to this result, though, that has been projected elected. Here it's coming. There you go. And that is in the riding of University Rosedale. Chrystia Freeland has been projected elected with a significant lead, more than 8,400 votes. And Chrystia Freeland joins me now. Congratulations to you, Chrystia Freeland.
Thank you, Rosie Barton.
How are you feeling about where the Liberal Party is tonight? Yes, you're going to form government again. Not sure what kind of government, but what do you make of what has been a remarkable turnaround?
I think it's a remarkable turnaround, Rosie. You know, I look back to where we were as recently as December, and you know as well as I do that at that point, people had totally written us off. People were even talking about whether the Liberals would retain official party status. And right now, you are talking about what the strength of our government will be. So to me, that is a remarkable comeback. And I really want to say kudos to our Prime Minister, Mark Carney, who showed in his few weeks as Prime Minister that he is totally up to the job. And he has been a remarkable campaigner. So this is a great night for the Liberal Party. It's a great night for Canadians. What I have experienced in my own riding, supporting 27 other candidates in Ontario and places like Saskatchewan, is Canadians recognized that this was a critical moment for our country. Canadians understood that the ballot question is who can fight for Canada, who can stand up to Donald Trump, and the answer is the Liberal Party and Mark Carney.
How much responsibility do you take for where we are at tonight? Because one could argue that part of your move to quit is what triggered Justin Trudeau's resignation, Mark Carney's arrival. Do you take any I don't know, any solace in that difficult decision given where you are tonight?
You know, Rosie, obviously I did not have a crystal ball on that morning when I took the really tough decision to resign from the cabinet, but I knew it was the right thing to do. I didn't know what would happen next, but I knew that we were headed in the wrong direction and that I had to do something about it. And I knew it was the right thing then. I'm delighted by our party's comeback and really grateful to all of the fabulous Liberals who have come out and worked so hard for this result. I've seen in my own campaign and campaigns across the country, people really getting this is an existential moment for Canada and showing up and working hard and showing, you know, democracy, it's a noun, but we have to make it a verb. So for me, this campaign has been a really joyous experience and a moment when I have been so proud of Canada, so proud to be Canadian, and felt this real palpable wave of patriotism. Now we need to harness that patriotism and use it to unite our country and to build our country. And I know that that is what Mark Carney's government is going to do.
Okay, Chrystia Freeland, thank you for making the time on this busy night for you. Congratulations. We will speak again soon, I'm sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you too.
Okay, thank you. That's Chrystia Freeland, who has easily won her riding tonight. She is projected elected. Adrienne Arsenault has some more results.
Not such an easy battle in other parts of Ontario. We've been talking all night about how tight it is. Well, let's just look at some places where it's very tight. Eglinton Lawrence, Vince Gasparo, only leading by 55 with 114 polls reporting. This is happening all over Ontario. Let's look at another riding where it is extremely tight. Brampton, North Caledon. Ruby Sahota, the government whip, again, only leading by 29. There are 6 seats in Brampton. Almost all of them are very, very tight. The one I find especially interesting is the next one here, which is Windsor-Tecumseh Lakeshore. Now, it's 325 votes. This was initially thought that it might be a Liberal NDP toss-up, but look at what is happening. And if the numbers don't tell you a story, let's look at this next graph, which shows how tight it has been there all night long. This is the vote share in Windsor-Tecumseh Lakeshore. Look at that line between the Liberals and the Conservatives. This is the story that is playing out in many, many ridings across Ontario, potentially across the country. That is why the number keeps bouncing the way it does at the bottom of your screen, Rosie.
Okay, yeah, it sure does. It's moving around an awful lot right now, tracking a little more heavily for the Liberals. Remember, a majority government, 172. The Liberals right now projected are elected in 164. Let me show you what the vote share looks like right across the country. Adrienne showed you that one particular riding. Look at that. 42.6 for the Liberals, 41.7 for the Conservatives. That is how close things are. And again, the second part of that story is as you go down your screen and you see what's happened to the Bloc and the NDP at just 5%, which is undoubtedly a devastating outcome for them. They are not yet right at official party status. Not sure whether they will get there. That is the number 12 that you have to watch for. But again, lots of things still fluid and in flux. And Ian's going to tell us a little bit about some of that.
Let's take a look at Vancouver Island. This has been a fortress in the past for the NDP, and a lot of people wondered what would happen to their seats. And you can see here that right now, the NDP is trailing in 4 of the ridings that they hold on Vancouver Island, and both the Liberals and the Conservatives are taking the lead there. None of these, though, are projected elected. But let's take a look, first of all, at Victoria. Will Greaves, University of Victoria professor, has pretty well doubled the vote share for the Conservatives in a riding which for a long time has been held by the NDP. I talked to another professor at UVic who said that Professor Greaves got the nomination.
I'm back, everybody.
Back when it didn't
How many
look
people
like
are
there was
still
really
here?
any chance.
We've
of
lost
the
10
Liberals
people.
winning. Well, now
Come on, guys. I had a
Stevens
short
going
bathroom
to
break.
Jenny Stevens,
It's
who's going to be
you've got to come back.
heading
You've got to
to
come back.
Ottawa. Esquimalt Saanich Suk. Stephanie McLean has gone from being a cabinet minister in Rachel
Olivier's
NDP
seat is
government in
Carlton, which is
Alberta
urban rural
to
outskirts of Ottawa.
displacing the
Immigration votes matter.
NDP
Look
candidate
on May
here.
3rd,
This
those
is
200K
Randall
immigrants a
Garrison's
month in Australia
old
with
riding. So, of course, he
Who
was
do you hate more?
analyst with us earlier tonight.
Yeah,
Obviously,
stream.
the
Let's
incumbent
go.
not
Hell
running
yeah.
again, but
Bro
by
thinks
the
he is
state,
Hasnavi.
Mayor Suk
Drew is a
seen as the
pro-genocide
star
pig.
candidate,
Fuck
and
my
you can
cock.
see
As
she
Simon would
is
take the
in
camera with
third place. Let's take a look at Nanaimo
People.
Ladysmith,
There
another
are 8
place
seats in Doubts and
where
not
the
sure.
NDP
My dog was paying
support
close attention
has
to TV for a
plummeted.
while there.
And
Did you wash your hands? I did.
Kunis is
Yep.
a lawyer, but on her website,
I've got
it says
stupid,
you
retarded,
can
bad
find
empanada
bartending
people
at the
watching right
Legion,
now. Fuck off.
sport shooting, or playing bridge. So a lawyer with a bit of a twist. That's kind of interesting. And yeah, huge lead going on in Nanaimo Ladysmith. Let's look at North Island, Powell River. This is a riding that I think some conservatives thought they would win easily. And this is a riding that so far the NDP
So many bots on
candidate,
Twitter
who is
now.
not
Every
the
single
incumbent,
post I make, I
has
get a bot
managed
in the
to
response. So
hold
fucking
on
annoying.
to more or less the share that the NDP had last time around, but still conservatives in the lead by just over 500 votes, Rosemary.
Okay, thank you for that,
Libtards
Ian.
are
I'm
in
going to
control,
show a
guys.
couple of boards
Have
myself
faith.
now to explain a little bit more of the story we're seeing tonight. This is sort of what we call a party summary board, how they're doing right across the country at this stage in the evening. So you can see their vote share 5.5% overall. But look at those numbers on the right, on the far right of your screen. Those numbers down. The NDP is down in every region
Banning
of
these
the
fucking
country.
bad empanada
And let me
trolls.
show you
Fuck
where
off.
some of that has gone by showing you this next board.
Keep it up, the hardest support.
This
One
is
day,
the Liberal
will be
Party,
supported the children
overall
from all the non-racial
42.6%. But look at that. Look at what has happened to them.
I
on
don't
the
want
right
to be
of your
deported
screen,
for the joy. I
up
want a two-state
in
solution.
every single
Who are you
region
voting for,
of the
Drew?
country. And that explains a little bit
I
where
don't
we
really
are
have a side in Australia
tonight.
right now. It's very
That
sad.
collapse of the NDP, yes, has
Yeah, more
supported
was going to propose Canada will be
everyone,
much easier
the
to invade with a
Conservatives and
Liberal
the
in charge,
Liberals,
rolling
but the
those taxes.
Liberals
Holy
really
fuck. Are they, you
surging
seriously?
with some support growth, some growth in every part of the country. Let's go to David Cochrane.
Yeah, Rosie, I mean, the NDP are down by double-digit percentage points everywhere. They could go down by double-digit percentage points. The only spot where they're not are the ones where they were in the single digits to begin with. But look, the path to party status was a difficult one for the NDP coming into Jagmeet Singh's third national election. They need 12 seats to get there. It's going to be tough. They have nothing in Atlantic Canada. We know that. They do have one seat in the island of Montreal. Alexander Boularice was re-elected in the Rosemont-Le Petit-Patrie riding. That's one. He's the
Guys, let me put this up on the screen very
We do
quickly.
have them
This is
leading
crazy.
in Nunavut, but I don't believe they're elected yet.
He's going to put this up on the screen really crazy. So you've got N Wokeness, and he's posting, Canada will be much easier to invade with a Liberal in charge. Roll in these tanks. Can you get worse copium, right? Can you get worse copium? That's fucking brutal. Russia and China in shambles. Hello, I'm the Dark Master. I'm an intellectual dude who shares his thoughts on a variety of subjects, from Lego themes to Kirby games and the Kirby anime to biology and paleontology, this channel. Thank you, Nimble. Thank you. Calm down, Professor X. Putinist bots are the only people allowed on X. It's so bad, man. Did you ever eat at UQ's pizza place? Yeah, great pizza place. I prefer to say it makes the most sense, but if nothing happens, Israel expands since they do have some crazy people in charge. Jagmeet Singh needs to go, right? At least you get every flavor of political idiocy in chat to keep it fresh. Amen. Jack Posobiec. What's Jack Posobiec project? I bet it's something fucking retarded. Posobiec. Let's see. No tweets. No tweets. Okay. Okay. Who else should we check? Who's retarded mega? Let's see what Elijah Schaefer is posting. He'd probably hate Poilievre because he'd think Poilievre is not fascist enough or some shit. Let's see what he says. Our founding fathers would put this man in jail for pretending to be an American. He's a fucking schizo, isn't he? Oh, sorry. It didn't go up. I'll just show you what Elijah Schaefer was posting. Our founding fathers would put this man in jail for pretending to be an American. So fucking schizo. CBC News, Canada Live. I'll watch that. Get it back up.
Have we changed? As Canadians, have we changed as a result of all this?
I think that's a question that sort of remains to be
See,
seen.
Colin saying Poilievre can
Going
still win if
forward.
Mike Pence has
All-
the courage.
Certainly, they were
anymore.
trying to have.
Can you
the
share a
conversation
screen on Blue
those
Sky? I want to
terms.
get my
They were trying to say
Canadian
at least
friends.
one of the things that you're voting on.
Share, what do you want me to share on Blue
country
Sky?
do you
I am
want?
on Blue
What
Sky.
kind of country do you want to be
Eric really wants round
in terms
three.
of our
He's
relationship
M-Workers.
with the United
Oh,
States?
Posobiec is the guy who wrote
That's
N-Workers.
the thing that
Oh,
Mark
fuck,
Carney kept on returning to as he kept
Yeah,
on
Posobiec runs
scene
N-Workers.
saying
Fucking skip.
Donald Trump is a big threat. Donald
You can
Trump
Pizza
is a
Place
big
had the
specter.
hottest King's Cosmos when I went there.
He was, you
Good
know,
on you, mate.
he had-
Laura
he had
Luma.
Mike
What's Luma?
Myers,
Yeah,
who
let's see.
said
What's
that
Luma
bubbles
posting?
up, he's trying to sort of tap into the sense that we should not
Let's see what
just
Luma's posting.
be concerned.
No,
We should
no
actually be
comments so
angry.
far, I
We should
think.
be upset at the incursions into our sovereignty and the incursions into the amount of space the United States takes up in our imagination. Now, having said that,
Yeah, Luma hasn't even commented on Canada
I
yet.
think that in another moment where the cost of living is not as
There's a Ryan
you know,
McBeth video
near the
proving Jack
top of
Posobiec ran and
people's
wrote workers.
concerns,
Yeah. I always laugh at
that
Americans who dream
would
of being in
have
charge of their
carried the
military from
day,
Central
right?
Command and
That
MO space. Just
absolutely
make
would have
sure to
carried
lick
the
the
day
Cheeto
because
dust off.
that
before
taps
you
into
do
something
it.
very
Oh.
deep in this country in terms of the ways that
These
we
kind of tweets are exactly why the
our
libs are winning in
relationship with
Canada.
the United
Yup.
States, but
Shaver ought to
things
take his
have been
medicine.
hard.
Have you posted
Things have
congratulations
been
to World
hard
Economic
for such a
Forum?
long time
That's
for
so
so
much
many
fun,
people
man. It's so much
that
fun. Let me bring that
they,
up,
they
actually.
still, even with all this, we still don't have a call for a majority government for the Liberals. We
Let's see. Congratulations to the WEF on winning the Canadian election. Come on, dude. This is such cope, Avi. This is such cope, Avi. You know it's cope. You know that Trump lost the election for the Conservatives. It's so fucking obvious. So obvious. You're a brave man scrolling Twitter live on stream. Thoughts on One Nation. Fucking retards. Laura Luma barely knows Canada exists. Laura Luma looks like a melted Gestapo Bratz. Yup. Thoughts on Costco. The Costco guys, they're the greatest artists of the 21st century. Absolutely. Another Discord mod says they are not discussing creative crash at this time after the shocking Harley Morrison withdrawal. More time to come. Damn. Brutal. So stupid. The anti-nuclear stuff in Australia is so fucking just so fucking juvenile.
And to fight at Mudmania. Let's go! Yeah!
Cue Trump rage at Canada. It's going to be retarded when he wakes up, eh? What's the time over there? We religious conservative can take my weed and gay porn from my cold dead hands. Well said, mate. I think they all need to go outside and touch grass. I mean, look, I think the Liberals did do a bad job in Canada, but the sad thing is Trump re-elected them because he's a fucking retard. Like, what else can you do? 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Good afternoon. I didn't realize you're doing the Canadian elections. I am. Thanks for tuning in. We've had a pretty good tune. Bro, look up the account of Liz Churchill. Those tweets are something else. Okay, I'll look up Liz Churchill. Let's see. Unofficial queen of the World Economic Forum. Is it Canadian? The prison state of Canada. The prison state. Fucking retarded. Okay, let's see. Pandemic. Canada just elected a prime minister that is friends with Ghislaine Maxwell. Is that even a real photo? That looks pretty edited to me. What an embarrassment. All Pierre had to do was campaign on ending immigration, ending DII, and the COVID genocide, and he would have... What's the COVID genocide? What's the COVID genocide? What the fuck? Do you prefer Albo or Dutton? Oh, mate, I really don't like either of them. Again, pro wrestling is sick. The main villain is a white guy called Lord White, who exploited by law by British conservatives to continue colonial ownership of pro wrestling. Is that true? Trump pulls a Putin and accuses the Liberals of rigging it and invades Alberta to protect ethnic Americans. Will Trump still call it the 51st state tomorrow? Middle of the night, so Trump is sleeping. Yeah, he's asleep right now. What the fuck is the ending? What the fuck is the COVID genocide? What the fuck's the COVID genocide? Breaking. Maybe Pierre Poilievre shouldn't have posted this today. Trump's policies work worldwide. Such a shame. Wow, these retards think that Pierre Poilievre was too mean to Trump, that's why he lost. Carney's sister-in-law apparently went to school with Ghislaine. Is that actually true? That's fucked up. Found more than half a country. This is the biggest cope in the fucking world. I'm just going to screenshot all these retarded copes for these people. I think it's because they have schizo and they think the vaccine killed trillions of people. Yeah, they think like 1 billion people died from the vaccine or whatever. It's like literally just schizophrenia. Let's see. They think the vaccine sterilized everybody. If Trump dies of a McDonald's fueled heart attack, how much would change about Republican governance? I don't know. That's like $1 million question, right? Like how insane would JD Vance actually go? I don't think he would do the full tariff shit that Trump's currently doing, but he's still pretty insane. Wow. There's a conspiracy theory that that Matthew Iglesias is trying to embrace Richard Hanania in order to drive out AOC. So smart. The 4D chess here is that it's going to be easier for Trump to dig in his heels on tariffs with Carney than it would have been with Poilievre. No one in the GOP has any love for Canada's Liberals. The tariffs just got Tim side. That's retarded. That's literally retarded. How's that fucking 4D chess? That's fucking stupid. I hope they go back to Bush era politics. Dude, Bush era was still fucked up though. That moment when right-wing schizos are more deranged and illogical than the majority 4chan schizos kick. Will Laura Loomer get her wish and have a MAGA baby with Trump? Yes or no? We should have a poll market on that. I reckon Trump will do it. The Canadians gave Trump more than their elbows. I hope the pro-Hamas rallies that have been happening weekly, daily in Canada get stopped now that Canada has a liberal minority. We'll see. COVID was released by one of Putin's labs to destroy the West. This is true. I prefer the abundance agenda is a neoliberal coup, people. Abundance agenda is a good thing. Jack Posobiec is actually retarded. Canada will be much easier to invade with a liberal in charge. Fucking idiot. Do you support Cyprus joining Greece? Man, it's not viable. It's not practical. We need to revive Lincoln. Well said. I'll bring back up. Okay, I'll bring back up the CBC stream now.
He's fighting it out, as you can see there on the bottom of your screen, that it makes it very difficult at this
Trump
stage.
will not even try and name it Donald Trump.
Because all the things that we
What do you mean Cyprus is Greece?
know during an election simply aren't happening.
My grandparents supported Enosis, and they think that Enosis was a mistake because it led to the Turkish invasion. It's a hard thing, guys.
Before I get to the results, I want to say one of the cool things.
But I did get brought up by my family to always be told that we agree.
Phrase that's very colorful.
My family were always big supporters of Enosis, but I think they realized that the Turkish invasion was faster. Enosis, resulted in a
Good on all of you. I'm here for a good time and apparently a long time.
Revive Eisenhower, Cyprus, UK.
Anyway, that was really nice.
Cable. It's after dark, right? So
let's go to Manitoba now and start with seat change in the province of Manitoba, where they've been counting for a long, long time. And you can see the Liberals.
Cyprus is Albania. Okay, fair enough. Well said. Well said, actually. I can't argue with that. That's just too hard to argue with.
One is leading.
Cyprus is Albania.
First of all, in the one they're leading, we talked
about
it.
Adam Bernard is literally mobilized his entire fan base to try down mass downvote.
We're going to actually start in Winnipeg West. Doug Ailson. ER Doc, who was
I can't believe I tune in
riding and then got beaten by
I can't believe I tune in and you're watching CBC like I am. Well, I know they're like the main Canadian news, right? Make sure to make videos ranting about the pro-Hamas rallies in Canada and Australia. I hate them, man. I'm Greek and I always argue with my girlfriend who is Cypriot about Enosis. Mikali IPS space. Dude, it resulted in the invasion of Cyprus. It was a disaster in the end. Cyprus is Finland. I'll say it. Albania is Cyprus. I don't know that it is actually Jack Posobiec. That theory is basically the idea that Posobiec speaks more, but he doesn't seem to be able to do interview openly in Poland.
And let's look at
the events chameleon. Look at his previous politics. He did it previously called Trump American History. Colton Turkish Cypriots. Look, I harbor no ill will towards Turkish Cypriots. I just wish that Turkey would stop its illegal occupation of northern Cyprus, and I wish that Cyprus could be reunited and Turkish Cypriots would be able to live in Cyprus in peace. Because I remember my Bapur told me that. My Bapur told me, like, him and his Greek Cypriot family, like, they got along well with the Turks when he was in that riding. It's sad that, like, it resulted in a massive war. There's a guy who runs in my area every election, and his only policy is to support Cyprus becoming part of Greece. He even runs in local elections on that platform. He usually wins home vote. Dude, in what country is this happening? That's amazing. In what country is that? That's so funny. Cyprus is Kurdistan. Eisenhower had a lot of negative aspects. He was patient zero for the religious right. Got Billy Graham into his spiritual advisor. U.S. president, all for the worst. You know, Syria girl, the schizo, literally believes that Syria should annex Canada. Syria girl, the schizo, thinks that Syria should annex Cyprus and Palestine. It's fucking schizo. Canada is Greece. Well said. Oakley Mel. Is there actually Mayside? What's the name of this guy? I want to Google him. That's so fucking funny. I want to like interview him. It's hilarious. Please tell me. Please tell me.
The polls were very, very close.
Who's this guy? What's the name of the guy who his entire policy is just literally annex Cyprus to Greece? Please tell me this guy. It's so funny.
Very, very happy about the result tonight.
So in a couple of months, if these results hold and you're sitting there in the House and the Bloc Québécois votes with you for the first time, what will your response be to the Conservatives who say this is yet another coalition?
Well, I think we have to respect the will of the Canadian people. They give us the Parliament that they give us. We have a responsibility to work with all parties in the House, and we will do that. NDP, Bloc, Conservatives. Our country is under threat right now from our neighbor to the south, so we need to work together to stand strong for Canadians.
Terry, thanks very much for taking the time here.
All right, Bartley, thank you very much. And we have the CBC projected that the Liberals will form government, and we have not yet had a projection as to whether that government will be majority.
Holy shit, Nicholas Decker is now advocating for infanticide. Fucking hell.
Thank you, Ian.
Parashosh Coupe. I'm gonna look at this up. This is so funny.
Manitoba.
Parashosh.
Yeah, we said earlier, Rosemary, that the NDP lost the seat
Pure
of Edmonton Greensboro, but
Hellas.
they have held on to another.
That's so
seat.
fucking funny.
That is the seat of Edmonton.
Does he have a social media page, this guy?
Re-elected Heather McPherson, and the CBC's Sam Sampson is in that riding of Edmonton Strathcona tonight.
I think I might have found him.
Hi, Catherine. Yes, and we are here with NDP projected winner of Edmonton Strathcona, Heather McPherson.
Parashosh Coupelis. I think I found him. If Greece wants Canada, they can get in line. Amen.
Let's chat about what you
Oh,
said
yeah.
at that stage.
Cyprus is Argentina. Everyone knows. What's it? I mean, Jeffropoulos Epstinos. The guy's like 70 years old. I think I found him.
So nationally,
You know, there are Epstein Sigma edits, Drew. Put Cyprus in the Falklands. So true. Have you noticed that so many cocksuckers from the pro-Hamas crowd tend to deny or support the Uyghurs? Like, yeah, that's always happens, eh?
Of Edmonton Strathcona, who were kind enough to send me back to Ottawa. And, I'm going to still do the same thing tomorrow that I've done every single day since I was elected in 2019. I'm going to get up tomorrow and I'm going to fight for people in Edmonton Strathcona, people in Edmonton, people in Alberta, and people in Canada. That's what New Democrats do. This room was filled with people who were volunteers, who knocked on doors. We had the best candidates in the city.
I think I found this guy, Parashosh Coupelis. So he literally runs every single election just on Cyprus as the platform. That's amazing. That's so fucking funny.
New Democrats do better when people are voting out of a sense of hope and optimism.
That's so fucking funny. I'm going to try interview him.
say you have the best candidates in the
I very much like Mark Carney. I don't feel optimistic about Canada overcoming the many challenges it faces. I think it's a really bad situation. Trying to convert it to Judaism, I think there would be a big tone shift over the treatment of the weakest. Yes, seriously, literally, it's fucking sad. Literally facts. Not only the Muslim Ummah would care,
In
which
2019,
they sadly
I was
don't
the
care
only
right
New
now.
Democrat elected in Alberta, and we were able to get so many things done.
Can the guy who said that he is an Orthodox Christian Greek fascist from Greece, that guy come back to the chat and tell us more about his beliefs? That's so strange. I think he's Australian and he's like an obsessively. I'm sure Monash City Council will get taken out of Cyprus. So true, so fucking true. It's like the people who run for council on destroy Israel platform. Like, what the fuck are they gonna do? But he runs for Monash City Council. That's so fucking
We're
funny.
used to doing this, and we are going to hold the Liberal government accountable, and they are going to have to live up to their promises to Canadians to make life more affordable, to make sure that groceries are affordable, to make sure that there is housing and people can afford somewhere to live.
There are a lot of issues there that you just mentioned that I'm sure.
I hope Mark Carney can just tackle anti-Semitism and put an end to the daily pro-Hamas rallies in Canada. I agree.
Thanks so much.
The Han people are the true Israelites. So true, so true.
Pretty firmly back in 2021 with 60% of the vote. We have called it so far for Heather in this moment. Polls are still reporting, but
The Han people are the true Israelites of the world.
less at the moment. We'll see where the night takes us.
Really interesting. Thank you very much for that, the CBC's Sam Sampson. And Rosemary, Heather McPherson saying the future of the NDP is in this room. Pretty noteworthy when they have not right now. They don't have official party status, and the party's
Actually,
leader,
Maduro, Fico, and Diaz-Canel is going to the Victory Day Parade in Moscow. If Ukraine strikes, it would be the single biggest day for democracy in the community. I hope they fucking strike a day. Beautiful if they did that.
This
It'd be
night
fucking amazing.
in his riding of Burnaby Central. It had been a concern for the party, and it continues to be so. So we'll see whether Mr. Singh is even able to hang on to his own riding in Burnaby South. And so I'm going to go to Randall Harrison. I brought him out there. So we'll start with the good for you, Heather McPherson.
Thoughts on the Black Hebrew Israelites? Guys who are definitely not mentally ill, they've definitely got a sound platform. Hey, Chinese guy did say he was Jesus' brother, and like 100 trillion people died. Yeah, that was the the Taiping Rebellion. So mental.
It's obviously not a happy night for New
Miami
Democrats.
would have so many parties
But I
after
think
that.
what most New Democrats
The
understand.
pro-Hamas crowd are
this
trying
is
to
an
destroy
election
Canada.
where a lot of our
Something that needs to be done to stop this madness one way or another. Well said,
you
Yusuf.
have to vote for the Liberals to keep Pierre Poilievre out, and also to have the strongest possible stance against Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And so they've lent their votes
Heavenly
to the Liberal
Kingdom.
Party this time.
Bring it back.
But remember, the NDP is
A
still
very
without major
noble
provinces.
and
We're
not
the official
mentally ill
opposition
movement
in
at
4
all.
provinces.
What happened there? Like,
I
it was just a
still see
guy
a
who
path to
declared himself to be the
12
brother of Jesus, and then he
seats
let him
there
rebel.
because
Like,
the NDP
50
heavily
million
works
people died. It's
advanced
fucking
polls, and
insane.
everyone knows that.
To read about
I think we could still end up with 12. I think the Liberals could
Taiping
still end
Rebellion.
up 12 seats short of a majority. So we could
Thoughts on the
still have a
Taiping
fairly
Jews? Big fans.
positive outcome. But I'm
Think
not
this in order to defeat the Qing
trying to
dynasty.
say that this is a good night for us.
No, you're not going to
It's-
sugarcoat it. You're a
I
political
like how we've
scientist
got
and
like
recovering
very
politician.
international chat, and all of us are just like typical authors. So like we got a guy from
but I
Argentina who
think
knows
there's
about the Taiping
room to
Rebellion, and
rebuild
we're just
from
chatting about
this,
the Taiping Rebellion. It's
and
cool.
that Canadians will
Make
remember
China
that
constitutional.
Mark Carney is first and
You mean
foremost a
China.
banker
What's happened to Roseanne
and
Barr? She's
an
been extremely
investment
quiet.
capitalist. And so when it comes time for the Parliament to try and deal with the trouble that Trump is going to cause for ordinary Canadians, there need to be those voices there to say, what are you actually going to do to make it better for ordinary people? And there'll still be at least 9 or 10, if not 12, New Democrats to raise those questions.
Do you think, though, that Mr. Singh should have earlier in the campaign? You know, we talked a lot about how Mr. Poilievre should have pivoted, and who knows if that's actually the truth given where the numbers are. But I wonder whether Mr. Singh should have pivoted earlier,
Cyprus
whether he should have not
fight against Greeks.
suggested that
Until
there was
100
some
BC.
world
So
in which
true.
he was going to be prime minister, and should have pushed more
The only true
for the balance
reincarnation
of
of
power
Jesus,
and
Reza
protecting the
Ghulam
things that
Ahmed.
you're talking about.
Well,
Look it
it's a
up.
very short campaign we've been in, and
Yeah.
so pivoting earlier means a week earlier, maybe.
Well, no, starting
I'm
from
a
that
founder of
one point,
Ahmadiyya.
From the beginning, we had
Ahmadiyya
no idea
movement
what
in
was
Islam.
going on
Interesting.
because
Very
of Trump. We had no idea what kind of campaign it was going to be. We had no idea that this big shift would be, whether it would be lasting for Carney or there was a bump.
Yeah.
So for the first couple of weeks of the campaign, nobody really knew what was happening. And once we did know what was happening, he did shift very quickly.
Right. What happens if he
Trump
loses
belongs to
the
the
seat?
sea people who caused the Bronze Age collapse. So true.
Well, it's always hard
Roseanne
for
Barr
leaders to
speech
lose their
when
seat
she
if they
did
want to
her
stay
rap
on as
son with
leader. And you know, I'm ultra
anything new
honest.
she would
I
do
don't
would
know
just be a
whether he'll
sloppy
want to stay on
comparison.
as leader if he loses his seat. It's going to be very difficult for him. I know it's been very hard on his family because of the threats that have been made to him, and maybe he won't wish to continue. On the other hand, the advanced polls come through. He still wins his seat. We still have 12, and the Liberals are 12 short. That's another whole thing. So that's a story you can't write yet.
No, yeah, that's fair.
And we'll live to see tomorrow where we actually end up.
Okay. Thank you, Randall Garrison. Appreciate you you being forthcoming there as well. All right, I'm going to take you to some other results here in the riding of Central Nova. Oh, we're just going to go straight to the person who won in the riding, and there he is, Sean Fraser. He did manage to win in the riding of Central Nova. Sean Fraser, congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you so much. We get to be together on election night anyway, Rosemary.
Okay, so it turns out that idea to not retire and spend time with your family worked out for you here. How are you feeling about that?
Look, I'm feeling really good about the path ahead. Obviously, it's an invigorating experience
Bring
to
back
be successful
Martin
in an
economic
election, to have
concept.
the privilege to represent your community in the House of
Polarization
Commons.
stuff that North America only
My
handled one
family's actually
liberal
really
at a
excited.
time.
We were all
Traditionally,
together
catch up
earlier
on
this
like
evening
now
watching the
people
results
can have
come
a look
in,
again.
and this is an incredible opportunity to continue our service.
Yeah, and I'm
What can I
totally
say? Fuck
teasing you
Donald Trump
about that.
again, the Liberals
What do you
winning
make
the
of
election.
what the numbers are so far, and the fact that this has
Where
been
did the team come from?
a
Well said.
two-party race
Good question.
throughout this election campaign, and that is reflected here tonight. And we don't know exactly how this is going to end, other than you are forming government.
Yeah, look, I'll reserve judgment on the final numbers that come
Mirza
in, but
Ghulam
the
Ahmed
results
believed
we're
he
seeing
survived
tonight
the
reflects my
crucifixion and spent the rest of his
experience
life
on the
traveling
doorstep
Kashmir and
over the
died of old
course of
age.
the last
That's
number of
very
weeks.
interesting. That's actually
People were
interesting. I'm
faced
going to
with a
read
very
into that.
clear choice: who is best to represent Canada in defending Canada, standing up to the threat that we're seeing coming from south of the border. People have very different views as to the appropriateness of one party or another, but that's what elections are all about. More than any election I've been a part of, this was a very clear choice with a clear issue, and thankfully, locally and nationally,
Like in a
the voters
parallel
have made the
universe
choice
where
that
see
I
the
think was
Canadian
right.
Liberal Party compared against
Right,
the
but
Liberal Party.
still not. I realize
One
that the
sentence
bar, what you know, 3 months ago was let's just survive.
What is
But
this,
as
Australia
the
to
election
defend
went
Jesus?
on, it seemed like
Isn't
the
it like
bar
how the
was
Mormons
let's try
want
and
you
get
to
to a
America to do
majority.
goofy stuff?
Could still happen,
I
I
don't
suppose,
actually
but I
know the
think it's
full
getting
thing behind Mormon
increasingly
theology.
less likely. A minority government, is that something that you think Liberals can deal with and work with going
Sorry, my
forward,
feelings
Mr.
kind of
Carney, if that's where we end up?
Elections are all
Well,
about
look, I anticipate, and you got to keep in mind that the future of the government is not up to political parties, but it's up to Canadians. The Canadian people are always right on the back end of an election, and if they decide to elect a minority or a majority, it's incumbent upon those of us who get elected to work across the aisle as much as possible to ensure that we implement the kinds of policies that are going to serve the Canadian people and the way the Canadian people see fit.
Wow, so
If
Stephen
not,
Harper's best ever
we
result
find
in
ourselves
2011
back
was
in an election.
39.6%,
But in the
and Paul Revere
meantime,
is
I
at
think we're going to have an
41.9%.
opportunity
That's
to
really
work
interesting.
in a cross-partisan way to try to defend Canada's interests, in particular in the face of threats from Donald Trump and the United States.
And tell me, do you think it is possible for
Isn't it
the
just
Liberal
crazy
Party
that
to
we're like
work with the
literally talking
Conservative
about
Party? We
threats
were
from the United
discussing it
States
with
and
the At
Canada?
Issue
I
panel.
can't even believe that this is reality.
It just seems, given the way the election unfolded and how difficult Mr. Poilievre was before the election in terms of how he confronted the Liberal government. I don't know how
Liberals are
that
currently leading the
works
popular vote by
going
less than
forward.
1%.
Do you see a path for people to work together in the face
Wow,
of
Jack
Donald
Mead is
Trump?
in third place in his riding. That's
Look, it may
brutal.
depend on the specific issue.
Jack Mead
Obviously,
Singh
one
is
of the
in
things that
third
I
place
heard
in
on the
his riding.
doorstep, and
That's
something that
amazing.
reflects my experience in the House of Commons, Mr. Poilievre in particular has adopted a very similar style of politics to what we've seen from President Trump. But it's not as though that what one person represents the voices of every member of Parliament from all opposition parties. We have the opportunity to work with members of different political parties. We have the opportunity on an issue-by-issue basis to work with many Conservatives as well. I had many opportunities to make friends on the other side of the aisle, including in the Conservative caucus, and we're going to have to leverage those relationships. Canadians do not want us to continually talk about
Can't
what's
even
wrong with
debate.
the other party that we may
Remember
be
when
competing
Trump
against.
suggested
They
Mexico
want
should join
us
the
to put
US?
our ideas on the
Terrifying.
table and work together to get things done. I heard that message loud and clear in my own community, and it's a lesson I'm going to take back to Ottawa going forward.
Okay, Sean Fraser, nice to see you. Congratulations again, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
I'm sure. Thank you so much, Rosemary.
Okay, have a good evening. Appreciate it very much. All right, we're talking to some of the people who have clinched their seats today. If any Conservatives want to talk and you've won, happy to put you on as well. Just give us a call. Adrian, you've got some
Canadians and
Yeah,
Bloc
well, why don't we do that right now?
Read that
Let's
the
go to
Conservatives and the Bloc
Bowmanville,
Quebec
Oshawa
will have enough
North.
seats between the two of them to bring the government
This
down.
is, if you have a look here, this is Jamil Javani projected
Also the
elected.
Austrian-Hungarian Empire.
This is a seat that the Conservatives have held by increasing numbers.
I think
over
it was
the
like,
last
wasn't
few
it
years. You know,
relatively
it's
tolerant
interesting.
for its
Shorthand
time?
when people talk about Jamil Javani is
Trump will
that
be
he's
an
very
ex-candidate
good friends
next to
with
the
U.S.
former
Vice President
UM Trump.
J.D. Vance. You know, would
Christine,
that
man,
make
none of
a
this is surprising me.
difference
James, what do you think is
for him for better
do you
or
think
for
it'll be
worse
a
in the
minority
polls?
liberal
Not so
government?
far. He's done extremely well. He is headed back to Ottawa. And let's find out what this night is like for him, because I believe David Common is right there in Bowmanville, Oshawa North. And I think you do have a guest, David.
We do indeed, Adrian. Yes, this is, there have been electoral boundary changes for this election, and this riding certainly among them, but much of it was former Conservative leader Erin O'Toole's riding. In the by-election following his resignation, it was Jamil Javani who won that, and Jamil Javani winning again tonight. Congratulations, first of all.
Yeah, we have a great team here in Bowmanville, Oshawa North. Very excited and happy to bring home a victory.
I do want to ask you, Mr. Javani, because you've just spoken to your supporters, a large group that's here at the pub here in Bowmanville, North Oshawa, and you said to them, among other things, that Doug Ford was a problem for you in this campaign. You said that he sabotaged the Conservative campaign. That's your words. You said he was a hype man for the Liberals. Take me through how you see that.
Yeah, well, look, Doug Ford just went through an election. I have differences of opinion with him. I don't like how he's managed healthcare or education, but out of respect, we didn't say anything. Federal party, we didn't get in his way. When it was our turn to run an election, he couldn't stay out of our business. always getting his criticisms and all his opinions out, distracting our campaign, trying to make it about him, trying to position himself as some kind of political genius that we needed to be taking cues from.
Was it him specifically? Was it his campaign manager, Corey, tonight? Do you see Doug Ford as a problem for the federal party in the outcome of this race?
I see Doug Ford as a problem for Ontario and for Canada. I
Some
think
credit
he's
to
not
Jack
done a great
for
job
doing
in
some
running
pointing
this
at him.
province,
Yeah.
and now he's trying to exercise his
My
influence.
family's always been
at
able
other
to keep it.
levels
I'm
of
voting
government,
Labour for the
and it's not
2020
like this guy's doing anything particularly well.
You
the
did use
minority
support
government
for
that has
I
already
did.
exceeded my
I'm speaking from
expectations.
experience.
Yeah, true.
I
true.
tried to fix problems
If
in
Australia
this
became
province.
Philippine, who
He
would
kept
be our
getting in his
colour?
way and all his goons around him all the time. They wouldn't make anything
Walid Ali.
better. And now we're seeing him
Austria-Hungary
because
was a
he,
dumb
this
tyranny,
guy's
but
a
they were
political
somewhat
genius
tolerant
because
towards
he
Jews
beat
and other
Bonnie
minorities in
Crombie and
comparison to Germany.
Stephen
Like
Del
compared to
and now we
other
got to sit around getting advice from him.
empires at the
He
time,
has
they were better
taken
than
the provincial Conservative Party
the hardest
and
candidate
turned
in
it into
Australia need to be
something
stop rating
hollow,
means necessary.
unprincipled, something that doesn't solve problems. He's glad-handing with Chrystia Freeland, having coffees and lattes with Mark Carney, and I'm sitting here saying we need to be fighting for change and something new and something different, not being a hype man to the Liberal Party.
Some would argue that the challenge within the federal conservative movement is that there are these divisions, divisions that in some ways you're outlining tonight, and that it is the thing that stops or prevents, holds back the federal party from the majority government that it seats. Do you see that as a possible outcome?
You have a
to some of
favorite Chinese
the
dynasty?
fractions and frictions that exist within the federal party?
There is a lot of
Maybe
unity
the Ming
from
Dynasty.
conservatives
Maybe the Ming
across the board.
Dynasty.
Peter MacKay and Stephen Harper and Jason Kenney,
I like the Ming
James
Dynasty.
Moore,
Ming
all
Dynasty is
sorts
pretty
of
good.
people who've been part of our movement for a long time, united behind Pierre. They're opportunists like Doug Ford. And I think it's not about ideology or differences of beliefs. It is about some people believing our purpose as conservatives is to be an alternative to what the Liberals offer. And then there are people like Doug Ford who are opportunists. And I reject that outright.
Do you have any leadership ambitions?
Look, we have a leader of our party right now. We're still waiting in for the final seat counts. I don't know what tomorrow holds. My focus, though, is on all the young people, all the parents, the moms, the dads who came to us and trusted us to offer an alternative, a brighter future. We're going to see that too. We're going to keep fighting. And when the next federal election comes around, Conservatives will earn the trust of more voters, and we will bring home a victory nationally.
My last question to you looks at the results. As we speak here right now, 160 for the Liberals, 151 for your Conservatives. This is a lot closer of a race than some had expected. Why do you think that is?
Well, look, I think a lot of people misunderstood just the frustration that Canadians felt. All these polls that showed Conservatives far below the Liberals, I think we're missing how many young people saw our party as the party.
Are you at least glad that Amgen Choudhury is in jail for the rest of his life? Yeah, beautiful. It should have been done a long time ago. Okay. Evil, evil guy. Evil, evil guy.
That vision for Canada.
Tang Dynasty for the word. Jordan Peterson's Twitter. Ron Dynasty. What does the chance America actually invades Canada? Someone says zero. Song Dynasty. Do you see the terrorist attack zip line video? I haven't seen it yet. I saved it. I'm going to watch it after. It was pretty disturbing. Pretty disturbing.
Thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you.
Timu Dynasty. One is just trying to being occupied by Genghis Khan. Yeah, I don't think you can say if you're talking about what was the best Chinese dynasty, you can't say that you can't name a complex dynasty, right?
I mean, it's unfortunate that he's
You
so
can't be a
vague about
complex
his
dynasty.
views. Congratulations to him. If Doug Ford is listening, maybe give us a call. He might have a few things to say. That was very interesting, Rosie.
It was. I mean, there was an interview that Politico did with Doug Ford that was published today. That was perhaps inspired what Jamil Jivani said there. It was very frank and aggressive about what the federal Conservatives are doing. Let's bring in the panel and get their response and reaction to that. I mean, if you wanted confirmation that there is a problem, a major rift between Ford Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre Conservatives, Jamil Jivani just showed you that.
It's like it was two different interviews. Like the last part of it about the strivers and the go get them, etc.
The hustlers.
That's the kind of but that's a kind of a positive vision of the party. The first part when he was on the tirade about Ford shows you part of the problem. I mean, it reflects the duality of the result here. They did a lot better than people were expecting mid-campaign. That's right. So they've escaped with the skin of their teeth. But they blew a 25% lead. And I think you saw part of the reason why there, the failure to build bridges even within their own movement.
Yes.
And this kind of scabrous negativity. I mean, you know, people talk about, oh, well, it's only because the NDP vote collapsed. A big part of the reason the NDP vote collapsed was Pierre Poilievre's leadership and the specter that he presented to, at least to progressive voters.
Yeah.
When conservative leaders are scary, NDP voters are more likely to listen to the Liberal siren call if you have to vote with us.
Yeah, and the favorability for Pierre Poilievre never improved. In fact, it probably did the opposite through the polls, Chantal.
But if you're going to run possibly a fragile government, it's good news to hear this interview because you know the Premier of Ontario will continue to be working with you as the Liberal Prime Minister of Canada. And in the end, bottom line, once we get through this who knows when thing, the next order of business is going to have to be dealing with what's happening south of the border.
Right.
And the one one relationship that will really matter is that of the Premier of Ontario with the Premier of Canada in those circumstances.
Yes,
Having listened to that, you kind of feel relieved that these are not the people who will be knocking at Premier Ford's door.
Well, I mean, it does show that if it was a Pierre Poilievre Prime Minister with that kind of animosity between the biggest province in the country, I don't know how that would have worked to take on Donald Trump. I don't know. Maybe they would have been able to patch things up if they were going to form government. But
I mean, when there is no need to say things like this tonight,
And you
and
wonder
go on
whether
rants.
he had authorization for this. I mean, Pierre Poilievre, as I say, they escaped with skin of teeth, but he should be a chastened leader at this point. He threw away a 25% lead, and it's because of things like that. And if he doesn't learn from this experience, then, you know, he's going to reap all he sows.
he still, though, I mean, if these numbers hold, the last vote was at 128. He's 150. He may hold the Liberals to a minority. I mean, that will protect his leadership potentially, right? Yeah.
The first question, will he be in the House of Commons?
Yes.
Because I keep looking at those results in Carleton, and I'm waiting for
This
them
guy's
to
back.
find
Did he
the stack
smash
of
the like
votes
button?
that
Good
puts him
question.
back on top.
Laura Loomer has just
There are
tweeted,
still
"Rest in
lots
peace,
of
Canada."
polls
Thank
in
God, she's
Carleton
awake.
that
Thank
have not
God.
been counted.
That
Has
we were
not
all
been-
waiting
has
for
not
that
led
tweet,
that
weren't we?
race yet.
Oh, he is significantly behind.
She's a smart
It's not
lady.
a close race at this
No,
point.
Kangas Garman is not good.
Jason
People,
Kenney,
he
we
feel
stuck Jason Kenney in there
he's on
because I
pole
also
now.
heard Jamil
Doug Ford, the
Giovanni
brother
say
of the
your
former
name as
crack
someone who
striking
is
meritocracy.
a
I just
conservative
not
that
endorsed any
he
country
likes and
before, at
points
least the
to as
mid-20th
someone
century,
who
no
is able to
empire
bring
dynasty.
people
Yeah.
together. What did you make of that? And
People
like, there
from
is
Kina
obviously
Casino
a
is
problem
trying to
here
get third
between
conservative
Ford
out.
conservatives and Poilievre
Through
conservatives, and I
pre-20th
don't
century
know
countries
if
get
it
really
matters,
racist,
but
tyrannical, and
there's
gentile that
some
you can't really support them
deep
unironically with
animosity.
21st century guys. Yeah, true.
Well, there are some
Donald Trump and Mark
certainly
Carney
some
are similar
personal
to each other
differences,
because both of them are narcissistic, selfish,
I
incompetent,
to
ignorant,
state the obvious. I have a firm grasp of the
You really think that?
obvious.
In what way do you think that they are
By
similar?
which I mean, I think this is actually much more
Tibet
personal
spiritually
than it
conquered
is
the Yuan dynasty.
ideological
Kublai, when they reached
or,
Tibet, he became
factional.
Buddhist.
Okay.
Beautiful.
You know, every party has certain issue factions and personality factions. In this case, there seem to be two or three personalities that have really ramped up what I think is an unnecessary conflict that simply needs to get resolved.
Yeah.
And you know, I know Jamil, for whom I have enormous regard. He's a incredibly talented a guy with an amazing story.
Yes.
He has a particular a particular series of grievances. And I just none of this should have been in the public domain. Let's put it that way.
No, for sure.
And I agree there should have been earlier efforts to engage those get those relationships well settled much earlier. But it's not like there's a huge rift. Most of the people going door to door for federal conservative candidates in the last 5 weeks were going door to door for Doug Ford's candidates a few weeks before that. And you know what? The Ontario PC critique has been that Poilievre's team doesn't know how to win in Ontario. He's right now over 45% of the popular vote. Mr. Ford won 43% of the popular vote earlier this year. So the federal conservative campaign is getting a better result, larger total raw vote count, and a higher share of the popular vote.
Yeah.
That's nothing to sneeze at. And I think
but apparently Poilievre is
everybody has to put
literally
some water
performing
in
the best
wine,
the Conservative leader has
put
done in
the
like
best
40
interests
years.
of the country first.
Yeah.
And maybe the common interests of partisan conservatives somewhere in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Pierre Poilievre had called Doug Ford right from the get-go, the same way that Mark Carney did, he went and had breakfast with him, it probably would have helped. Whether it matters at this stage, I don't know.
Well, remember, it's not just Poilievre versus Ford. It's Poilievre versus Tim Houston in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
And it seemed like there were a series of candidates who looked like they could be perfectly acceptable and presentable candidates for the party who just didn't fit in with the Poilievre clique.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike DeJong in BC, why was he not allowed to be a candidate? So you know, it's one thing. Yeah, you can have a tent that's too broad and you lose all definition and you don't stand for anything. But you can have a tent that's too narrow and you just wind up defeating yourself.
Okay, I want to go to Conservative Party headquarters if we can. Maybe, possibly.
Much, Anne Marie.
Yeah, Liv still won, but Conservatives came really
That's
damn
just a
close.
look inside the room where, yeah, that's what it looks like when you have not won an election and you're waiting to see more. Let's go to Kate McKenna, who's, I imagine, been talking to people and getting a sense of how people are feeling in that room tonight. Kate, yes, they
Probably went to
haven't
high school
won,
with Doug
but
Ford,
it
so he was
does
a
look like
notorious
they
high
have
stealer. Wow.
improved over what they got in the last vote. But tell me what people are telling you.
Well, what your guest just mentioned about the federal Conservatives doing better in Ontario than the provincial Conservatives did, that's something that the campaign has been going around talking about. That's something that is very much being discussed in this room. And yes, they are losing. They're aware that they're losing. However, they're happy. Well, I wouldn't say they're happy, but they're encouraged by their gains that they've made. They're encouraged by the amount of popular vote that they're getting. But of course, one thing that's hanging in this room is that Pierre Poilievre has not won his seat yet. In fact, he appears to be trailing in his seat. We are hearing that he is set to talk in a few minutes, but they did play the Jamil Jivani interview here. At the same time, obviously, it was on the CBC broadcast. And there was
Thanks, guys, for everyone watching. I think we've got 30 live on YouTube, and I think in cumulative terms, my Twitter's actually had 5,000, which is crazy. If you guys are watching on YouTube, please consider liking and subscribing, help me reach more people. It's actually, you know, our stream, the average rate has definitely been trending upwards, which is really good. So when I started about 16 days ago, I think I started off with about 15 to 20, and it's now getting to be about 30 to 40, I'd say.
Okay, Kate McKenna, thank you so much for that. I'm going to now go to Ian Hannah-Mansing, who's got some results. Ian.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at Greater Vancouver and see how the NDP are doing there in terms of seat change, first of all. So we'll put that up on the screen, I hope, or if we don't, then I will, yeah, there we go. So this is vote change in Greater Vancouver, and you see the Liberals are up. The Conservatives are up. This is a pattern we've seen in other parts of the country as well. And you can see that this is at the expense of the NDP. Now, hours ago, when we looked at New Brunswick, this kind of vote change didn't really affect seats at all. But in Greater Vancouver, it is affecting seats. Let's take a look, first of all, at Port Moody, Coquitlam. This was more
He's too excited about the AFL quarterfinal between Brisbane and Gold. Look, I'm not the biggest AFL guy, but I hope Brisbane wins. I love Brisbane. I've lived in Brisbane my entire life, basically. 25 years. I've always lived here.
Is the incumbent MP. You can see she's not only in third place, she's in a distant third place. And it's put the Conservatives in first.
Yeah, Buddhism in China's around for like 1,000 years.
The progressive vote, the left of center vote, has been split just enough.
What do you think will happen now in Canada? Will conditions produced it worse? Will Canada become an Islamic theocracy? I don't think it will. I'm sure things won't get that bad. I'm sure things will turn back before that happens.
One of the mainstays.
There'll be enough pushback.
For so many years. He's been the MP.
Tibet Buddhism pretty much only exists in the museum now in China. No, it still exists with Tibetans. It's just heavily repressed, unfortunately.
Even for me.
I excited for State of Origin. Yeah, sure. We love Queensland. I always hope Queensland wins. Listen, I have to say, my favourite sport is really football, soccer. I'm not the biggest into rugby and all these other sports, but look, I really hope Queensland wins.
Once again, the Conservatives come up through the middle. Now, those aren't elected yet, but it is interesting and it helps explain why the numbers look the way they do, particularly in BC at this point in the evening.
Okay, thank you for that, Ian. I want to go back to Jason Kenney, if I can, just to ask you this question. Shortly we're going to hear from Jagmeet Singh. That's the little box there at the bottom of your screens. We're also going to bring in Randall Garrison in a moment so he can respond to some of what Mr. Singh is saying. But if Pierre Poilievre ends up with a bigger number of seats than the last vote, 149, 150, put aside whether he's going to win his riding, where he is still trailing, but put that aside. How does the Conservative Party view that? Does he have the ability to stay? What do you think is going to happen there? And then if you want to throw in the thing about the riding, I don't know whether this is real, but he hasn't led at all night.
Yeah, well, look, I can't comment on the riding. Sure. I will just say that I think Mr. Poilievre, if he decides to stay as leader and leader of the opposition, he will have overwhelming support to do so. I don't see any faction or group within the party egging for a new leadership. I think the party realizes changing leaders every 3 or 4 years is counterproductive. And I think, on the merits here, right now, 42% of the popular vote nationally. The last time the Conservatives achieved that was under Brian Mulroney 37 years ago in 1988. Growth in new cohorts of supporters in a broader Conservative coalition that includes younger voters than typical, apparently doing very well in communities of new Canadians. And one of the most interesting things, I talked earlier about the sort of blue collar swing that we seem to be observing towards Conservatives. Conservatives are winning in Windsor, Tecumseh, Windsor West, one of the Sudbury seats.
Tibet Buddhism is a beautiful and very highly intellectual form of Buddhism.
In Hamilton Center.
Like they preserve so many of the famous ancient Buddhist texts. Tibetan Buddhists are highly literate, highly civilized, very interesting.
I know it's fashionable around here to refer
What are your
to
thoughts
the
on giving command to
progressive
like
bloc?
community notes
A lot
violation
of
turning
traditional
partisan
NDP voters don't
yeah, it's
wouldn't
fucking
regard themselves
sad.
as on the left. They're for the little guy. And Pierre Paul has
There's a
been
huge gap
fighting
between
for
normalization
the
of
little guy.
anti-Semitism, the rise in hate crimes, Islamic caliphate, and
in
Khalil.
that way.
Focusing on that also mistakes. Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's going to be a national caliphate, but it's certainly not a nice trend.
He has been, in my
Steve, thanks, but I got to go.
the
Cheers
most
for the stream.
effective
Thanks, mate. Thanks for
opposition
joining in,
leader
Steve.
in our
I really
lifetime.
appreciate your
Some
support of
might
the channel.
say too effective. Such an effective opposition
Do you
leader
think Dutton will
that
stay
he
as Liberal
became
leader? Look, if he doesn't win, he's
typecast
completely gone. How could he stay on as
in
Liberal
that
leader? I can't see
role.
that happening, eh?
Well, and
No,
he
could you see
also
that
got
happening? I don't
rid
think
of the very things that were going to help him. Justin Trudeau and a carbon tax. I mean, that was his own.
So my new video
success
is blocked
brought
for
that to him
defamation
as
in
well.
Australia because Bad Empanada did a massive report of it. I'm not sure how we can fix this. If somebody can give me advice, I'd really appreciate it.
Look, he created the issue matrix that has been dominating Canadian
I get
politics.
the
for
vibe that
past
Canada
2
is drifting
years
towards a two-party
around
system while us
affordability,
in
the
Australia
cost
are
of
going
living,
more multi-party. It's
housing,
very multi-party in
immigration,
Australia now.
much
It's
of
really
it
interesting.
represented, yes, by the carbon tax.
It's getting the vote is getting really
taken
splintered
some
now.
principled and courageous positions. I think he took on the Liberals on their class warfare baiting on the capital gains tax increase. I believe he's the only leader who, in French and English, pointedly opposed the Quebec Bill 21 law against
Maybe he's a
religious symbols in
southern-esque
Quebec.
figure preparing the coalition
No,
for
no,
Quebec
no,
age.
no,
But
somebody else,
don't go there. He didn't. He actually has fudged whether he would intervene in the Supreme Court on it. So
I heard his clear opposition to it. So my
He
point.
says he's opposed to it, but he doesn't say
But
what
he
he
would
would
My
do
point is,
about
I
it.
think he ran a substantive campaign. He set up the issue set. He helped to defenestrate Justin Trudeau.
Steve left, unfortunately. He had to go.
He's
I
got
appreciate
the
his
best
support
result
for
for
the stream.
Conservative leader
Okay.
since 1988.
Okay, and I take all those points, and they're excellent points. And I'm going to let Jagmeet Singh speak in a
Who would
moment.
replace
except
Dutton
that
though? I'm not
wasn't the bar.
sure. You know
The
who
bar
would do
was
actually
25
pretty well?
points ahead,
Andrew
and you can
Andrew
form
Hastie. I
government.
actually think
And you're
Hastie's a
telling
really
me no
smart
one in
and
the
good
party's going
guy.
to be angry with him?
Oh, there's going to be a desire for sure for a retrospective.
No, I
And
actually disagree. Big
any
thing.
leader
I actually think Andrew
after
Hastie is quite talented.
this circumstance
I
is going
think
to
Hastie actually
should
is
show
talented.
some
It'd
humility.
be interesting to see what he does
take a
as
step
leader.
back.
I actually respect him. I've met him a
And
couple
I think the
times.
important thing
He
is,
supported me when
does
the
a
University of
leader
Queensland
have
was
the
trying to expel
ability
me
to
from
learn and to grow?
college
I
because
think
I was practicing
we've seen
for
him
government.
modify his
And
tone,
look,
his
I
approach,
he's a
his
nice
issue
guy, and
focus
I have a lot of
over the
respect for him. He's
past
a
several
smart
months.
guy.
I think that
I think
demonstrates
he's actually probably one of the few
such
coalition
ability.
MPs that I
He'll
actually
have
like,
to demonstrate
or
that
actually really
to the
respect.
party, but I don't see anybody gunning for his job.
Yeah, I'm not saying his leadership's in any trouble, but he needs to reflect on why he's not going to be prime minister tomorrow.
Chalmers
Because
would be a
a
far
large
better
part of
PM
it
than Elbow.
was
Look,
the
I think that too.
leadership. The leader
I
was
like
the
it.
biggest
I like
liability for the
Chalmers.
party.
Chalmers is pretty
The
good.
strategy that the
Chalmers
party
pretty good. And
pursued
I'd
was
like to
the
see
first
someone
part
from
of the
Queensland
campaign
be
was
prime
clearly
minister as
wrong.
well.
He bears
It's been a while since that
responsibility
happens.
for
It hasn't
So
been this case
he
since
should
Kevin Rudd.
clearly have to answer some questions.
Even before Kevin Rudd, there was like barely any
it's
Queenslanders
also
who've ever
very
been PM.
dangerous to take for granted for both the
There's Druid
Liberals
my
and the
Basil
Conservatives
Zempilis,
that
the
the
first
end
Liberal leader. I don't really know
of this
anything about him,
election
man.
is
I don't
something
really
that
know
will
anything
be
about him.
permanent.
Basil
On the contrary,
Zempilis.
I don't know what Mr. Singh is going to say.
I don't think
But
I
at
have
this
really any
point,
opinion on
it's
him. I
not
don't really know
really
him.
hard to imagine that it could be stronger with a stronger leader than it has been over the past 3 elections.
I don't know. Is he actually extreme?
Well, the
Hasty? I
ridings
don't
that
think
you
he's very
mentioned
extreme.
are three-way races, that they're not. That
Zempilis is a
voters
Greek politician.
got
Okay,
in
good on
through the
him. Good
middle
on him.
because of
Good
the
to see a fellow Greek
progressive
is trying to do
voting.
well.
But I get your point, especially in the 905.
Drew, do
where I
you,
think
Drew, do you get
Kimberly
paid to
did
do
a
Zionist
really good
propaganda?
job,
Yeah,
especially
Mossad
in the
deposits the check every week. Thanks for your support.
I think the reason reason that he's going to have trouble, whether or not he wants to stay, is the interview that we just saw with Jamil Javani. That aggressive tone really does not sit well with a significant chunk of the caucus that has been reelected. And we will find out as soon as the first caucus meeting whether or not they decide to approve the Reform Acts, and the caucus gives itself the power to decide whether or not Pierre Poilievre stays. And I think that will be a way for them to negotiate, because I think there are things that they would like. One MP called it the end of the reign of terror. Basically, they want Jenny Byrne gone. And if the result is low enough, they will set conditions to say, you want to stay? Well, these are the changes we want to see.
Okay, quickly, Mr. Kenny, because I'm going to go to Mr. Singh.
Yeah, I would say, look, I think there are legitimate questions around tone.
Yeah.
And I think, amongst other things, if he had made an effort to more clearly position to auditioning for the role of prime minister rather than opposition leader late last year, it could have been marginally helpful. I don't think it would have changed the fundamental structure of this election.
So Peninsula and Laowai are saying that America has all the cards in the trade war with China. Is that how you see it? Because I feel like they both got plenty of cards to play. I wish they had all the cards in the trade war with China, but unfortunately, I don't think that's the case. There's going to be shortages in American shells in the next 2 months. It's unfortunately a disaster. I would keep sanctions on China, but I would do it in strategic industries like semiconductors. I would have taken the Biden approach much more measured. I think you just can't end trade overnight because it does obviously lead to hyperinflation, etc. And if you leave trade overnight, actually, guys, okay, hang on. We'll get back to that, James, because we've got to watch Jack Meat's concession speech. This will be pretty funny. I won't talk that much. I want to listen to this. It'll be funny.
Thank you.
Surely announces his retirement, right? Would you see a sizable minority like you're seeing with move to right anti-migration party? I think it will happen in Australia.
We're good. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Daniel.
you. That was very nice. Very sweet of you.
Canada's
Thank
electoral
you
roles
so much.
fully good for the I'm just gonna fucking burn the Bannon Fanatic.
You're gonna get me all choked up here, guys.
Okay, let's watch Jack
Keep
Meat.
it together here, folks.
I like the
Thank
pink
you very
turban.
much. The love is amazing. I appreciate
Listen, it's a good beard and it's a nice pink turban, but let's see what it says.
Big thank you to Suzanne. She's been with us from the beginning. Huge thank you. Appreciate her so much. Thank you. Thank you. And all of you in this room, you guys poured your heart into this. Thank you so much for everything you've done. You're amazing.
Yo, Punic Pun, it's not actually really going to benefit Australia in the long run because we're just going to have massive amounts of really cheap consumer goods dumped into our market. And then that just, over time, that just leads to, further gutting of Australian local manufacturing stuff.
I love you all. I want to Carney on his victory. He has an important job to do to represent all Canadians and to protect our country and its sovereignty from the threats of Donald Trump. Tonight and every night, all of us here, we're on Team Canada. We want Canada to thrive, and we're going to continue to fight for Canada. I want to congratulate all the other leaders on a hard-fought campaign. It's been the honor of my life to represent the people of Burnaby Central. Tonight they chose, thank you.
Really, he has to step down. He fucked it up badly.
Tonight they chose a new member of parliament, and I wish them well as they continue to work hard for this community. Obviously, I know this night is a disappointing night for New Democrats. We had really good candidates that lost tonight. I know how hard you work.
Which Crispy
Spent
talk
time
about
with you.
during
You're
this?
amazing. I'm so sorry you're
I
not.
like
I
Laowai and
I know you're going
They're
to
nice
continue
to
to
me.
fight for them. I know on how many doors you knocked, how many family dinners you missed, how many nights your kids went to bed without you there to tuck them in. I know it was a tough sacrifice, and I just want to thank. And we can get a round of applause to every single candidate that ran for us. Thank all those incredible candidates and their incredible teams, because no
They lost
candidate
like
could do it
2/3 of
without
their
a
vote. That's
team.
brutal.
The volunteers, the staff,
Oh,
thank you
yeah,
to
no,
all
China
those
Uncensored
candidates
is
and their
really,
incredible
really
staffs. One time, one more time.
I'm sorry to see that, obviously.
Choosing to commit your life to politics obviously comes with some sacrifice, but we choose this life because of the chance to change the country we love for the better. We may lose sometimes, and those losses hurt, it's tough. But we are only defeated if we stop fighting. We're only defeated when we believe that those that tell us that we can never dream of a better Canada, a fairer Canada, a more compassionate Canada. I have met New Democrats from coast to coast to coast who will never back down, even when they're told that there's no room for them at the table.
Pretty depressing, guys. Literally lost like 200 votes.
We make room for everyone because we believe that there is enough wealth in Canada for all of us to live the life that we deserve.
Very depressing. Literally lost 200 votes.
Honestly, I got to avoid making eye contact with certain people because then it's going to get too emotional up here. So I just made the mistake of doing that. So I'm going to look away now. You know who you are. Don't look at me again. Almost 8 years ago, I was elected the leader of this incredible party, this incredible movement.
What is happening? Let's take over the vote.
I've worked really hard to be worthy of this trust, to live up to the legacy of our movement. Hold on a sec here, guys. Thank you. One more sec. Tonight, I've been informed our party leader that I'll be stepping down as party leader as soon as an interim leader can be appointed.
There you go.
Now, I could not have done this incredible job without, here's a point, give me a second to break down a bit. I couldn't have done it without the incredible support of my wife, Kidden. She has been my rock. She's been my foundation. For the past couple of years, I've been regretting that I didn't thank her on the night of the last election. So this is my opportunity to make up for it. She has literally been my rock. I couldn't have done this without her. She's backed me up and supported me. Yeah. She has made so many sacrifices. She convinced me that she's enjoyed them all, but I don't know. But she's amazing. I'm just so thankful. Thanks for being on this journey. I'm gonna give you a hug. Hold on.
No, that's nice. We'll see how you do. Pretty depressing vote, though. You did such an incredible job, but now
Also, I might break down this part because and Anhad and Dani, my daughters, remind me of the future. God damn it, that we are fighting for. That's just because I get emotional anytime I talk about my kids. I'm very sappy when it comes to my daughters, so I get a little emotional. I've also been supported by my family, and I got to thank my parents who are here today. They're amazing. Love you both. My brother, I wouldn't have been on this journey without my brother. So big shout out to my brother, Krathin. And honestly, this may sound funny, but my in-laws, I literally couldn't have done this without my in-laws. They're amazing. Where are my in-laws? They're somewhere here. Wherever they are, they're here. I wanted to look at them and point at them too. Oh, there they are. Yeah, I couldn't have done it without them. Literally, if you're a parent, you know how important your parents are, and your in-laws too. It turns out. So, huge thank you. They've supported us. They've kept me grounded, given us great advice. I'm so thankful to my family. You can't do this work without great people, and you can't do this without a great family supporting you. So, thank you to my family. I'm spilling my water and everything. It's getting a little bit, I'm trying to be graceful here, folks. I also want to thank my NDP caucus. This is a team that together we brought historic change for people. We brought real change to the lives of Canadians. I know that people are concretely better off because of our work over the last 8 years, and no election result will ever diminish that. So thank you to my caucus, honestly, I'm so thankful to them all. We did some incredible work together. Seriously, every one of you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I might break down this part too. Forgive me if I do. I can only do this, and we can only do this work because of a great staff. And y'all just poured your heart into me, into the work that we did. So. It's a good thing that there's water here. This water is very strategically placed for me, so it's very, very lucky that I have. I might need a couple more glasses, so just if anyone can help me out on that, that'd be great. Y'all brought your talent, your heart to the fight every day. We treat each other with respect and dignity and with kindness. Love you all.
It's pretty depressing.
All right. We're almost there, folks. I got a couple other things I really want to get off my chest here. One other thing is nothing's too spicy. It's just good stuff. I often speak about something my mom taught me. It's a Sikh teaching of Chardi Kala. And this is something fundamental to who I am. And it means, the words break down. Chardi means rising and Kala means spirits. And it's something that it captures a big part of who I am. And it's the idea that in the fight for justice, in the fight for fairness, in the fight that we fight, we want to have optimism in the face of struggle. We want to have a defiant optimism. It's like this eternal resilience. And this is the spirit that I carry tonight. Obviously, I'm disappointed that we could not win more seats, but I'm not disappointed in our movement. I'm hopeful for our party.
I don't need to
I know that we will always choose hope over fear and optimism over despair and unity over hate. New Democrats literally built this country. New Democrats built this country. We have built the best of Canada, and we aren't going anywhere. Thank you so much. Love you all. You're amazing. Merci infiniment. Appreciate it so much. Appreciate you all so much. Thank you. You're amazing. Love you all. Every one of you. You're amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, that is Jagmeet Singh conceding, first of all, his own riding of Burnaby South, where he continues to be in third place, and announcing that he will step down as leader as soon as a new interim leader can be chosen. He was the leader of the NDP since 2017. Marina von Stuckelberg is in the room there. Marina, obviously a very emotional room, and I must say, a very gracious speech by Jagmeet Singh tonight.
Yeah, it's brutal.
This was really the worst case scenario for the NDP, this idea that Jagmeet Singh would not be able to hold on to his own seat, that there would be severe losses for the party, which is how this is panning out. You know, throughout this campaign, one thing that we've heard from supporters and from his team was that a lot of progressive voters that would have voted for the NDP were scared. They were scared of a Trump. They were scared of Trump. They were scared of a Poilievre majority. And so they were going towards Mark Carney's Liberals. And, you know, the party tells me that they feel like if they would have had a bit more time to explain to people that this would cause vote splitting, this is what we've seen is several, you know, big name NDP MPs potentially or actually losing their seat because of vote splitting. The party clearly saw this was a potential issue. They actually started a whole
Yeah, that's a
campaign
good
about
point,
it.
Beatrice. That's a good point. I actually really want to do that. What's your thought for doing that? You need to assemble a team or join one dog. Just since you're being harassed by the unemployed gang, you can't take on video essay after video essay. Some topics need a team for deep research. Listen, man, I'd love to have you on board. Let me know what you think I should do because yeah, look, I am doing this. I've got an editor to help me, and I am mainly doing this a lot on my own. So it's a good point. It's a good point. I'd love to work together with more people. Absolutely. That way we can do a lot more.
Really, the worst situation. The last time they lost official party status was in the 90s, and this is
Wow, so they've lost official party status first time since the 90s. That's brutal.
It allows you, you know, to be in committees, to get staff. And so where this party ends now is really going to be the question.
Okay,
Wow, that's
Marina
actually really brutal for
live
them.
there in British Columbia. Of course, I said Burnaby South. It's Burnaby Central is the riding where Jagmeet Singh has lost his own seat. Thank you, Marina. Appreciate that. Going to go to Randall Garrison there. I will say, if you're going to lose and have a devastating night and still act that gracious in your loss, that speaks to the humanity of these leaders and certainly of.
Yeah, we got to work together against the Viet Tran. No, the Viet Tran has to help us against the Bad Panada gang. Absolutely.
Surprised about the fact that he's leaving.
No, and I said just a few minutes ago, I guess, on the air, that it was too early to write this story, but I was pretty sure this is the story we would be writing. Yeah. I supported Jagmeet early on because of the kind of person he is and the compassion he shows to others, which he demonstrated in the speech, but also calling on Canadians to get behind the winner of this election. To get us through these difficult times.
No, we got to form teams for sure. Let's fly back against the fucking psychos.
And so
fucking hard.
I give him high praise for that. I wasn't certain he would resign tonight, but I did think he would resign. Given the outcome. Now, I said earlier, where does the party go from here? Well, we still don't have a majority government here, and even if there are only somewhere between 8 and 12 New Democrats there, they may have a key role to play. And even if there's a small majority, they'll still have a key role to play in all those things that Jagmeet has talked about that are important to ordinary Canadians and the cost of living, housing, healthcare, all those things that are traditional priorities.
Fun fact, after 2012 Queensland state election, Kendall Newman's win was so big that Labor's not entitled to opposite party benefits. Yeah, they'll literally reduce the cricket team. That was crazy, yeah. Gee, they were still given official party, they're still given the status of opposition because they were the largest second party, but yeah, they did technically fall below the threshold, which is crazy.
Why that is. I wonder, and what
it is actually
the
crazy.
Party has to do to get back to a place of growth where people don't see it as a protest vote or a vote to park, but as a real alternative, a viable party.
Well, I think, as I said earlier, I believe that this is a temporary setback for the NDP in terms of people aren't saying we reject what the NDP put in the window as an offer. They've just simply said we have a bigger crisis here. Right. And for this election, we are going to make a choice for a strong leader in the face of Trump. Yeah. And so I think that's what's happened. So can the NDP, come back from this? Yes, I think they can.
Yeah, Stephen Miles is like one of he had a really high energy campaign. And it's one of the most high energy campaigns that I've seen in Australian politics because we don't really have high energy campaigns a lot of the time.
Keep it away from the mainstream, which leads to success, not just for the party, but for Canadians who believe in those values. And so I think that will be a challenge for the party in its reduced circumstances. Yeah. But I have no doubt that we'll meet that challenge and be able to move forward probably as soon as the next election. Which
guys, I might call it a day here. We've been streaming almost 3.5 hours now.
Thank you for coming all
ask me if you've got any last minute questions or comments. Please add them to the chat. But I might leave soon. Let me know what you think.
Also were very gracious.
It is not, and thank you for
have lunch and I'm gonna get to work on a video essay that I've got coming out on the weekend. I really want to get something out for the Australian election about the housing crisis here and how bad genuinely things have become in Australia when it comes to when it comes to our political situation. I'm going to try to get a video essay out on that. Also got a university essay I've got to write. So it's a busy couple of days.
Wherever this is going to end up tonight.
Okay, and
Max Mogg says bye, Drew. Thanks, Lex Mogg. Thank you, mate. Yeah, guys, any last comments or anything? Let me know. I'm going to probably head
with his wife, Anna Poilievre, who has been by his side throughout this campaign. Really a vital part
It's been crazy. I mean, we are watching a very big moment in the early opening part. Watching a big moment in the early innings of the Trump presidency, I think. This is part of a big wave of resistance, I think, not just inside Australia, but also across the world. I think that's what we're starting to watch here. So, thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you guys' support. If you're watching, let me just show my channel real quick.
But not very encouraging for Mr. Poilievre tonight. Let's listen in.
Nathaniel says, good stream. Thank you, man. Listen, I'm really happy because the stream has been improving a lot over time. We were starting out with about 15 average live viewers, and it's now getting to about like 35-ish average viewers. Guys, if you're watching, make sure to subscribe. Let's get to 8,100 today. That would be really good. And what's the other thing I was going to say? Listen, guys, look at what Bad Empanada has done. So he posted today, hate for my video, and he's directed all his fans to go downvote it. And basically, the video went from having 10 downvotes to like 200 overnight. So if you guys are watching and you support me, please give the video a like. Don't allow Bad Empanada to just do this brigade shit, because it's obvious that he's just sending his followers and just trying to get people to just downvote without even watching the video. It's very unfair, very unfortunate. Oh, it was because Empanada said something anti-Hassan. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Go to my latest video on Bad Empanada and hit like. And also, yeah, guys, if the channels, let's get some more subscribers. I really hope we can get to 10,000 subscribers. Maybe by the end of May, that would be really good. Downvote and upvote are basically the same. They both push engagement up. Yeah, but dude, I want to have more upvotes. I don't want them to succeed in downvoting the video into oblivion. Because it was a good video. It's a good video, and it's just he's rigging the system by just getting his fans to do it. So yeah, guys, go make sure to subscribe and make sure to like my recent video on Bad Empanada. And yeah, thank you so much, lads. 16 viewers out. Dude, I've streamed for 3.5 hours. I literally told people I was ending and about 10 people dropped off. I had about 40 viewers for most of this stream today. And, we're starting small. Hassan once had 40 viewers, So, we're just starting small. It doesn't even matter. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Cheers. And, yeah, stick together. Thank you, lads. We will fight the Bad Empanada menace.